Wanwan were sitting. He grabbed the crying little boy with one hand, looked at Zhang Wanwan and said, "I say the child can't eat much, and your plate is so big. What's wrong with giving him a piece? You are so old and still so stingy. Is this the quality of young people nowadays?" Zhang Wanwan raised an eyebrow. That statement is indeed true. Where there are naughty children, there are naughty parents. This boy's father is simply the standard template of a bad parent. I ordered the food, I spent my money, I can do whatever I want with it. And I can give it to whoever I want. Zhang Wanwan said coldly. "If you think I did something wrong, why don't you give me $100 and I'll give you the whole dish?" The boy's father burped and frowned, saying, 100 yuan? Are you sick? How many sweet and sour pork ribs can you buy with 100 yuan? You have so much savings, what's wrong with giving me 100? You are so old and still so stingy. Is this the quality of parents nowadays? Zhang Wanwan imitated the man's previous tone and said with a sneer, "Hey, are you looking for trouble?" The boy's father had a bad temper and had been drinking. Being provoked by Zhang Wanwan like that, I got a little angry at the time. He pointed at Zhang Wanwan and opened his mouth to say something. A hand grabbed his fingers. Chen Cheng pressed down the boy's father's hand. At the same time, he smiled and said to the boy's father, "Brother, why are you angry? It's not a big deal. Isn't it just that the child wants to eat sweet and sour pork? Okay, it's my treat. I'll give you some sweet and sour pork later." Chapter 348 Eat enough at once. Seeing how easy it was to talk to Shen Feng, the boy's father thought Shen Feng was a coward. After a snort, he pulled the boy away. Shen Sheng called the shop owner and whispered a few words to him. A few minutes later, the shop owner served a plate of sweet and sour pork to the boy's table. The boy was so happy that he picked up a piece and started eating it in big mouthfuls. The boy's father glanced at Shen Feng. After taking a sip of wine, he said sarcastically, "It turns out that even cowards can find girlfriends nowadays." He also didn't expect that the other party would be so weak and actually pay for the food for them out of his own pocket. He had just finished speaking, and I saw the shop owner coming out again. He was holding a plate of sweet and sour pork tenderloin in his hand. Put it on their table again. The boy's father was stunned at that time. "Boss, we've already served one dish here, maybe we served the wrong dish." "Oh, that's right." The shop owner wiped his hands and said, "The guy next to you ordered 20 plates of sweet and sour pork for you. We still need 18 plates. The boy's father looked at Shen Feng in astonishment. At this time, Shen Feng had already stood up and walked to the boy's father. He said with a smile, "If the child wants to eat, let him eat as much as he wants at once. 20 plates, you are not allowed to pack them up. You could only leave after you finish eating. If you miss one plate or leave even one piece, you won't be able to leave. Damn it, you're looking for trouble, right?" When the boy's father heard this, he immediately stood up with the wine bottle in his hand, looking as if he was ready to take action. But before he could do anything, Shen Feng had already grabbed his wrist and snatched the bottle from his hand, and the wine bottle hit the table next to it heavily, and the bottle broke into pieces. Shen Cheng smiled and held the broken half of the bottle, pointing the sharp broken pieces at the boy's father. "Think about it, do you want to eat?" The boy's father's wrist, which had just been pinched by Shen Feng, was still in so much pain that he couldn't lift it up. He swallowed tremblingly and finally nodded. "Eat." After the little boy finished the first plate of sweet and sour pork, he no longer wanted to eat. "This thing is sweet and greasy. No one can eat too much." When the boy's father forced him to eat the second plate, the boy burst into tears again. He threw a tantrum and said he didn't want to eat anymore. The angry boy's father kicked the boy hard several times. "You were the one who said you wanted to eat. You were the one who was looking for trouble. Now you have to eat even if you don't want to. Eat it for me." The boy's father is also a bully who only bullies the weak and fears the strong. Thus now he saw that Shen Feng was a ruthless person, and knew that he couldn't afford to offend him, so he could only vent his anger on his child. The boy cried even louder when he was kicked. Zhang Wanwan felt very annoyed after hearing this. She frowned and looked at Shen Feng and said, "Fengzi, let's go. I feel a little uncomfortable." Shen Cheng nodded. Then he signaled to the boy and his family that they could leave if they wanted, but they had to pay the bill for the 20 plates of sweet and sour pork. The boy's father originally wanted to argue with him, but when he saw Shen Feng picked up the half-empty wine bottle again, he held back what he wanted to say. "In the end, I honestly paid the boss for 20 plates of sweet and sour pork and ran away in shame." In fact, Shen Feng knew that the boy's family could not finish 20 plates of sweet and sour pork, so I mentioned it to my boss before and asked him to play 3 or 4 plates as a token of his appreciation. In the end, the boss didn't cook much, but he made a lot of money, which made him very happy. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan walked out of the restaurant and were about to drive away when they heard someone chasing them. At first Shen Sheng thought that the store owner was planning to share the spoils with them, but when I looked back, I found that the person who caught up with me was the quiet girl with glasses. When the younger sister saw Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan looking at her, an expression of excitement immediately appeared on her face. It's really it, that's really it. Feng Zi, Wan Ji, your fan. Just now in the restaurant I thought your voices sounded familiar. I didn't expect it was really you. The quiet little sister said as she frantically took out a notepad and pen from her bag. Then she looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan and said, "Well, could you please sign for me?" Shen Cheng took the paper and pen. Just as I was about to write something, a quiet little sister hurriedly said, "Feng Zi. And don't write me a math problem or something like that." Zhang Wanwan, who was standing by, almost laughed out loud when she heard this. It's no wonder that the quiet little sister said something more. After all, Shen Feng is a person who seldom signs autographs, and one of the few times he signed an autograph for a fan was on the show Dating. Not only did he not sign his own name, he also left a high-level math problem on a piece of paper for his fans. It seems that fan almost became Shen Feng's #1 any fan. But in the end, I couldn't bear to leave the CP circle. So I turned from hater to fan again. Shen Feng smiled helplessly. After seriously signing for little sister Wen Jing, he drove away with Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan sat in the car, thinking about the naughty kids and parents she had just seen in the restaurant, and couldn't help but say, "I don't want our children to become like that in the future." "Don't worry, I won't," Shen Feng said, "although their mother is a little bit naughty. She is only naughty when it is necessary. She is usually very sensible. And their dad is a coward, so they will definitely be two very obedient and sensible babies." Zhang Wanwan nodded. Suddenly he said with some worry, "But I don't want them to be too honest. If they are too honest, they will suffer losses." If Director Chen or Jiat Nan heard what Zhang Wanwan said, they would probably vomit blood. Too honest? Suffering a loss? If your children have anything to do with these two words, they must have been taken away by mistake in the hospital. In the evening, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan returned to Zonghai City from Qingliu County. When they drove back to the villa, the scene in front of the villa scared Zhang Wanwan. "I saw more than 10 people standing in a neat row at the door of their villa. Everyone was dressed in a suit and tie, very formally. It even looks a bit like gangster. And the person standing in the middle of them. Sister Lin?" Zhang Wanwan looked at Sister Lin in surprise. She was standing in the middle with a big sister demeanor. Could it be that Sister Lin is actually the daughter of a gangster? Now she is going back to inherit the family business? While Zhang Wanwan was daydreaming, Sister Lin had already walked over. The expression on her face looked quite helpless. After sighing, Sister Lin asked, "Zonghai City's online Spring Festival Gala is planning to invite you to be guests. It won't be too long, just show up and sing a song. What do you think? Before you ask questions, could you please explain the people around you?" Sister Lin glanced at them. Then he said helplessly, "They are all from Zonghai EV station. They want to find you and Shen Feng to be the guests of the New Year's Eve party." Zhang Wanwan asked in confusion when she heard this. "The New Year is only a few days away. Why did you only think of inviting us to be guests now?" Sister Lin said speechless lie, "Don't mention it. You two are so popular this year that several large TV stations think your schedules are very full and your appearance fees are definitely very high. So some TV stations simply didn't consider you two. As a result, all TV stations thought the same thing. And in the end, not a single TV station invited you two, the hottest stars of this year, to attend the gala. The day he had dinner with a few people from Zonghai EV station. And someone asked at the dinner table which party you two were planning to attend and why there was no official announcement yet. I told you the truth and said that no one had approached you at all. The people at the TV station almost dropped their jaws in shock. And then they all went crazy, wanting you to attend the Zonghai EV party. And then, Sister Lin pointed at the group of people from the TV station behind her and said, "They are all coming over." Zhang Wanwan waved her hand. "Forget it, let them go quickly. I'm pregnant now, and I plan to spend a good New Year with Feng Zi. I didn't plan to attend the party this year. Actually, I support you taking a break, but the price they offered is quite high. So I think I still have to ask you," Sister Lin said. Zhang Wanwan smiled. "So what if the offer is high? I've made a lot this year. The New Year is a time to relax. No matter how high the price is, I won't. The appearance fee should be around 7 figures. Zhang Wanwan, "Okay, I'll join. When does the recording start?" Chapter 349 Rehearsal. Some local TV stations choose to broadcast their Spring Festival Gala either on the day before New Year's Eve or after the first day of the new year. The official broadcast date of China Overseas Television's Spring Festival Gala is the day before New Year's Eve. Originally, not many people paid attention to Zonghai City's Spring Festival Gala. Or in other words, the number of people watching the Spring Festival Gala on a certain channel is not as many as before. For many people, the Spring Festival Gala is often just background music when they are browsing their phones at night or playing cards or matchwine with friends and family. That's all. And ever since China Overseas TV announced on Weibo 2 days before the program officially started that the Spring Festival Gala would invite the Kwan Suo couple as guests, the audience has been excited. I'm super lock. I didn't see any official announcement from any TV station about Feng's E and 1GE before, so I thought they didn't want to participate in the Spring Festival Gala this year. But I didn't expect that Zhonghe station was holding back a big move. Oh my god, there is finally something to watch during the Chinese New Year. I love it. Can you please invite Xiaojia Ting Ting and the others to come over? I want to see Feng Zipper for Man and Irefot skid with them. Jay Atnam, are you polite? Wow, ever since the end of youth group, my Feng Z and 1GE have disappeared. I can finally see my husband and my wife again. I am so touched. Thank you Zhonghe for reuniting us as a couple. You too? Good fellow, one husband, one wife, and one you, right? You have figured out monogamy. No wonder netizens are excited. It is true that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have not appeared in the public eye for a long time. Ever since the recording of Youth Group was completed, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have plunged into the crew. There are only 3 or 5 pieces of news related to them. For example, the two of them went to film a movie, Zhang Wanwan was pregnant, the paparazzi was abused by them, etc. Those useless paparazzi didn't even manage to take a single picture of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. The fans have been lonely for so long, and when they heard that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were going to be on the Spring Festival Gala of Zhonghe, they couldn't help but be excited. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan also reposted Zhonghe Tai's Weibo, and many fans were interacting below the Weibo post. Rehearsal scene of China Overseas TV Spring Festival Gala. Zhang Wanwan was scrolling through her phone, looking at the comments under the Weibo post with a silly smile on her face. In the comments under her Weibo, in addition to some viewers who expressed their anticipation for the Spring Festival Gala, there were also many lovely fans who were naming the baby in her belly. Some fans said that they hope Zhang Wanwan's child will have the same good physical fitness as Zhang Wanwan and be able to run fast. So they suggested naming him Shen Xun. Some fans said that they hope Zhang Wanwan's child will be more energetic. So they suggested naming him Shen Jing. Some fans also said that they hope Zhang Wanwan's child will be like a soaring river in the future. So they suggested naming him Shen Cheng. Some fans also said that when Zhang Wanwan gave birth, it was probably autumn when red maple leaves were everywhere. So they suggested naming her Shen Feng. Zhang Wanwan specifically showed this comment to Shen Feng. Shen Feng was silent for a moment, finally picked up his phone and sent a reply to this fan. Shen Feng, in my life, it is enough to have someone named Shen Feng. The fans caught a glimpse of the fresh Shen Feng and started to follow this reply to watch. Shen Cheng had already turned off his phone and was looking at the rehearsal stage in front of him. This is already the 3rd rehearsal for the China Overseas Spring Festival Gala. However, because Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan joined temporarily, this was just the first rehearsal for them. At the same time, it is also the last time. Before coming to the rehearsal, the chief director of the China Overseas Spring Festival Gala specifically had a talk with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. The chief director said, "You two, since you joined relatively late, you only have one chance to rehearse. Do you have any special programs that you are good at? It doesn't have to be outstanding, but try not to make mistakes." Zhang Wanwan thought about it seriously. Finally, he said, "How about I perform an eating show?" Chief director, Zhang Wanwan, "Of course I'm joking." Finally, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan decided to just perform a duet of love songs. Although the director was not a fan of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, he had probably watched their shows and knew that they both sang really well. So he agreed. At this time, several young idols of the new generation were performing singing and dancing on the rehearsal stage. And when they leave, the next ones to come on stage will be Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. At this time, on the director's side, a senior executive of Zhonghe was looking in the direction of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan with some displeasure. How come these two young people have no sense of urgency? They only have one chance to rehearse, but they don't seize it. Watch other people's performances and learn from their experiences. Instead, they just play with their phones. The chief director glanced at the senior management and said nothing. He knew that the top management had always been dissatisfied with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan since they joined the show. Every year, China Overseas TV's Spring Festival Gala has a fixed budget, which is the station's expense. In the past, when funds were not fully spent, the remaining money would often quietly flow into the pockets of certain people in the station. For example, this senior executive named Sun Guan. Because of this unspoken rule, The Spring Festival galas of China Overseas TV were not very well organized in the past because there were always people controlling the expenses and preventing too much money from being spent. But this year is different. Among this year's senior executives, many are fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, or are aware of the popularity of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. They understood that if Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were willing to participate in the Spring Festival Gala of China Overseas TV, it would bring in terrifying ratings. What hidden benefits can it bring? So this time, they spared no expense and signed Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan with a large sum of money. But Sun Guang has different ideas from other senior executives. He doesn't care about any hidden benefits or ratings. He only knew that the dividend that should have belonged to him became less because of the arrival of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Therefore, Sun Guang often complained about Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan in front of the director. The Quan Suo couple came for the whole morning, and Sun Guang complained for the whole morning. The director's ears are almost used because of this. Seeing that the director ignored him, Sun Guang secretly clicked his tongue. I don't know what magic Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have. Even these old guys in the station want them to attend the party so much. Sun Guang looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, who were still looking at their phones. Finally, he slowly narrowed his eyes. He thought of an idea. In addition to him and the chief director, there are also many important figures in the station present. In the past, these big shots would not come to rehearsals. But today they all came just to see Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. If Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's rehearsal went awry, and it happened in front of these big shots, then no one would agree to let them participate in the Spring Festival Gala. Right? Thinking about this, Sun Guang left the director and walked to the preparation room backstage. Chapter 350. Why doesn't it work? Seeing that the song and dance performance on the stage was halfway through, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan also walked into the backstage, ready to go on stage. They have already done their styling and makeup, so they just need to do a little tidying up backstage before they can go on stage. After arriving backstage, after the stylist helped with their makeup, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan prepared to go on stage. At this moment, a little girl suddenly came over. Shen Cheng took a look and found that this was an acquaintance. She is the quiet girl with glasses who I met in Qingliu County 2 days ago. We meet again. Zhang Wanwan didn't expect to meet her again. This little sister left a pretty good impression on her. So Zhang Wanwan took the initiative to say hello to her. The quiet little sister was holding the bottles of water in her hands, and it seemed that she had originally intended to give them to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. But when she saw Zhang Wanwan greeting her with a smile, the quiet little sister couldn't help but tremble. She suddenly hid the 2 bottles of water behind her, and then said to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan with a forced smile, "We meet again. I'm so glad you can come to participate in Zhonghai City Spring Festival Gala. I didn't expect you to be in this station. Do you work here?" Zhang Wanwan asked. I'm just an intern, not a regular employee yet," the quiet little sister said timidly. At this time, the singing and dancing performance on the stage had ended. Zhang Wanwan knew it was their turn to go on stage. So she smiled and waved to the quiet little sister and said, "I'll go on stage first. I'll come back to chat with you after the performance." Having said that, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were about to leave. In a corner backstage, where Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan couldn't notice, Sun Guang stood up and gave a fierce look to the quiet little sister. He pointed at the quiet little sister, then at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, and finally glared at the little sister fiercely. The quiet little sister's face turned a little pale, especially after Sun Guang took out a document similar to an IOU. This paleness reached its extreme. She lowered her head in pain. Finally he quickly caught up with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, and said in a trembling voice, you to please wait a moment." Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan stopped and turned to look at the quiet little sister. The quiet little sister handed over 2 bottles of water hidden behind her back. "Come on, drink some water before you go on stage." In fact, experienced stars or singers rarely drink water before going on stage, especially water given by strangers. On the one hand, drinking water before singing may actually reduce saliva secretion while singing, causing dry mouth. On the other hand, there have been cases in the entertainment industry before where singers drank poisonous water given by anti-fans before going on stage, causing them to lose their voices after going on stage and ruining the entire performance. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, one has lived for 800 years and the other has been working in the entertainment industry for so long, they both actually understand this truth. But Shen Feng finally took the water bottle from the quiet little sister. "Okay, thank you." Seeing that Shen Shang was about to leave after taking the water, Wen Jing opened her mouth again and tried to stop the 2 of them. But at this time, Sun Guang had already walked to her side. He smiled and waved at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, saying, "You 2 should drink some water to moisten your throats." And then hurry up and get on stage it, as your turn. Shen Feng didn't say much. And screwed the water bottle and took 2 sips. Sun Guan watched as the water level in the bottle dropped. I breathed a sigh of relief. After the 2 men left, Sun Guan looked at little sister Wenjing viciously. Were you still thinking about reminding them just now? Huh? I didn't. The quiet little sister lowered her head deeply. You better not have it, but that Shen Feng doesn't seem to have much brains either. He didn't even notice your panicked expression just now. And he even drank the water. This young man who has only been in the entertainment industry for half a year is really stupid and cute. Sun Guan sneered. In his eyes, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's next performance could already be used to declare their death in advance. If such a bad performance were presented in front of other senior executives of the TV station, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan would not be able to participate in the final Zhonghai Spring Festival Gala. Right? What do ratings and hidden interests have to do with him? He doesn't plan to work here in a few years and wants to switch to a higher position. What he has to do now is of course to try every possible means to gain some more practical benefits for himself. Feng Zi, did you really drink that water? On the way to the stage, Zhang Wanwan whispered to Shen Feng beside her. Shen Feng laughed and said, how is that possible? Do you think I am as brainless as Jayat Nan? But I noticed that the water in the bottle is getting less. It's just a little trick. Shen Sheng said this and picked up the water bottle in his hand. Then he pinched the bottle. Originally, the water in the bottle was not very full, and after squeezing it, the water in the bottle was full all of a sudden. When Shen Sheng relaxed his strength, the water level in the bottle dropped a bit. Combined with the fake action of Shen Fei pretending to drink water, but actually taking a sip of water and spitting it back out, it looked as if Shen Feng really took 2 sips. Zhang Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief. That's fine, but you still have to rinse your mouth later. Shen Feng nodded. And he walked onto the stage with Zhang Wanwan. The host on the stage had been waiting for a minute or two, but because today was a rehearsal, the host was not in a hurry. After Shen Feng and Zhang Wan came on stage, the host began to interview the 2 according to the script. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan are heavyweight guests. Of course, they can't just come up and perform a show and then leave like other performing guests. Interviews before the performance, interviews after the performance. None of these can be missed. This is worthy of the appearance fees of these 2 people. And during the time when the host was interviewing, Sun Guanzai has already left the backstage. What, to the audience seats? There were many senior executives of China Overseas Television sitting in the audience. Compared with these big guys, Sun Guang's status is much lower. Seeing Sun Guang coming over, another TV station executive couldn't help but ask, old Sun, where have you been? You almost missed Shen Sheng and Zhang Wanwan. Yeah, you can't miss this couple's performance. I am still a fan of them even at my age. They are really talented. Sun Guang, I know you have opinions about them. But after watching this performance, I believe you will no longer have any opinions. Listening to the words of the senior executives around him, Sun Guang nodded and smiled. In his heart, he was sneering secretly. After watching the show, I have no objection. It should be you who have opinions, right? The higher your expectations of them now, the more disappointed you will be later. Sun Guang thought about it and sat comfortably in his seat. The show that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan are going to perform is a medley of songs. When Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan sang Little Love Song, Sun Guang raised his eyebrows. The singing is indeed good. But unfortunately, you won't be able to sing it soon. Sun Guang sneered. When the Little Love Song part was finished, Shen Sheng sang the line from Fairy Tale, I wish to become the angel you love in the fairy tale. Sun Guang was still sneering. When the fairy tale part was finished, Love Like Tide began. Sun Guang was still sneering. When Love Like Tide was finished, Sun Guang finally couldn't hold it anymore. What's going on? Why hasn't the medicine taken effect yet? From the moment Shen Feng drank the spiked water, to the time he went on stage to be interviewed by the host, to the time he started singing, and has been singing until now, the effect of the drug should have taken effect long ago. But why is there no problem with Shen Feng's voice? What's wrong? Are you stupid? When I first heard them sing, I thought they were professional singers. The young people nowadays are really amazing. A senior executive of the TV station nearby saw Sun Guang in a daze and said with a smile, yes, it is quite impressive. Sun Guang echoed awkwardly. But I was comforting myself in my heart. It must be that Shen Feng has better physical fitness. Young people, big boys, inevitably have stronger resistance. But the song they chose was a medley of love songs, which would take nearly 10 minutes to sing, and the drug would definitely take effect during this time. Another song passed. It will definitely work. Another song. It will definitely work. Another one. It will work. Another one. Sun Guangren was numb. Damn, did he buy fake medicine? If there weren't so many people around, He would have wanted to take out the medicine from his arms and take a few bites himself to see how it goes. And at this time, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan on the stage have already sung the last song, Love Until Death. When the song sounded like the screams of a pig giving birth, but was in so much pain due to a difficult labor that it wanted to commit suicide, but ended up rushing into a frying pan, getting scalded, and then suddenly jumping out and being hit by a passing 10-ton truck. A glimmer of hope finally appeared on Sun Guang's face. Finally, it's finally out of tune, and it's so out of tune. The medicine is finally taking effect. He looked at the senior executives around him excitedly, wanting to see if they had any reaction to Shen Feng's often singing. But I found that these fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were all smiling. Even laughed, even happier. Damn, what's wrong with these people? Are you obsessed with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan? Don't they have any reaction to such outrageous singing? Sun Guang really wanted to grab the collar of the people around him and ask, can't you hear them singing out of tune? Unfortunately, the director was sitting next to Sun Guang, so he didn't dare. Just when Sun Guang was shocked, suddenly Shen Feng's voice was heard on the stage again. Oops, sorry, there seems to be something wrong with the accompaniment I prepared, so I played Xiao Jia's version instead. Director, please help cut the accompaniment. Then, it was as if everything had been planned long ago. The accompaniment of Love Until Death sounded again. When Shen Sheng sang that extremely high note, and when the senior executives of the nearby TV station cheered, Sun Guang cried, why the hell doesn't it work? Chapter 351 Drinking water is such a beautiful thing. What do you think? Old Sun, I said they are pretty good, right? Wait until Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan finish their medley of songs. There was applause from the audience. A senior executive of a TV station patted Sun Guang on the shoulder and said to him with an expression as if to say, my child is awesome. Sun Guang's answer to him was just one sentence. A. Senior management. The senior executives looked at Sun Guang as if he was mentally retarded. Old Sun, what's wrong with you? You were so excited listening to Feng Zi and Wanwan that you can't speak. I know they performed well, but you don't have to do this. Sun Guang's eyes were filled with tears. He pointed at his throat anxiously and said a few words in a babbling voice. The senior executive blinked his eyes and said, you want to say that your voice is not as good as theirs? That's nonsense. Your voice can compete with Jayatnam's singing. A. Sun Guang stamped his feet and mumbled for a long time. Finally, he used up all his strength and uttered a word. Water. But Sun Guang's current voice is really not good enough. In addition, the host on the stage is now interviewing Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan according to the procedure, and the voice is quite loud. So the senior executives didn't hear it clearly. He looked at Sun Guang in confusion and said hesitantly, Ghost? What ghost? Where is the ghost? Water! Sun Guang shouted again at the top of his voice. Mao, what's wrong with your mouth? Your lips are pretty sexy. Water! Sun Guang was almost out of breath from shouting. This time the senior executive finally heard clearly. Oh, you want water? Sun Guang nodded quickly. The way he looked at the senior executive was like looking at his own father. But I didn't. The top management spread their hands. Sun Guang covered his face. If the law didn't prohibit it, he really wanted to beat the guy in front of him to death. At this time, the director of Zong HAIDV, who was sitting next to Sun Guang, handed Sun Guang a bottle of water. Sun Guang hurriedly thanked the director and then took 2 sips. After he swallowed the water, he breathed a sigh of relief as if he had been resurrected. The director looked at Sun Guang and frowned, asking, what's wrong with you? You seemed fine just now, why are you suddenly mute? Forehead. Sun Guang's voice was still a little hoarse at this moment. But what gave Sun Guang a bigger headache than the sound was how to explain it to the station director. He couldn't tell the director, because he suspected that the medicine he gave Shen Feng was fake. So when Shen Feng was singing just now, he took out the medicine and tasted it twice. And as a result, he succeeded in making his voice hoarse. Right? I ate too much salty food before, and my throat is hoarse. Sun Guang could only explain with a hoarse voice in the end. The director didn't care too much. He stood up, patted Sun Guang and said, drink more water later now, let's go talk to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. What are you looking for them for? Sun Guang was guilty and panicked when he heard the director say he wanted to find Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. The director looked at Sun Guang in confusion and said, what do you mean by, what do you want to do with them? Sun Guang, is this a question an adult should ask? She's a big star. We paid a lot of money to invite her to perform. Now that the rehearsal is over, isn't it normal for us to go and express our condolences? Besides, we are all fans of them. Is there any problem with us going to meet them? No. Sun Guang secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that the director knew what he had done and wanted to take him to confront Shen Feng. But on second thought, Sun Guang felt that there was nothing to be afraid of. First of all, there was nothing wrong with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's performance just now. Although I don't know why this medicine has no effect on Shenfeng. Since it has no effect, Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan probably didn't even know that they drank the spiked water. Then you definitely won't find it on his head. So what does he have to be afraid of? Thinking of this, Sun Guan felt more confident. He followed other senior executives of the station to the backstage and found Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan, who had just come down from the stage and were removing their makeup. The performance was really good. I knew that inviting you guys was the wisest choice. Backstage, after seeing Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan, the usually serious old director's face was filled with joy. Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan politely greeted the station director. And then Shensheng said modestly, "It's just a small show that we put together temporarily. It's average, not outstanding." No, it's already good. After the director exchanged a few polite words with the two people, Shensheng suddenly picked up a bottle of water and handed it to the director, smiling and saying, "Director, have a drink of water." Although Shenfeng's sudden behavior of handing over the water made the director a little confused. But as a fan, if you see the star you like handing you water, of course you will be very happy to accept it. The director happily took the bottle of water, unscrewed it, and was about to drink. Sun Guan, who was standing by, was so frightened that his face changed color. No matter how he looked at it, this bottle of water looked familiar. Isn't this the bottle of spiked version he made? It's over something. It's really going to happen. If the master drinks this water, his throat will definitely be damaged given his old condition. When the time comes, we will investigate what happened. Investigate Shenfeng, investigate the source of the water. And in the end we will definitely find it back to him. Then he is really barbecue. So at the critical moment when the master was about to drink water, Sun Guang snatched the bottle of mineral water from the director's hand at the fastest speed in his life. "Hey, Sun Guang, what are you doing? This is from Shenfeng to the station director. Hurry and bring it here." Seeing this, the senior executives nearby hurried to snatch it back. But Sun Guang knew it very well. If this water is kept, it will definitely be a disaster. As long as you want to check, it is easy to find out that the water is drugged. Therefore, if you want to avoid being discovered completely, the best way is to destroy the body and the evidence. When Sun Guan thought of this, he put the mineral water bottle into his mouth without hesitation. It's like the river is flowing back. He gulped down a few gulps and finished the bottle of mineral water. Anyway, his throat has been treated with medicine, so it doesn't matter if he drinks more stuff with additives. After drinking it, Sun Guang burped violently. He patted his chest again. With his hoarse voice, he said with difficulty, "Drinking water is such a beautiful thing. No, sorry, master. I'm still very thirsty and couldn't help but drink the water Shenfeng gave you. I'm really sorry." The director frowned. Although he was unhappy, it was just a bottle of mineral water after all. It's just that Sun Guang's behavior today was so inappropriate that he felt a little embarrassed. Just when the director wanted to say something to Shenfeng, suddenly I saw Shenfeng took out another bottle of mineral water. Then he smiled and said to the director, "Director, don't mind it too much. I still have a bottle here." Sun Guang then remembered that there were 2 bottles of mineral water with added ingredients. I watched as the director once again took the bottle of mineral water with added ingredients. Sun Guang resisted the urge to cry and snatched the bottle of mineral water again. The spring breeze blows, the war drums beat. Who is afraid of who when it comes to drinking water? One word: dry. Chapter 350 to Happy New Year. After Sun Guang drank 2 large bottles of water, he was already a little bit confused. Although this thing is not wine, you won't get drunk even if you drink too much. And I feel so full. Now Sun Guang has only one idea: feel like vomiting. But he still had to pretend to be calm and put on a smile. He said to the master, "I'm sorry, master, I'm still thirsty." You are really. The director wanted to say that Sun Guang was shameful. But thinking of Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan in front, the director held back and said nothing. He just glared at Sun Guang fiercely. Sun Guang knew that after Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan left, he would probably have to write a self-criticism or something like that. But it doesn't matter. As long as the fact that he drugged Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan is not exposed, everything will be fine. Now that he had finished both bottles of spiked water, the crisis could be said to have been resolved. Just when Sun Guang felt relieved and could finally put his mind at ease, Shensheng took out another bottle of mineral water as if performing magic. And looking at the packaging, it's the same as the previous 2 bottles. Shensheng handed the bottle of water to the director again. "Don't mind too much, I have another bottle here." Sun Guang? Wait a minute. What's happening? Why is there still water at Shenfeng's place? And it may be because of a guilty conscience. No matter how Sun Guang looked at it, he felt that the bottle in Shenfeng's hand at this moment was like water with something added to it. Did he drink the wrong thing just now? Sun Guan's heart, which had just been at ease, was suddenly lifted again. He gritted his teeth and was about to grab the bottle of water again. But he saw Shen Feng also smiling and handed him a bottle of water. This uncle seems really thirsty. Don, take the water from the director. I still have some here, I'll give you a bottle. Sun Guan took the bottle of water. I just felt that the 500 ml of mineral water in my hand was as heavy as a mountain. The director looked at him and said, okay, this time they'll give you a bottle directly. Drink it. Sun Guan wanted to say that he really couldn't drink anymore. But seeing the looks of the director and the senior executives around him, Sun Guan still took the risk. He opened the bottle of mineral water with a feeling of going to the execution ground. And the water started to flow back again. But this time, the river flows in the wrong direction. Sun Guan drank so much water that the water in his stomach suddenly came up before he could even take 2 sips. Then with a wah sound, a shower of flowers began to spit out. In fact, from a certain perspective, Sun Guan's spitting is quite layered and artistic. It's like speaking lotus words. If the situation were different, the master might even appreciate it. But unfortunately, as someone who has been vomited all over, the master really has no interest in appreciating it. The director, who was soaked by the vomit, yelled at Sun Guan. Sun Guan. Master, Sun Guan looked at the director with a sincere and apologetic look, intending to bow and apologize. As a result, I bent down. Another mouthful of liquid sprayed on the director's body. Director, where's my knife? After such a farce, the director naturally would not forgive Sun Guan. Afterwards, Shen Feng told the director that Sun Guan had drugged them. If Shen Feng told the director directly, the director might doubt its authenticity. And even if they believed Shen Feng, they might not punish Sun Guan severely in the end for the sake of the station's face. But now, the master was anxious. Even if the drugging had not happened, the director was thinking of killing Sun Guan. After learning that Sun Guan had actually drugged her, the director did not hesitate and called the police directly. When Sun Guan was taken away by the police, he looked as if he wanted to say something but hesitated. The police frowned and asked him, do you have anything else to say? Sun Guan said, trembling lie with an expression on his face that was uglier than crying. I need to pee. Hearing what Sun Guan said, Zhang Wanwan, who was about to leave with Shen Feng, suddenly whistled twice. Sun Guan's expression suddenly became more painful. The policeman next to him pushed him and said, what are you standing there for? Where is the toilet? I'll take you there. Sun Guan cried and said, I don't want to go now. After saying, he couldn't help but shiver. The day before New Year's Eve, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan officially appeared on the stage of Zhonghai City Spring Festival Gala. Thanks to the strong participation of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, the ratings of this year's Zhonghai City Spring Festival Gala directly topped the list of all local stations and won the title of Ratings King. However, the performances of the two at the party caused quite a bit of controversy on Weibo. Some people who have not watched Let's Start Dating Today said that although Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan sang very well, the inserted part of Love Until Death was too unpleasant to listen to. I strongly suggest that the person who sang that part be invited out, so that I can see the difference between him and other people. When I played that part, my sister, who had been deaf for 10 years, jumped out of bed and slapped me. The fact that I can hear this song is a miracle that it passed the censorship review, and the fact that I can live to hear the whole song is a miracle of life. Su Jianxin may not be the original singer, but he is definitely the plaintiff. When old fans told these new fans that it was Jay Yatnam who sang the song, Jay Yatnam was furious. On New Year's Eve, when Jay Yatnam woke up, he found that his Weibo had exploded. He then clicked on a private message. He found that the other party had sent him a message like this. Easy Ho Feiwei, brother, have you ever considered taking a professional class to improve your singing skills? Jay Yatnam's eyes lit up. Does anyone think there is any hope for his singing voice? He quickly replied, actually, I have thought about it. An old useless man, then don't think about it again in the future. Jay Yatnam. Damn it, did I provoke you? Jay Yatnam was furious. He clicked on another private message, only to find that the person had pushed a video to him. Looking closely, it was still the performance of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan on the Zhonghai City Spring Festival Gala last night. Jay Yatnam was playing games yesterday and didn't watch the show, so he clicked on it. When he heard the medley of songs by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, Jay Yatnam looked particularly enjoyed. That's great. Brother Shen and Wanwan are really good at singing, and this duet of love songs is really sweet. Thinking of this, Jay Yatnam specially found some headphones and put them on, intending to enjoy this sweet and wonderful musical journey. Because the skewers are very long, nearly 10 minutes. So Jay Yatnam took his phone to the toilet and squatted while listening. At first, Jay Yatnam felt a little blocked. Maybe it was because the hot pot we had yesterday was a bit spicy. But when he heard the sudden pig slaughtering voice of, "I will love you until I die" in his headphones, Jay Adnan suddenly felt that his whole body was clear. He finally understood why he became so popular last night. Zhang Ziyiqi's home. On New Year's Eve, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan stayed at Zhang Ziyiqi's house all day, together with Tang Ping and Shen Xiaojiyuo, who also live here. That night, Shen Feng and Zhang Ziyiqi worked together to cook a large and sumptuous New Year's Eve dinner. The whole family sat happily around the dinner table, listening to the sound of the Spring Festival gala coming from the TV next to him. Shen Feng brought the last dish and sat next to Zhang Wanwan with a smile. He and Zhang Wanwan looked at each other, and then they both raised their drinks. Seeing this, Tang Ping, Su Yan, Zhang Ziyiqi and Shen Xiaojiyuo also raised their glasses, accompanied by the sound of firecrackers outside the window. They shouted out those four words in unison. Happy New Year. Chapter 353, Aunts and Uncles. New Year's Day. According to the traditional customs of Zhonghe City, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan should have visited their relatives to wish them a happy new year. But after all, the two of them are big stars, and it is not convenient for them to show up in public. So the New Year greetings were skipped. On the contrary, many relatives took the opportunity of New Year's greetings to visit Shen Sheng and Zhang Wanwan. For example, some of Zhang Wanwan's brothers and sisters, some of whom have almost no relationship with her, still came to Zhang Ziyiqi's house early in the morning. On the surface, it was to wish Zhang Ziyiqi a happy new year. In fact, some of them didn't even see Zhang Ziyiqi, and as soon as they arrived, they surrounded Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan and asked for their autographs. Among them are true fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. There are also those speculators who want an autograph and then resell it. It would have been fine if there were only one or two people asking for autographs. But more than a dozen came in the morning, not to mention Zhang Wanwan. Even Zhang Ziyiqi was annoyed by it. However, compared to these people, what Zhang Wanwan is more annoyed with are the aunts and uncles. What these aunts and uncles love to do most is to ask questions you don't want to answer and say things you don't want to hear. Zhang Wanwan still remembers that before she became a star, when she was still in high school, these aunts and uncles were always thinking about finding a partner for her. Talk about how handsome the young man from a certain family is, and how rich the second generation of rich people from certain places are. Zhang Wanwan is so pretty, don't waste her. At that time, Zhang Wanwan really wanted to hit someone. After Zhang Wanwan became a star, these aunts and uncles became even more outrageous. He kept urging Zhang Wanwan to find someone to marry while she was still popular. Zhang Wanwan still remembers some classic quotes from her relatives. Don't say you want love. Life is not only about love, but also about food, oil, salt, sauce, vinegar and tea. Finding a rich man is for your own good. Look at your status. You're a celebrity, so many big bosses like you. You have to listen to my advice. I've been through this before. I am your aunt, how could I harm you? You are still young, you have not experienced much, and you don't have a long-term vision. That's why you always think we are harming you in the future. You will realize that we are doing it for your own good. Some are even more shameless and even recommend their own children to Zhang Wanwan. They said that we were all of the same age and we should get along well with each other. Maybe we could be together again if our destiny allowed us to. Moreover, they not only care about whether Zhang Wanwan has a partner, but also what kind of roles Zhang Wanwan takes and what kind of movies she shoots. Then he asked Zhang Wanwan how much money she made for a movie, how much she made in a month, and then said something sarcastic like, "Oh, being a star really makes money." Some relatives still know about Shen Feng's existence. Every time he came to pay New Year's greetings, he would say a few bad things about Shen Feng in front of Zhang Wanwan. Sometimes he would say all kinds of nasty things, and it was obvious that he was doing it on purpose to disgust Zhang Wanwan. To be honest, Zhang Wanwan felt that she was too good-tempered at the beginning. She felt that if she met such a relative again, if she didn't beat him till he shit green, it would be like he didn't get to eat leek dumplings during the Chinese New Year. At noon, the aunts and uncles that Zhang Wanwan hated the most finally arrived. I don't know if it's because Zhang Wanwan became so popular this year, but when these aunts and uncles came this time, they obviously brought a lot more gifts in their hands. The smile on his face was quite friendly, especially after seeing Zhang Wanwan. He was so familiar with her that he almost wanted to hug her. If you don't know, you might think they are Zhang Wanwan's biological mothers. Zhang Wanwan quickly distanced herself from them, then said with a fake smile, "Auntie, you're here, Happy New Year, come and sit down." After all the aunts and uncles sat down, Zhang Wanwan started watching TV and eating melon seeds. Ignore them completely. This made all the aunts and uncles feel a little embarrassed. It was only when Zhang Ziyiqi and Su Yan passed tea and water and said some polite words that the awkwardness was slightly eased. Shen Feng could tell at a glance that Zhang Wanwan was in a bad mood. So he sat next to Zhang Wanwan and asked in a low voice, Brother 1, what's wrong, don't you want to see them? Zhang Wanwan nodded and whispered to Shen Feng about the glorious deeds of these aunts and uncles. And she curled her lips and said, every year during the Chinese New Year. They are the ones who annoy me the most when you meet relatives who are not related to you at all. They pretend to be very familiar with you, then they either urge you to get married or ask about your work. They even ask about things that are unpleasant to you. They are just designed to make you sick. Zhang Wanwan also told Shen Feng that Su Yan's relatives on her mother's side were actually not very wealthy. After Zhang Zhiqi started his company, Su Yan's relatives from her mother's side became a little jealous, especially when they asked Su Yan to borrow money several times and Su Yan refused. These relatives from her mother's side liked to make fun of their family. Seeing Zhang Wanwan gritting her teeth, Shen Feng smiled and pinched her little hand. Brother Wan, you got angry with them and hurt your own body. Aren't you losing a lot of money? But I just feel uncomfortable. How about I teach you a trick so you can get revenge? Real? As Shen Feng spoke, he moved closer to Zhang Wanwan's ear and began to whisper. Zhang Wanwan's third aunt was the one who was rejected by Su Yan when she asked to borrow money. When she saw Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan talking together, she couldn't help but suck her teeth. She knew Shen Feng back then. And she also knew that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were close. And she also knew that Zhang Ziqi and Su Yan didn't like Shen Feng very much at the time. So she often mentioned Shen Feng in front of Zhang Ziqi's family in order to discuss them. But now, Shen Feng, whom she once used to discuss Zhang Ziqi, has become a real big star. He is also together with Zhang Wanwan. And they have become a loving couple that countless netizens envy. Zhang Wanwan's third aunt felt extremely imbalanced and uncomfortable. She cracked a melon seed and ate it while looking at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan leaning against each other. She said sarcastically, the young couple are really close. They stick together in front of so many of our elders. Alas, if it were our boy, he wouldn't be so brave. The third aunt said that her children were not so brave. In fact, it was mocking Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan for being thick-skinned. Or shameless. This was a relatively straightforward statement. Not to mention Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, even Zhang Ziqi and Su Yan frowned when they heard it. Su Yan opened her mouth and was about to say something to help her daughter. Zhang Wanwan suddenly raised her head with a smile and looked at her third aunt. Third aunt, I have been brave since I was a child. You know this for a long time, so please stop praising me. Am I praising you? Third aunt complained in her heart. It turns out that Zhang Wanwan is still as stupid as before. I can't tell whether she is being praised or scolded. Zhang Wanwan continued, by the way, third aunt, we haven't seen each other for a year. I want to ask you something but I don't know if you can answer this question. The third aunt had a false smile on her face and said with a smile. Ask Wanwan, why are you being so polite to the third aunt? Just say what you want to say. Yeah, well, I'll just say it straight then. Zhang Wanwan smiled like a cute little white flower. I want to ask, do you have any plans for divorce? Chapter 350 For how old are you? Third aunt wondered if there was something wrong with her ears. Divorce? She is fine, why would she get a divorce? The third aunt still had a fake smile on her face. She looked at Zhang Wanwan and said, Wanwan, what are you talking about? Aunt and your uncle are doing well, why are you getting divorced? How is my uncle? Zhang Wanwan blinked innocently. I don't think it's a good idea. I really advise you to divorce my uncle as soon as possible. He really doesn't deserve you. Look at what you have. You are the third aunt of the famous star Zhang Wanwan. And you are also good looking with a nice nose and eyes. As the saying goes, a woman in her middle age still has her charm. Many bosses like your type. Look at my uncle, he earns little and looks average. His only good thing is that he is honest, but being honest is useless. As Zhang Wanwan spoke, her tone gradually became more serious. Auntie, you have to listen to my advice. I've been through this before. And I know how important it is to find a good husband. Don't say that there is love between you and my uncle. I tell you, life is not just about love, it's also about the daily necessities of life. Divorce my uncle and find a big boss. I'm doing this for your own good. The fake smile on third aunt's face finally couldn't be suppressed. She finally heard it. Isn't what Zhang Wanwan said a replica of what she said when she urged Zhang Wanwan to get married? So Zhang Wanwan is treating others in their own way. Right? Third aunt's face darkened, and she said seriously, Wanwan, are you kidding me? You are the younger generation and I am the elder. Should you joke with me like this? I am telling you. Your aunt and your uncle have a good relationship and live a good life. We will not get divorced, and I will not look for some big boss. Zhang Wanwan let out an ouch, in a very artificial way. Then she said a grieved lie, third aunt, how can you say I'm joking? I'm really doing this for your own good, you're still young. No, you're old, and your vision isn't as far-sighted as our young people. So you always think I'm trying to hurt you. You are my third aunt. And we are a family, how could I harm you? Of course not. Third aunt's expression is as ugly as it can be. In the past, She always used this set of words to discuss Zhang Wanwan's family. Now, she has become the one being disgusted. She looked at Su Yan and said, "Sister Yan, look at your Wanwan, what is she saying? I know she's a big star now and she's different now. I also know she resents me for pushing her to get married. But she shouldn't talk to me like that, I'm her aunt." Su Yan would definitely stand on the side of her daughter. At this time, she imitated Zhang Wanwan's stupid behavior and helped Zhang Wanwan to say, "Xiaomin, I think what Wanwan said is right, he is thinking about you." Third aunt wanted to say something else. But Zhang Wanwan was holding her phone at this time and said to her third aunt, "Third aunt, I have a list of bosses here, they are all local entrepreneurs in Zhongha. And they are all middle-aged bachelors. Look, MRLI from Shanhe Trading, Mr. Xiao from Fun IU Catering, and Mr. Liu from Sanson Sports are all excellent candidates. Let's not talk about anything else, just take Mr. Liu V. Heard of Shanhe Trading, right? Miss Xiao from Fu and IU Restaurant, although she has been divorced once and has a child. This is also a good thing, her child is still young and lacks maternal love. If you can fill the maternal love for the child and let the child recognize you, and you will definitely be the boss lady of Fu and IU Restaurant in the future." And this? To be honest, originally, third aunt thought that Zhang Wanwan was deliberately teasing her and tormenting her. But slowly, after Zhang Wanwan introduced several bosses, third aunt actually felt a little moved. Especially under Zhang Wanwan's boasting tactics that specifically exploit people's weaknesses. "You don't look old at all, and do you think the bosses like young people? No, young people are only after the money and have no sense of security. Only people like you can give these bosses a sense of security. Why do you think they haven't gotten married? Is it because they don't have money to get married? It's because they haven't found the right person. You have experience. Understand people's hearts, know what they want, and if you become the most suitable person in their hearts, they will definitely accept you. And, you have to think carefully. Maybe all these bosses will get married next year, these opportunities are fleeting. If you don't grab them, they will be gone." Third aunt looked at the information of those bosses on Zhang Wanwan's phone, swallowing saliva secretly. Her fingers trembled, and finally she pointed at a handsome boss and said, "Wanwan, how about you give me his WeChat?" Zhang Wanwan turned her head away and used coughing to hide her current mood. She really couldn't hold it any longer. What's going on with this third aunt? Originally, Zhang Wanwan just wanted to disgust her third aunt. And she definitely didn't really want her third aunt and uncle to divorce. After all, she is not Director Chen who can break up any couple. She didn't expect that her third aunt would be so unable to resist temptation. But in the end, we adhered to the service tenet of doing good for third aunt. Zhang Wanwan still gave the boss's WeChat address to her third aunt. The source of information for these bosses is, of course, Chen Feng. In order to help Jiangzi Cheese Company, Shen Feng became familiar with almost all the bosses in Zhongha City. Third aunt took the WeChat and left excitedly. Looking at her like this, Zhang Wanwan suddenly felt a little disappointed. She clearly wanted to discuss third aunt. But now, third aunt seems to be quite happy. So did she fail? Thus when she was stunned, several other relatives suddenly came over. Looking at the phone in Zhang Wanwan's hand, he said expectantly, "Wanwan, that boss or something, why don't you introduce him to us?" Zhang Wanwan. Wait until all these relatives are gone. Zhang Wanwan silently apologized to her uncles and aunts in her heart. MRLI from Shanhe Trading is in a good mood today. Although there were some minor conflicts with Shen Feng last year, which caused some minor fluctuations in their company's revenue in the middle of the year. But ever since he made peace with Shen Feng, he found that their company's business was going smoothly. By the last year, the profits were actually higher than before. MRLI also took a day off on the first day of the Lunar New Year and specially found a club to have a massage and relax. Lying on the massage bed and enjoying the masser's service, MRLI was very satisfied. At this moment, MRLI heard his WeChat phone ringing. He opened it and found that it was a friend request. The note reads Wanwan's aunt. Wanwan's aunt? Zhang Wanwan's aunt? MRLI didn't dare to be negligent now. I quickly clicked agree and sent a message. Shanhe Trading MRLI, hello, what can I do for you? Rose Blooms, hello MRLI, I'm Aunt Wanwan. Rose Blooms. I would like to ask, are you single? MRLI was stunned. He is still single indeed. Could it be that Wanwan's aunt wants to introduce the child to her? MRLI touched his chin. Zhang Wanwan's aunt's child should be about the same age as Zhang Wanwan. And from a genetic point of view, Zhang Wanwan is good looking. So even if her aunt's child is ugly, it can't be too bad. The most important thing is, to have a relationship with Zhang Wanwan's aunt is equivalent to having a relationship with Zhang Wanwan. It is equivalent to establishing a relationship with Shen Feng. This is the most important thing. So MRLI replied immediately. Shanhe Trading MRLI, I am single, do you have any suitable partner to introduce to me? Roses are blooming, yes. MRL, I was delighted. Chan Yi trading Mr. Lee, do you want to introduce your child, or your relative's child? Rose blossoms, I introduce myself. MRLI? Chan He trading Mr. Lee, how old are you? The rose bloomed without going back to its age. It just sent a photo over. Look at the woman with gray hair in the picture. MRLI silently withdrew the words, how old are you? Then he sent it again. Chan He trading MRLI, how old are you? Chapter 355, see the God of War again. Zhangye City holds a temple fair every Chinese New Year. Except for New Year's, even New Year's Day, when everyone generally celebrates the New Year at home. There are temple fairs to visit almost every day from the 2nd to the 7th day of the New Year. Early in the morning on the 2nd day of the Chinese New Year. In order to avoid various relatives who might come to visit, Zhang Wanwan got up and dragged Shenfeng to the largest temple fair nearby. Although temple fairs are not necessarily held next to temples, the temple fair that Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan attended was indeed held next to a temple. And the name of this temple is very unique. There are many temples in China, and the name of each temple has a unique origin. For example, the White Horse Temple is named so because white horses were once raised there. Shaolin Temple is called Shaolin Temple because the mountain is Shoshui and there are 2 cypresses in the forest. The name of this temple in Zhangye City is quite powerful, because this temple took several decades to build, and it was said to have been completed on a Thursday. Hence the name of this temple. It's called Shushi Temple. Although the name of this temple is a bit hasty, it is precisely because of its unique name that it has attracted many tourists over the years. This also makes the temple fair of Shushi Temple one of the largest temple fairs in Zhangye City. After Shenfeng drove Zhang Wanwan to the vicinity of Shinqi Temple, he encountered the first big problem: parking. Although Zhang Wanwan thought she was very diligent today and got up very early, but in fact, when Zhang Wanwan got up, it was almost 9 o'clock. For this kind of temple fair, there are already many tourists at 5 or 6 o'clock. Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan arrived late and there was no space to park. Zhang Wanwan sat in the car and looked around out the window. Suddenly I saw a lot of cars parked on the small road next to me. Although there is no parking space marked there, it seems that we can only park there now. Fengzi, go there? Zhang Wanwan hurriedly gave instructions. Chen Cheng obediently drove the car towards the path. As a result, Shenfeng had just parked the car on the side of the road and got out of the car with Zhang Wanwan. I saw a traffic policeman walking slowly beside the path. Holding the ticket in his hand, he walked towards Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan's car. Zhang Wanwan looked again and discovered that there were tickets on the long row of cars in front of her. Obviously, this is a no parking zone. Seeing this, Zhang Wanwan hurriedly pointed behind the traffic policeman and said, "Uncle policeman, someone is calling you from behind." The traffic police looked back. Zhang Wanwan took advantage of this time to pull Shenfeng back to the car. When the traffic police turned back, the car had already started again. The traffic police round and walked to the car and knocked on the window. Just as he was about to speak, Shenfeng spoke first. "We just stopped temporarily and will leave soon." Traffic police. "It took you less than a minute to get off the car and get back on it. Why did you stop it?" Zhang Wanwan said with a smile. "We just want to get off the car to visit you." Traffic police. "DSK, that's enough. Let's go next time. Try to park in the designated parking areas. Okay?" Yes, thank you for your hard work." Zhang Wanwan said this, raised the car window, and signaled Shenfeng to drive away quickly. She even said with some relief, "Fortunately, I reacted quickly. Otherwise I would have lost $200. But soon, Zhang Wanwan no longer felt lucky, because she and Shenfeng discovered that apart from this small road, there seemed to be no place to park. Moreover, as time goes by, more and more people come to the temple fair. It is difficult to leave, let alone find a place to park. Finally, Zhang Wanwan sighed and said to Shenfeng, "Why don't we talk to the traffic police and give him 200 yuan and just stop there for a while?" "It too, are you looking for a parking space? We have a place to park right here." At this moment, Shenfeng suddenly heard someone knocking on the window. He rolled down the car window and heard a bald man outside the window say this. When they saw this bald man, Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan were both stunned. Because of this person, they both knew each other. That year in Qingjilong Mountain in Sichuan City, Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan had a conflict with an anchor named Brother God of War. That God of War brother was beaten up by Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan, and also indirectly offended Fuyan. It can be said that his life was quite miserable. And this bald guy is none other than the God of War. However, Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan recognize him. But he did not recognize Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan. Brother God of War has met Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan twice. The first time was at Qingjilong Mountain. At that time, Shenfeng was wearing a dragon robe and sunglasses. and Zhang Wanwan was cosplaying as Dongfeng Bubai? The second time was in a tourist town in Sichuan. At that time, Shen Feng pretended to be a fortune teller and tricked Brother God of War. It was too dark that time, so Brother God of War didn't see Shen Feng's appearance clearly. Now Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have their faces covered tightly because they are going to attend the temple fair. Not to mention that Brother God of War was not familiar with them. Even Jiat Nan, Sidiyu, Zhang Qianming might not be able to recognize Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan in their current attire. If a passerby offered to give up a parking space, Shen Feng might believe it. But this God of War has never been a good person. Moreover, there were so many cars around and there was no parking space, but this God of War brother went straight to their car. Shen Sheng felt that it was very likely because their car was more expensive. Feng Zi, be careful, there may be fraud. Zhang Wanwan whispered to Shen Feng. Shen Feng nodded, but after thinking about it, he still said to Brothers on Shen, "Brother, where is the parking space? I see it's very congested here. There's no place outside, but I have a way." Brother God of War said this and patted his chest. Zhang Wanwan saw the God of War patting his chest and suddenly asked, "Why, do you want us to stop in your heart?" Brother God of War, how does this little girl's brain work? Sister, you really love to joke. However, Brothers on Shen still said enthusiastically, "My friend has a small shop in the temple fair. He has reserved a piece of open space around it, so you can park your car. Is there a charge? It shouldn't be cheap, right?" Shen Feng tapped the steering wheel and asked again. "Well, of course we charge some money, but not much. Don't worry, we are all doing business honestly, so we definitely won't cheat you." Other God of War said this with great confidence. Shen Feng thought about it and finally nodded as if he believed it, and said, "Okay, then you take us there." "Okay, then you drive behind me and I'll lead the way." After saying this, Brother God of War walked forward. Zhang Wanwan had already understood what Shen Feng meant when he tapped the steering wheel just now, and she used her mobile phone to search Weibo for news related to parking at the Zhanghe Sunday Temple Fair. Because the Xingqi Temple Fair is quite popular, some people are discussing it on Weibo. In addition to many people saying that parking is difficult, Zhang Wanwan also saw several people saying that they were dragged to an open space inside the Sunday Temple Fair to park, and were forced to pay exorbitant parking fees in the end. Zhang Wanwan showed the phone to Shen Feng, and then asked, "Feng Zi, do we still need to go in and park?" "What?" Shen Feng smiled and said, "There is a parking space for us. Why don't we park? As for the mandatory fees and money sucking, if he had the brains to cheat us out of money, he wouldn't be in this situation today." Zhang Wanwan thought of the God of War brother who had been fooled by Shen Feng, who pretended to be a fortune teller. He nodded in agreement. Chapter 356 Knowledge Changes Destiny. You know what? It seems like Brother God of War actually has some ideas this time. Not far from the entrance to the temple fair, in a slightly remote place, there is actually a reserved vacant lot. There were 7 or 8 cars parked here at this time, and they all looked like luxury cars. Brother Ars guided Shen Feng to stop in the open space, then said with a smile, "Okay, brother, just stop here without any worries." "Brother, how much do we charge here?" Shen Sheng did not rush to get out of the car, but asked. $30 an hour, don't think it's too expensive. Other it's better to park here than to get a ticket, right? Brother Ars looked cheerful. Besides, brother, you are driving a car, do you care about these 30 or so? Us park your car here with confidence, and we will ensure that nothing will happen to your car. Shen Feng nodded. And he took out his cell phone and said, "How about this, let's stop for 5 hours and I'll transfer 150 to you first." No, brother, there's no rush to pay. I'll collect the money after you come out of the temple fair." Brother Ars waved his hand and said, "What if you come out before playing for 5 hours? We will have to refund the money. What a hassle. Besides, I am a real person and I don't want you to spend more money." "Okay, brother, hurry up and get off the bus to have fun. The temple fair will only be lively at noon." Shen Feng got out of the car, but didn't let Zhang Wanwan get off. He got out of the car and felt in his pocket. Brothers on Shen thought Shen Feng wanted to take a cigarette, so he smiled and said, "You're welcome, brother." As he said this, he made a gesture as if he was about to reach out to take the cigarette. As a result, Shen Feng took out a piece of toilet paper and blew his nose. A hand that the God of War stretched out froze, and Shen Feng seemed to have just seen the hand extended by Brother God of War. He said a little embarrassed lie, "Hey, big brother is so polite. I can't bear to let you throw away this snot paper." Speaking of, Shen Feng stuffed the sticky ball of toilet paper into the hands of Brother God of War. Brother God of War's expression was as ugly as if he was constipated. But when he thought about the young man in front of him, who was the fat sheep he was going to kill, Brother God of War suppressed his anger and silently threw away the snot tissue. After throwing away the paper, Brother God of War returned to Shen Feng. He glanced at Zhang Wanwan, who was sitting in the car, and asked, "Brother, why don't you bring your girlfriend to the temple fair? No shopping, no rush." Chen Feng smiled. "Because when I come back from shopping, a parking fee won't be 30, but 3,000. Brother R's expression changed slightly, but he still forced a smile and said, "What are you talking about, brother? I'm just trying to help you out of kindness. How could I do such a thing? Why can't I do it?" Shen Cheng leaned against the car and looked at brothers on Shenna. "When we come back from shopping later, you can directly ask for a price ranging from 3,000 to 5,000. If we are unwilling to pay, you can call your thugs out to threaten us. The targets you choose are all young people in their 20s who drive luxury cars. These people often come from wealthy families and do not have much power themselves, relying entirely on their parents. You and your brothers threaten them with knives, guns, sticks and clubs, and some of the timid ones just gave them the money. Even if they are not timid, they are afraid of trouble and are too lazy to waste time with you. Anyway, they don't need the 3 or 2,000 yuan, so they can just pay and leave. As for those rich second generations who are particularly spoiled and fearless, if you find that you can't force them, you just let them go. Because these people are always a minority, and there are more people who are taken advantage of." What Shen Feng said was all found by Zhang Wanwan on Weibo, and she just showed it to Shen Feng. This is exactly the way Brother God of War uses to cheat people out of money. Moreover, Brother God of War probably really has some small backers in this temple fair. It is said that some people who have been cheated have gone to report to the temple fair management. But to no avail. When Brother God of War heard that his tricks had been exposed, he could no longer hold back the fake smile on his face. He looked at Shen Feng coldly and said, "Boy, are you here to cause trouble on purpose? You know I have subordinates, but you still dare to be so arrogant. You are really not afraid of death, right?" Brother God of War said this and coughed violently. Immediately afterwards, 7 or 8 thugs armed with machetes and iron bars walked out of a small tin house next to the open space. They surrounded Shen Feng one by one. Looking at this situation, to be honest, even Zhang Wanwan in the car felt a little worried. After all, Shen Feng is not Superman, and these people have knives in their hands. Zhang Wanwan now understood why those rich second generations were cheated by Brother God of War. Faced with so many thugs armed with knives and iron bars, how many normal people would not be afraid? Although Shen Feng is not a Superman, he is not a normal person either. So Shen Feng still looked calm. He didn't even look at the people who gathered around him. Instead, he looked at Brother Ars and said, "I told you so much. But you still don't recognize who I am. Who are you?" Brother Ars frowned. He did feel that the voice of the man in front of him sounded somewhat familiar. But I really didn't think of it for a moment. Chen Cheng leaned against the car calmly, and said with a masterly demeanor, "That day in Sichuan, I read your fortune and told you how to change your luck." Upon hearing this, Brother God of War became even angrier at that time. "Oh my god, it's you. Fuck you, you screwed me so badly. You made me pretend to be a woman, and live stream. Not only did my live streaming room get blocked, but I also became a laughing stock among countless friends. Fuck you." As the God of War said this, he even snatched a knife from his man and was about to chop at Shen Feng. In the end, Shen Feng still didn't hide. He even changed to a more comfortable position and leaned against me, and said slowly, "Is it me who cheated you, or is it you who cheated yourself? Don't you know it? Let me ask you, before your cross-dressing live broadcast was blocked, were you very popular for a while?" The knife in the God of War's hand stopped. He recalled it carefully. It seems that the reason why his live broadcast room was blocked was because the popularity of the women's clothing live broadcast that day was too high, and it was reported by many people. He nodded. Shen Feng sighed. "Yes, this shows that the method I taught you is effective and can help you change your luck. It's you who didn't persist. My live broadcast room was blocked. How can I persist, and I was permanently banned afterwards? Otherwise why would I do this now?" Brother R stared. "You are doing this because you didn't listen to me and insisted on wearing women's clothes. You gave up wearing women's clothes and also gave up the possibility of changing your luck. This is what led to your current decline." Chen Cheng had an expression that said, "I am doing this for your own good. Think about it yourself. When you were dressed as a woman, your live broadcast room was very popular. Now that you are not dressed as a woman, you come here to do fraudulent work. Which is better, dressed as a woman or not?" My Brother God of War gradually fell into deep thought. However, although Brother God of War is not very smart, the younger brother next to him is still smart. One of the younger brothers knew that Shen Feng was fooling around, and he quickly said, "Brother, don't listen to him, he's obviously talking nonsense." "Yes, what era is it now? How can you still believe in fortune telling? If you can, calculate it for me." Another little brother volunteered to come up. Shen Feng glanced at him and motioned for his younger brother to stretch out his hand. Then, while looking at the younger brother's palm, he asked, How old are you this year? Don't you know how to count? Count if you can. I count you as 24 this year. You have a younger sister. You started to work in society before you graduated from junior high school. But you have been unknown for so many years. You have a girlfriend who is a gangster girl. But you don't like her very much. You don't like reading books. But you love playing games the most. You have played King of Glory. And your rank is pretty good. After Shen Feng finished speaking, the younger brother sneered. I told you that you are talking nonsense. Everything you said is wrong. I'm 27, an only child. And I have a dual master's degree from university. I've never been in the society before. And today is my first day in the industry. I don't have a girlfriend. I've always been single. I've never even held a girl's hand since I was a child. I usually love reading. I have read all the famous works from ancient and modern times, both Chinese and foreign. I never play games. After hearing this, the god of war glared at him and said, all your calculations are wrong. How do you explain it? This is probably what we call knowledge changing destiny. Shensheng said dejectedly. Shensheng is really feeling a little melancholy now. To be honest, he really didn't expect it, and he didn't guess any of them correctly. Damn it, what the hell are you doing in society with a double degree master's degree? Change your uncle. You little bastard, you have deceived me time and again. Today, I will use my fist to change your fate. Other god of war knows that Shen Feng is a liar. And now he is really angry. As he spoke, he reached out to grab Shen Feng's collar. But at this moment, an angry shout came from behind them. We are from the Zong Hai Public Security Bureau. Put down your weapons and don't move. When brother god of war turned around, he saw several policemen rushing up and subduing him and his men. Shen Feng straightened his collar. He smiled and looked at brother Ars and said, have you never thought about why I am willing to follow you even though I know your tricks to cheat people out of money? Read more books and be more careful when you have time in the future. After all, knowledge changes destiny. Chapter 357 I like people like you who are so shameless. Because Shensheng had helped the Zong Hai police solve a major case before, he was quite familiar with the police. On the way to the parking lot, Shen Feng sent a message to Captain Liu, whom he had met before. Even if the person who sent the message asking for help was not Shen Feng, Captain Liu would have rushed over to check out the situation. Not to mention that Shensheng had helped them solve a case before. After taking War God and his gang away, Captain Liu saluted Shen Feng and said with a smile, the last time you helped me solve a case, you were just participating in a variety show and were a little famous. Now, half a year has passed, and you have become a big star known all over the country. Captain Liu patted Shen Feng on the shoulder and said, young man, that's great. Captain Liu, thank you for your praise. Shen Feng also smiled. Zhang Wanwan also got out of the car at this time and greeted Captain Liu. She was not that familiar with Captain Liu, but they had met once before. After a few polite words, Captain Liu said he wanted to pack up and go back. But Zhang Wanwan said with some embarrassment, Captain Liu, can we still use this parking lot? There is really no place to park outside. Of course you can, there are so many cars parked here. We will contact the temple fair management first, and then investigate and deal with it according to the law. It will be fine for you to park here today. Zhang Wanwan laughed happily again when she heard it. After seeing off Captain Liu and his group, Shen Feng was going to take Zhang Wanwan to the temple fair. But at this moment, two young people, a man and a woman, walked into the parking lot. Judging from the way they were holding the car keys, it seemed that they were here to drive away. The man took the car keys, looked around, and finally said in confusion, strange, where is the boss? You don't charge parking fees anymore, right? Seeing this, the woman said, it's good that the boss is not here. Let's just go. That won't work. Who am I to take advantage of this little advantage? The man snorted, seeming to be very proud. It's only a few dozen dollars for parking. Would I run away from paying it? When Zhang Wanwan saw these two people, her eyes suddenly turned. Then he walked up to the two people and said, why, you two are going to drive away? The man looked Zhang Wanwan up and down. Seeing that Zhang Wanwan was wrapped tightly like a dumpling, he lost interest. He waved his hand and said, yeah. Does it have anything to do with you? Oh, I'm the boss's niece. The boss is not here right now, so I'm collecting the parking fee for him, Zhang Wanwan said with a smile. The man gave her a puzzled look. Finally, he frowned and said, what evidence do you have to prove that you are qualified to collect parking fees? Although this man acted quite generous before, he was actually quite considerate and did not directly believe Zhang Wanwan's words. Of course, the main reason is that Zhang Wanwan's appearance doesn't look like a parking fee collector, like it was just shipped from Eskimo. Zhang Wanwan repeated to the man the charging rules that Brother God of War had previously told her in Shenfeng. After hearing this, the man transferred several dozen yuan in parking fees to Zhang Wanwan with doubt. Then he drove away with the woman beside him. Zhang Wanwan looked at the dozens of yuan that had just arrived in her account with a happy smile on her face. Shen Cheng was speechless after watching this. His younger brother is already a big star who can earn millions for every announcement. But he still has the bad habit of taking advantage of others. When Zhang Wanwan collected the money and was about to leave with Shen Feng, another young man walked into the parking lot. When Zhang Wanwan saw it, she decided not to leave. He pulled Shen Sheng and used the same trick again. When the young man heard that Brother God of War was not there, he was actually quite regretful. Oh my god, I wanted to take a photo with Brother God of War when I got back. Why isn't he here? Zhang Wanwan was stunned when she heard this. Do you know Brother War God? Of course, there are a few people who do live streaming who don't know him. The young man spoke with even more regret. I used to be a fan of Brothers on Shen. But it's a pity that he inexplicably quit the internet a few days ago. Alas. Looking at the young man's regretful expression, Zhang Wanwan suddenly muttered, he is not quitting the internet now. He is now caught. What? The young man didn't hear what Zhang Wanwan said. No big deal, I said the parking fee is 90 in total. Zhang Wanwan changed her words again. The young man transferred 100 yuan to Zhang Wanwan. Then came the sentence, don't look for it anymore. Then he drove away in a cool manner. Watching the young man's back as he left, Zhang Wanwan sighed sadly. This fan of Brother God of War. It seems that his IQ is somewhat problematic? After saying that, Zhang Wanwan looked at the 100 yuan transfer in her phone and suddenly laughed again. But I just like this kind of stupidity. Shen Feng on the side looked at Zhang Wanwan kindly. Zhang Wanwan, who didn't realize that what she said was not right, looked at him puzzled. Lie. What's wrong, Feng Zi? Why are you looking at me? You just said that you like those stupid people? Shen Feng asked with a smile. Yes, no. Only then did Zhang Wanwan realize that the sentence she had just said was somewhat ambiguous. But she was also speechless. It was clear that what she said was not that kind of love. And Feng Zi would not fail to hear it. This Feng Zi is just making himself jealous. Thinking of this, Zhang Wanwan took Shen Feng's hand and shook it, saying with a playful smile, I just like jealous people like you. Is that okay? Shen Feng didn't look away and didn't look at Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan raised an eyebrow. My goodness, this kid is quite difficult to appease today. An 800-year-old monster is trying to learn to be a tsundere from others. Zhang Wanwan thought about it, and finally reached out and took off the mask on Shen Feng's face. And he took off his mask, stood on tiptoe, and kissed Shen Feng. And at this moment, at the entrance of the parking lot, someone shouting was suddenly heard. Is the boss here? Do you want to take the money? Zhang Wanwan, who had just kissed Shen Feng on the lips, immediately turned back and was about to shout at the top of her voice. But she didn't have time to shout out the word in. Shen Cheng had already held her head down and sealed her lips. Let this yes turn into a muffled whimper from Zhang Wanwan's mouth. The person who had just arrived at the parking lot heard the word the foreign confusion. But when he walked to where the sound came from, he found that no one was there. What he didn't know was, right next to him was the side of a luxury car. Shen Cheng was leaning down and kissing Zhang Wanwan. In fact, if that person took one more step forward, he would have discovered the two people. But the man finally did not take this step and left again in confusion. Only after the man drove away did Shen Feng let Zhang Wanwan go. Zhang Wanwan's lips were pecked red by Shen Feng. She shyly hit Shen Feng and complained. You are so brave, aren't you afraid of being seen by him? Shen Feng smiled and hugged her, asking, what are you afraid of? You and I are a legal couple, and we even have a child. Is there anything wrong with kissing? As he spoke, Shen Cheng reached out and lifted Zhang Wanwan's chin. Come on, one brother, tell me again, what kind of person do you like? Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes. Chirped, I like people as thick-skinned as you. Okay. Chapter 358, Big News in Jayatnam. Since the temple fair at Shinki Temple can be used as a tourist attraction for Zhongye City during the New Year, there is no need to say much about how lively it is. As soon as Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan entered the temple fair area, they felt it was getting crowded. Shen Feng deliberately hugged Zhang Wanwan and kept away anyone who might get close to her, especially men. Zhang Wanwan leaned in Shen Feng's arms, feeling Shen Feng's careful care, with the corners of her mouth raised behind the mask the whole time. She finally understood why most women like to find older men. These mature men who know a lot are often better at taking care of people than those little puppies and cubs. Although Shen Feng is actually a young wolf dog at this age. But in fact, this guy is more than 800 years old and is definitely an old dog. This is not ripe anymore, it's almost ripe. In the past, when visiting temple fairs, Zhang Wanwan's favorite thing to do was to go straight to the snack stalls and start eating a lot. Today, as usual, she and Shen Feng went directly to the snack street at the temple fair. But for some reason, looking at those snacks, Zhang Wanwan actually lost her appetite for a rare time. All kinds of skewers, chicken meatballs, grilled squid, and fried chestnuts. These were snacks that Zhang Wanwan used to love to eat. But now she just lost her appetite after seeing them. In fact, during the 2 days of the new year, Zhang Wanwan showed some anorexia when eating at home. However, Shen Feng is an excellent cook and he takes Zhang Wanwan's appetite into consideration when cooking for her. So Zhang Wanwan can still eat some. Now that they were at this lively temple fair, the atmosphere was already very lively, and it was too crowded and noisy. Zhang Wanwan's heart was in a mess, and her appetite had greatly decreased. Plus, the cooking skills at these stalls really couldn't compare to Shen Feng's. So after a while, Zhang Wanwan lost her appetite. Seeing that Zhang Wanwan was gradually becoming dispirited, Shen Feng took her to find a place to sit down. Zhang Wanwan leaned in Shen Feng's arms with her head drooped, blinking her eyes and whispered, "Fengzi, I never thought that there would be a day when I would come to the temple fair and not buy snacks. I spent hundreds of dollars on parking fees before, and was planning to spend it well, but now it seems that it's impossible." Shen Feng rubbed Zhang Wanwan's hair and said gently, "Take a rest, maybe you'll have an appetite later." Zhang Wanwan nodded, then leaned in Shen Feng's arms and stopped talking. The two men sat on the bench and rested for several minutes. People who came to participate in the temple fair were coming and going, and it was very lively. But Zhang Wanwan leaned in Shen Feng's arms and actually fell asleep like that. Shen Feng sighed. Zhang Wanwan was in good spirits this morning, but suddenly became listless near noon. It's really not easy for this pregnant woman. As Shen Feng was thinking, a little girl suddenly walked in front of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. The little girl was wearing a red cotton jacket with fluff hanging on it, making her look furry and quite cute. The little girl was holding a basket with many flowers in it. She skillfully took out a few beautiful flowers, handed them to Shen Feng and said, "Big brother, buy a few flowers for me. $10 a bunch. $20 for 3 bunches." Looking at the little girl's skilled business manner, you can tell that this is definitely not the first time she is selling flowers to people. Shen Cheng took a look and found a flower stall nearby. It seems that the little girl should be from that stall. Shen Cheng wanted to refuse directly, but the little girl seemed quite persistent and continued to sell on the product. In order not to wake Zhang Wanwan, Shen Feng used his mobile phone to scan the QR code on the little girl's basket and transferred 10 yuan. And he took a bunch of flowers from the basket and signaled the little girl that she could leave. "It's so expensive, what a rip-off." After the little girl left, Zhang Wanwan, who seemed to have fallen asleep in Shen Feng's arms, suddenly muttered these words. Shen Feng lowered his head and asked in a low voice, "Why, did I wake you up?" "No, I didn't sleep very soundly." Zhang Wanwan rubbed her eyes and looked up at Shen Feng's face in Shen Feng's arms. "If you have $10 to buy flowers, you might as well buy some roasted kidneys to eat. Flowers have no other use except to look beautiful." Shen Cheng smiled and removed the plastic wrapping from the bouquet of flowers. Then he broke off the extra part of the flower's rhizome, leaving only a part. Then he pinned the pink little flower on Zhang Wanwan's ear. "You can't put roasted kidney on your head," Shen Feng said. Zhang Wanwan sat up straight and took out the small mirror she carried with her to look at herself. The pink flower is pinned there through the gap between the hat and the ear. It makes Zhang Wanwan, who originally looked like a rice dumpling, more colorful. "The Zongzi is blooming." Zhang Wanwan saw it and couldn't help but complain. Then she laughed herself, "But it does seem pretty good." After resting for a while in Shen Feng's arms, Zhang Wanwan's spirits recovered a little. A male Zongzi and a female Zongzi with flowers on their heads started to visit the temple fair again. Because Zhang Wanwan still had no appetite, Shen Feng found a soup stall on the way to the temple fair. Thinking of asking the owner to help make a simple egg drop soup. At least let Zhang Wanwan drink a few sips to replenish her nutrition. When the boss heard that Shen Feng wanted to order egg drop soup, he pointed to the sign of his stall. "Hey boy, this is a meatball soup shop. We only sell 3 kinds of meatball soup, there is no egg drop soup option. Do you understand? If you want to buy meatball soup, buy it quickly. If you don't want to buy it, don't block the road. There are many people waiting in line behind you." It was obvious that the boss was very busy today, so he didn't want to waste time with Shen Feng and waved his hand to send him away. Shen Feng took out his mobile phone and scanned the boss's payment code. The boss glared and said, "I'm telling you, don't give me money. I won't make egg drop soup for you even if you pay me. 500 yuan has been deposited into Alipay. Egg drop soup, right? Come on, come sit over here, big brother. Wait a moment, I'll make you a special bowl of hot, delicious egg drop soup right away." The boss immediately changed his tone. "I have to say that once the money is in place, work efficiency will also be in place." After a few minutes, the boss brought egg drop soup to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, who were sitting nearby. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan did not eat at the stall, but found a more remote and deserted place. Zhang Wanwan drank the egg drop soup while saying, You spent 10 yuan on flowers just now, which was already very extravagant. Now you are spending so much money on egg drop soup. Is it delicious? Shen Feng ignored Zhang Wanwan's mumbling and asked. Zhang Wanwan glared and said, the most important thing is that this expensive egg drop soup is not as delicious as the one you make. It's much worse. Not really it, as just egg drop soup. The taste won't be too different no matter who makes it. Right? Try it. Zhang Wanwan scooped a spoonful of soup and fed it to Shen Feng. After Shen Feng drank it, he tasted it carefully. Finally, he said, I think this soup is pretty good. When I was in the cycle before, I went to find a state banquet chef. The egg drop soup he made sold for 888 a bowl. And the taste was similar to this. Zhang Wanwan was stunned when she heard this. This is what the 888 egg drop soup tastes like? Is this true? Of course it's fake. Shen Feng smiled and helped Zhang Wanwan wipe the egg off her mouth. But now that you've put it this way, do you feel less sorry for the money? Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan was drinking egg drop soup in silence. Halfway through their drink, WeChat notifications rang on both her and Shen Feng's phones. This usually happens when someone tags both of them in the group. Or tags everyone. Zhang Wanwan took out her phone and saw that someone had tagged everyone in the dating group. But after reading the message carefully, Zhang Wanwan was dumbfounded. Jiet Nan, everyone, brothers and sisters, Ting Ting and I have decided to hold our wedding in half a month. Everyone must come and support us then. Xiao Jia is getting married. Chapter 359. A scarf. Zhang Wanwan, what's going on? Xiao Jia, why are you getting married so suddenly? Zhang Wanwan asked in the group. Not only her, but others in the group were also asking Jietnam why he wanted to get married so soon. Although Li Ting Ting and Jietnan had been in love before, they did not show any intention of getting married anytime soon. They are both still quite young. Why are they in such a hurry to get married? Li Ting Ting, mainly because of me. Li Ting Ting sent a message followed by a crying emoticon. Li Ting Ting, my relatives always asked me how my studies were going before I was admitted to Peking University and Tingshui University. After I was admitted, they stopped asking about my studies and started asking whether my major was suitable for finding a job. Li Ting Ting, after I found a job in the entertainment industry, they started nagging me about whether I could find a partner. Now that I have found Xiao Jia as my boyfriend, they are asking when I will get married. Li Ting Ting, they also said that Xiao Jia has been keeping me hanging and not marrying me, and is playing with my feelings. I am really convinced. I have only been dating him for half a year. How can he be said to be keeping me hanging? Li Ting Ting, anyway, I was a little overwhelmed by the urging of my relatives at that time. Zhang Wanwan couldn't help but sigh when she heard what Li Ting Ting said. It turns out that all relatives in this world are the same. No wonder more and more young people don't like to go home during the Chinese New Year. It's really annoying to meet such talkative and troublesome relatives. Zhang Wanwan, but in half a month, is it enough time for you to prepare for the wedding? Isn't it too hasty? Li Ting Ting, I don't think so. Xiao Jia said to leave it to him and he has a way. Zhang Wanwan, Jia Tenan, if you have any ideas, please come out and tell us. Zhang Wanwan, where is Jiet Nan? Is he missing? At this time, Shen Feng, who was beside Zhang Wanwan, said, he's not missing. Jiet Nan is here with me. You kidnapped Jietnam? Shen Feng. Shen Feng handed his phone to Zhang Wanwan, and then said, Jiet Nan is chatting with me. Zhang Wanwan took Shen Feng's phone and looked at it. The corners of my mouth couldn't help but twitch. Jiet Nan. Brother Shen, please help me. You are so powerful. It will be no problem for you to help me arrange a wedding in half a month. Jiet Nan, my dear brother, saving lives is like saving fire. I boasted to Ting Ting that half a month was enough to prepare. And Ting Ting also told her relatives if I can't do it, I will be embarrassed. Jietnam, saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Please. So Jiet Nan and I heard that he has a solution. He actually wants your help. Zhang Wanwan was speechless. Shen Feng nodded. It's not easy for him to think of asking me for help. Based on his personality and luck, I thought he would really handle the entire wedding by himself. And finally make mistakes and embarrass himself at the wedding. Zhang Wanwan thought about it and felt that what Shen Feng said made sense. When a friend is in trouble, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan must of course help. But Zhang Wanwan added, this Xiao Jia, he didn't think twice before he boasted. And now that he's in trouble, he wants you to help him out. This is not a good character today. You help to clean up this mess. But you can't always help me in the future, right? This kid must learn a lesson. Zhang Wanwan said this, took Shen Feng's phone, and sent a message back to Jiet Nan. Shen Feng, it's not impossible to help. Jiet Nan, I will pay for all your and Wanwan's dining out in 2022. Shen Feng, deal. Zhang Wanwan clapped her hands in delight. I never thought that this little Jia is quite sensible. Shen Feng took back the phone and looked at the chat history between the two. Then he said, the person on the other side is not Xiao Jia, but Li Ting. Zhang Wanwan was startled. How do you know? You are going to give birth this year. It is not convenient to go to a restaurant in the first few months before the birth and during the confinement period after the birth. It's said to be 2022, but apart from these times, there may only be half a year left plus I cook for you. And we don't go out to restaurants very often, so this package of money for eating out for a year won't cost much after all. Shen Feng said slowly. Jia Nan's brain is definitely not capable of thinking of so many twists and turns. The only person who can get by with this kind of reward is Li Ting, a top student. Zhang Wanwan pondered for a moment after listening to this. Finally, he asked Shen Feng, am I being tricked? Shen Feng rubbed Zhang Wanwan's head. Distressed lie. You just figured it out. Zhang Wanwan. After becoming pregnant, her IQ seemed to have dropped significantly. Feng Zi. If I become as stupid as City Yu one day, will you still want me? Zhang Wanwan suddenly asked. Shen Feng smiled, no need for ifs. At first Zhang Wanwan thought that Shen Feng's words were to comfort her, saying that he would definitely still want her, but after a few seconds, Zhang Wanwan reacted. Feng Zi, I think you're itching for trouble again. As Zhang Wanwan spoke, she reached into Shen Feng's clothes, grabbed the flesh on Shen Feng's waist and began to twist it. Shen Feng looked at Zhang Wanwan pitifully, like a puppy. Blonde brother, can you bear it? Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng looked at each other. Then he twisted it on. After spending most of the day at the temple fair, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan decided to go back around for in the afternoon. Although Zhang Wanwan was not in a good condition in the morning, she still had a lot of fun in the afternoon. Not only did he play various entertainment activities at the temple fair, he also found a clay sculpture stall and pulled Shen Feng to make clay figures for a long time. Chen Cheng was very deft and made two little figures. One was him and the other was Zhang Wanwan. They look somewhat similar, but Zhang Wanwan's hands are not so dexterous. She kneaded there for a long time, but nothing looked like anything. Finally she simply kneaded the mud into a large cube that looked like a brick. It was even called a bed made for the two little figures made by Shen Feng. When I was walking home at around 4 o'clock, it was actually getting dark. It gets dark so early in winter, where evenings are also exceptionally cold. Zhang Wanwan wrapped the scarf tightly around her neck. This scarf was the one Shen Feng had just bought for her at a stall. It is a beige scarf with brown kittens embroidered on it. Wearing the scarf, Zhang Wanwan felt a lot warmer. But when she saw that Shen Feng still had his neck exposed, Zhang Wanwan fell into deep thought. She remembered that she had read a girl's comic book before. In the film, the heroine saw that the hero didn't wear a scarf in winter, and was afraid that he would be cold, so she took off her own scarf and gave it to the hero. But the hero was afraid that the heroine would be cold, so he gave the scarf back. Finally, the two people decided to spread out the scarf. The people are wearing the same scarf, and the distance between the two was shortened by the scarf, and they walked closely together in the winter night. Zhang Wanwan felt that maybe she could now emulate the ancients and do the same. So Zhang Wanwan took off her scarf, left half of it around her neck, then pulled out the remaining half and put it around Shen Feng's neck. But Zhang Wanwan soon discovered, this scarf seems a little short. When she struggled to wrap half of the scarf around Shen Feng's neck, she was almost suffocated by the scarf around her neck. In order to walk normally, she had to stand on tiptoe, tilt her neck, and then stick close to Shen Feng. Zhang Wanwan thinks, in this pose, she looks like an idiot. She shouldn't have believed those girls' comics. How could there be a scarf that long enough for two people to wrap around? Damn. Zhang Wanwan was walking on tiptoe with great effort while complaining in her heart. Shen Feng suddenly stopped, lowered his body, and asked, is the scarf not long enough? Zhang Wanwan just hummed. Shen Feng leaned over and picked up Princess Zhang Wanwan. The distance between the two people was thus shortened. Shen Feng lowered his head and whispered in Zhang Wanwan's ear, this way, the scarf will be long enough. Zhang Wanwan let out a long sigh. She was really too young back then, which is why she thought those girls' comics were so provocative and romantic. His Feng Zi is obviously much more charming than the one in the comics. Okay. Chapter 360 I'm ready for you. Jia Tenan is from northern Hebei, and Li Ting is from Shangjing, both in the north. Moreover, their wedding was planned to be held in Shangjing City. So after spending the more New Year days at home and accompanying their parents, Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan flew to Shangjing City. In fact, Su Yan and Tang Ping both wanted Zhang Wanwan to stay at home obediently. But Zhang Wanwan didn't want to not see Shen Feng for half a month. And she would definitely be present at Jie Yatnam's wedding. Since I have to go to Beijing sooner or later, I might as well go with Shen Feng. When we arrived in Shangjing, Jia Tenan and Li Ting to pick us up at the airport. Brother Shen, you really saved my life. When he saw Shen Feng, Jia Nan was like he had met his savior. and he couldn't wait to hold Shenfeng tightly. It was not until Zhang Wanwan glared at him that Jiat Nan let go of Shenfeng. Then he smiled flatteringly and said to Zhang Wanwan, "Sorry to bother you, Sister Wanwan." Jia Tanin and Li Dingting took Shenfeng Zhang Wanwan to their home. Since Jiatnam became famous, he has made some money. However, if he wants to buy a house in Shangjing City, the money he earned in the past 6 months is still not enough. So he rented a nice apartment in Shangjing and lived with Li Dingting. Although Li Dingting is from Shangjing City, Jia Tanin can always go to Li Dingting's home and live with Li Dingting's parents. The house rented in Jiatnan should not be cheap, but at least the overall environment is still very good. When they arrived at Jiatnan's house, Jiatnan served a tea and water to Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan. Shenfeng signaled Jiatnan not to be so polite, and then asked, "How much have you to prepare for your wedding now?" Jiatnam glanced at Li Dingting. Li Dingting looked at Jiatnan again. "You guys haven't prepared anything, have you?" Shencheng narrowed his eyes. Jiatnan coughed and whispered, "We prepared something." "What?" Jiatnan stretched out a finger and pointed at Shenfeng. "I've prepared you." Shenfeng. It turned out that these two men were planning to be hands-off bosses and use him as a laborer. Zhang Wanwan was also speechless. Whoever's husband is loved by everyone. Zhang Wanwan definitely had no objection to helping Jiatnan and Li Ting, but she was also worried that her own Fengzi would be tired. But Jiatnam is also quite self-aware. He said to Shenfeng, "Brother Shen, just tell me what to prepare for the wedding and how to design it. And I will do all the rest of the running errands. We just need an experienced military advisor who can give us advice." "Shenfeng, how do you know that I have rich experience in weddings?" "Well, anyway, you always give me the feeling that you know everything." Jiatnam scratched his head. Zhang Wanwan approached Shenfeng and asked in a low voice, "Fengzi, you don't know anything about weddings, do you?" If you think about it carefully, Shenfeng had been repeating the same day before. So he probably didn't have much chance to have a wedding or something like that. "I really understand this," Shenfeng also said in a low voice. Although he really doesn't have time to get married since he repeats the same thing on the same day. He was so bored that he not only wandered around many weddings, but also helped out and played the role of MC. When I had nothing to do, I looked up all kinds of wedding information on the internet to read and learn. So that if one day he escapes from the loop, he can personally create the most perfect wedding for him and Zhang Wanwan. So, Jiatnam's intuition was right. However, although Jiatnan said that he would do all the errands, since Shencheng came to help, he must help to the end and Jiatnan cannot be left to do it alone. In the next few days, Shenfeng and Jiatnan were busy with wedding preparations. Li Dingting is responsible for taking good care of Zhang Wanwan. From the selection of the wedding location to the wedding scene, the design of the wedding process and so on, Shenfeng was well prepared. When it came to the final stage of choosing the wedding dress, Shenfeng and Jiatan met up with Li Dingting and Zhang Wanwan and found a top-notch wedding studio in Shangjing City. In fact, stars like Jiatnan and Li Dingting, especially those who are now famous, usually have their wedding dresses custom-made. But now time is running out and it is obviously too late to customize. You can only pick out the better finished wedding dresses from this wedding studio and take a look at them. When Li Dingting was trying on the wedding dress, Zhang Wanwan said to Jia Tenin earnestly, "Xiao Jia, every girl has a dream of wearing a wedding dress. That dream is extremely romantic and dreamy. If you were not well off, it would be fine if you couldn't give her the best. But you are in pretty good shape now, and you and Ting Ting are both public figures, so you can definitely give her something better." "Yes, I know, I will give her a wedding dress that is unique to her later." Jiatnan also became serious. "Ting Ting is a good girl. I won't let her suffer any injustice here with me." Zhang Wanwan nodded with satisfaction. Although Xiao Jia is unlucky and sometimes a bit funny, he can undoubtedly be a good husband. After talking to Jiatnan, Zhang Wanwan also started walking around the bridal studio. As she said, every girl has a wedding dress dream, and she is no exception. Whether it is the gorgeous Chinese phoenix coronet and bridal gown, or the dreamy western white wedding dress, which girl doesn't want to wear these and walk into the marriage hall with the person she loves? In her previous life, after Shenfeng got into trouble, Zhang Wanwan would often dream about Shenfeng. She still remembers that one time she dreamed that she was wearing a wedding dress and walking into the church hand in hand with Shenfeng. But when she opened her eyes, it was just a dream. She cried alone for a long time that day. She felt at that time that she would never have an experience like the one in her dream again. But now, Zhang Wanwan turned her head and looked at Shenfeng, who was looking at the wedding dress with her. A sweet smile suddenly appeared on her face. Shenfeng saw Zhang Wanwan suddenly laugh. So he also smiled and asked, "Why, you are so happy all of a sudden?" Nothing, I'm just in a good mood," so I smiled. Zhang Wanwan said, "How about these wedding dresses? Is there any style you like? Shen Feng touched her head and asked again. Well, I feel like they're all pretty much the same. They're pretty good, but not amazing. This is Zhang Wanwan's true words. These wedding dresses were indeed beautiful, but Zhang Wanwan always felt that the wedding dress she had dreamed of before was far more stunning than these. Although Zhang Wanwan herself can't recall what the wedding dress in her dream looked like, she always has this feeling. Actually, I feel like these wedding dresses are pretty average. Shen Feng whispered in Zhang Wanwan's ear. Later, I will make you a wedding dress that will absolutely amaze you. How about that? Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng in astonishment. You can even make wedding dresses? Shen Feng smiled slightly. Looking around the corner. A little bit. Chapter 361 Lantern Festival Dinner. The 15th day of the first lunar month is the Lantern Festival. In a few days, it will be the wedding day of Jiat Nan and Li Tingting. And Shen Sheng has almost finished all the preparations. In fact, for Shen Feng, half a month of preparation time is more than enough. He had watched no less than 1,000 weddings, either live or recorded. So it was not difficult for him to organize a grand wedding. Seeing that everything was almost ready and there was still a few days of free time, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan stayed at Jiat Nan's house. Jiat Nan almost worshipped Shen Feng as a god now. Although he asked Shen Feng to come to the rescue at the beginning, he only felt that Shen Feng could help him. As for how much help Shen Feng could provide and how the wedding would go, Jiat Nan had no idea. But after following Shen Feng around bussying around these days and seeing Shen Feng helping to prepare everything with ease, Jiat Nan felt more and more confident. I also admire Shen Feng more and more. A few days ago, when Shen Feng and Jiat Nan were having dinner at night, Jiat Nan, who was drunk, hugged Shen Feng and cried for a long time. Brother Shen, you are so kind. If it weren't for you, I would be in real trouble this time. I have been extremely unlucky since I was a child. After I met you, I thought I was even more unlucky, but now I realize how lucky I am to have you as a friend. I have no regrets in my life for being able to be friends with you. Seeing Jiat Nan's true feelings, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were both moved. Then Jiat Nan said, "It's a pity that I'm not a woman. If I were a woman, I would really want to marry you. Father Shen, I must be reborn as a beautiful woman in my next life, and then spend my whole life with you." The looks of Li Tingting and Zhang Wanwan became dangerous at the same time. The two men picked up the chopsticks and pressed them against Jiat Nan's neck. "I will help you to reincarnate right now." Jiat Nan sobered up immediately. From that day on, Jiat Nan no longer dared to drink with Shen Feng at night. I was afraid that if I said something wrong, I wouldn't see the sun the next day. Today is the 15th day of the first lunar month, the Lantern Festival, and Jiat Nan plans to celebrate it properly to thank Shen Feng for his help. In the morning, he called various restaurants in Shangjing City, trying to book a lunch. But Jiat Nan also overlooked how busy these restaurants were on the 15th day of the first lunar month. Some people had booked dinner parties half a month or even a month in advance. Jiat Nan only made the reservation today, so there was no room left. But Xiao Jia was also tenacious and called 40 or 50 restaurants in the morning. Finally, my hard work paid off and I found a seat that was vacant after another guest cancelled his reservation. Jiat Nan happily went to find Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan and said, "Brother Shen, let's go to a restaurant for lunch. Order whatever you want." After hearing what Jiat Nan said, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were both stunned. Then Shen Feng said helplessly, "I was just about to tell you that Wanwan and I have a friend in Beijing. She has booked a restaurant for lunch today and plans to invite you to go with her." Jiat Nan immediately became depressed. With watery eyes, she bit her lip and whispered, "Brother Shen, do you know how much effort I put into booking this restaurant? Do you know how many phone calls I made, and how much money I spent on phone bills to find such an empty seat? Can't my sincerity move you?" Shen Feng said slowly, "A friend invited us to Huaxia Hotel and said he had contacted the state banquet chef there. I'll cancel my hotel reservation immediately. When are we leaving?" Jiat Nan changes his attitude faster than turning the pages of a book. Shangjing is the capital city and is already prosperous enough. The Huaxia Hotel is one of the most luxurious hotels in Shangjing. Not to mention that we also contacted the state banquet chef to take charge of the cooking. In fact, the one who invited Shen Feng was none other than Mr. Qin King. Ever since King got together with Sister Lin, it can be said that he has bewitched Sister Lin, a workaholic. I seldom go to work properly. In this regard, Zhang Wanwan had previously expressed a small protest to King, saying that it was difficult to find an agent as good as Sister Lin, and hoped that King would let Sister Lin go back. King didn't let Sister Lin go back. Instead, he gave Zhang Wanwan a bank card. It was said that he was renting Sister Lin from Zhang Wanwan. After getting the bank card, Zhang Wanwan was very considerate and stopped bothering Sister Lin and King. During this Chinese New Year, Sister Lin went back to Zhonghe City but stayed there for a short time before returning to Shangjing City. After hearing that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were also coming to Beijing, Sister Lin and Qin King had always wanted to have dinner with them. But Shen Cheng was busy helping Jie Nan with wedding arrangements and didn't have much free time. So Qin King simply booked a table at the Huaxia Hotel and invited a chef to cook. After all, Qin King may not have much of other things, but he definitely has a lot of money. Ever since Qin King acquired Zhenshun Jewelry with the help of Shen Feng, and the advertisements of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan attracted a lot of popularity, Mingyu Jewelry has almost become a top giant in the domestic jewelry industry. Jewelry itself tends to be high-end and profitable. And Qin King, the boss, is indeed capable. A few days ago, he took his own designs to a foreign trade fair and won foreign cooperation. Now Mingyu Jewelry can be said to be in its heyday. At noon, Jie Nan Roven took Li Dingting, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng to the Huaxia Hotel. To be honest, Jie Nan is a relatively popular star these days, but he is not particularly rich. He had never been to a place like Huaxi Hotel. After entering the hotel, the waiter took the initiative to come forward and asked Jie Nan, "Hello sir, do you have a reservation?" "Right?" Jie Nan looked at Shen Feng. "Some." Shen Cheng waved to the waiter, and then said, "This is the room that MRQ and King booked. So you are Mr. Shen's guest, please come over here." The waiter respectfully led the group towards the room King had booked. Following behind the waiter, Jie Nan whispered to Shen Feng, "Brother Shen, is your friend a big boss? How big is it? Is it richer than Jiang Tianming's family?" "I haven't thought about this question," Shen Feng said, "but he is definitely much richer than me." Turtle? Jie Nan swallowed. Jiang Tianming is one of the few rich second-generation people that Jie Nan knows. And he is also the richest rich second-generation person that Jie Nan knows. It was only after meeting Jiang Tianming that Jie Nan really understood the term wealthy and powerful. Before Jiang Tianming, the few rich second generations that Jie Nan knew were basically the kind of pretentious and showy dudes, especially a former classmate of his, who simply took the word dude to the extreme. It's incomparable to Jiang Tianming, the truly wealthy second-generation rich man. And now Shen Feng said that he had never considered who was richer. His friend or Jiang Tianming's family. This actually indirectly shows that the financial strength of the two families would not be too different. They are indeed worthy of being brother Shen's friends. Each one is more awesome than the other. Jie Nan muttered to himself. By now they had followed the waiter into the elevator. But just when the elevator door was about to close, a person suddenly ran over in a hurry. The man squeezed into the elevator before the door closed, and then said to Jie Nan excitedly, "Xiao Jia, old classmate. I really didn't recognize the wrong person." Seeing this person, Jie Nan's expression suddenly became much stiffer. Because this person was exactly the dandy classmate he had just been thinking about. Yang Shuo. Chapter 360. I'll support you, beat him. After Yang Shuo entered the elevator, he pushed aside Shen Feng, who was standing next to Jie Nan. Then, as if he was very familiar with Jie Nan, he put his arm around Jie Nan's shoulders and said, "Xiao Jia, long time no see, you are doing well, now you have become a big star." So. Jie Nan had an awkward smile on his face. It can be seen that he doesn't really want to have too much interaction with Yang Shuo. When they were in college, Jie Nan and Yang Shuo were roommates. But to be honest, he and Yang Shuo did not get along very well during their university life. Because Yang Shuo's family was rich, he acted very pretentious when he was in college. He drove a luxury car, wore famous shoes, did not study hard, and just took girls out to the bar every day. Although Jie Nan is a little naive now, he was one of the better students in the class when he was in school. When he was in college, he ran for class committee member. But Jie Nan, who was both good in character and academic performance, lost to Yang Shuo, who had barely attended any classes. The reason for his loss was that Yang Shuo spent a lot of money buying various expensive gifts before the election and gave them to his classmates. Not long after becoming a class committee member, Yang Shuo began to act like a hands-off boss, no longer caring about class affairs and continuing to eat, drink and have fun on his own. At that time, Jie Nan went to question Yang Shuo, asking him why he was not doing his job well even though he had taken away the position of class committee member. Yang Shuo smiled at Jie Nan and said, "I just wanted to play it for fun. But if I find it's not fun, then of course I won't play it anymore. Do you want to be a class committee member? Then I'll give it to you. I've had enough fun anyway." After this incident, Jie Nan seldom spoke to Yang Shuo. Because Yang Shuo is rich, he is very popular with others in the dormitory. Since Jie Nan stopped playing with Yang Shuo, other people in the dormitory distanced themselves from Jie Nan intentionally or unintentionally. If Jie Nan had not come out to film and dance in his sophomore year, aired the entertainment industry, and rarely returned to school afterwards. He would probably have spent several years of isolation in school. What do you mean by normal? Is it normal to eat here? In the elevator, Yang Shuo seemed not to notice Ji Etnan's embarrassment and was still talking to Ji Etnan happily. He pointed at the Huaxia Hotel logo on the elevator and said with a smile, "Huaxia Hotel is the most prestigious hotel in Beijing. You've done pretty well to be able to eat here. If I hadn't come here with my dad to celebrate the Lantern Festival, I wouldn't have been willing to eat here even though my internship is in a good company. The cost here is still not enough with my salary alone." Yang Shuo especially emphasized the pronunciation of the sentence, internship unit. Obviously wanting Ji Etnan to ask him where he was intern. Ji Etnan could hear the hidden meaning in Yang Shuo's words. But he didn't want to ask. Seeing that Ji Etnan didn't say anything, Yang Shuo shrugged. Then he said with a sigh, "My old classmate has become a big star now. He doesn't even want to talk to me anymore." Sigh. "Where are you intern now?" Ji Etnan asked, helplessly. He really didn't want to listen to Yang Shuo's sarcastic remarks. "It's a pretty good company." Yang Shuo laughed and said, "Have you heard of Mingyu Jewelry? It is the most popular jewelry company in China right now. As you know, my dad is also in the jewelry business. Originally, his processing factory cooperated with Senchun Jewelry. Now that Senchun has been acquired by Mingyu, my dad has also started to cooperate with Mingyu. I'm doing an internship this year, so my dad sent me to Mingyu. Mingyu only gives me a fixed salary every month. But my dad said that if I persevere for a few years, he will be able to promote me to a senior executive position." As he spoke, Yang Shuo stretched again. "Alas, my father also said that his processing factory is particularly valued by Mingyu Jewelry. If we can have in-depth cooperation with Mingyu in the future, he may be able to get Mingyu's shares after I become a shareholder of Mingyu. I may be able to propose to the boss to invite you to shoot a commercial. But if you ask me, Xiaojia, what's the point of being a star and showing off? How much money can you make? Why don't you work with me? I'll help you make a fortune, how about that?" Listening to Yang Shuo's obviously boastful tone, Ji Etnan felt nauseous. Yang Shuo has had this temper since his freshman year. He likes to show off when he has a little achievement. But Ji Etnan had nothing to say. Apart from those top-tier celebrities, small celebrities like Ji Etnan, who barely made it to the second or third tier thanks to date, earn less than a wealthy businessman in a year. Especially since Yang Shuo's family has now climbed onto the high branch of Mingyu Jewelry. Mingyu Jewelry had previously cooperated with Shenfeng Zhangwanwan, so Ji Etnan naturally knew this company. If Yang Shuo's family can cooperate with this company, they will definitely make more money in the future than when they cooperated with Senchun. Seeing Ji Etnan being speechless due to awkwardness, Li Dingting beside Ji Etnan suddenly frowned and said to Yang Shuo, "No matter how powerful the company you work for now is, your father's factory will develop in the future. Isn't it all relying on your father's connections? Xiao Jia is an actor now. Whether he earns a lot or a little, is the result of his own hard work. How dare you show off in front of Xiao Jia? Hey little sister, what you said is wrong. How did I show off?" Yang Shuo looked at Li Tingting and said, "I just want to help my old classmate. How can you say I'm showing off? By the way, are you Xiao Jia's girlfriend? Let me know your name." "Right? Xiao Jia, how dare you date female celebrities in the entertainment industry? Don't you know whether these female celebrities are clean or dirty?" As soon as Yang Shuo said this, Ji Etnan glared at him. "Yang Shuo, no matter what job you find or how your family gets rich, you can show off as much as you want. I won't stop you. But if you dare to say it, don't blame me for turning against you." When Yang Shuo heard this, he sneered. "Hey, you're still angry? Xiao Jia, don't you think I don't know your temper? You're such a coward. How dare you get angry with me? Besides, is there anything wrong with what I said? The female celebrities in the entertainment industry. I don't know how many I've played with. They are all people who can sleep with you for money. Especially someone like your girlfriend. She looks pure." But actually, Yang Shuo hadn't finished speaking yet. Ji Etnan had already put his hands around his neck and pushed him against the elevator wall. The elevator even shook. Yang Shuo glared at Ji Etnan. "Ji Etnan, you really dare to do that, don't you? You've become a little celebrity and you don't know your own weight, right? Hurry and let me go. I'm telling you, my dad is a gold member of this hotel. And I heard that the CEO of Mingyu Jewelry is also having dinner at this hotel today. If you dare to touch me again, I will ask the hotel's security to throw you out. Believe it or not." Ji Etnan gritted his teeth and stared at Yang Shuo. But this time, he really didn't do it again. Although he didn't care if he was thrown out. But this time he came with Shenfeng. And Shenfeng was also invited by someone. What if it's true as Yang Shuo said, that a heavyweight like the CEO of Mingyu Jewelry is also here? When the boss heard that he had beaten Yang Shuo, an employee of Mingyu, He took his anger out on Shenfeng and Mark Yuan, who had invited Shenfeng. That would cause big trouble for Shenfeng. Jiadnan felt that he could suffer injustice, but he could not implicate Shenfeng. Thinking of this, Jiadnan loosened his grip a little. When Yang Shuo saw it, he couldn't help but sneer and said, "I told you, you are a coward. Girl next to you, did you see your boyfriend's temper? You'd better talk to me than to and tell me, how much is the annual package?" You. Li Ting clenched his fists tightly. But her thoughts now were similar to Jiadnan's. It was nothing for her to be ridiculed, but she could not be implicated in the affairs of Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan, as well as MRQN, who had invited them. After all, Yang Shuo's father and the CEO of Mingyu Jewelry mentioned by Yang Shuo are both big shots that ordinary people can't afford to offend. It seemed that Li Ting and Jiadnan both endured it. Shenfeng suddenly said, "Xiaojia. Brother Shen. What's wrong?" Jiadnan asked in a low voice. "Hit him." Shenfeng said. "But he hit him." Shenfeng repeated it again. "Don't worry about who his father is, don't worry about who his boss is. Now I'll back you up, beat him up." The words, "I support you," made Jiadnan feel confident. To be honest, he didn't know why he felt that Shenfeng could be compared with the boss of Mingyu Jewelry. But he just felt that he could trust Shenfeng. As soon as Shenfeng finished speaking, Jiadnan clenched his fists instantly. Then, in front of Yang Shuo's shocked gaze, he punched Yang Shuo hard in the face. Yang Shuo screamed in pain after being beaten. But he was pinned against the wall by Jiadnan and could not move. He could only grit his teeth and angrily said, "How dare you do that? Who the hell does he think he is? Can he support you just because he says he can? Who the hell is he? He's your fucking dad, my brother." Jiadnan punched Yang Shuo in the face again. "If he says he can't support you, and he can't support you, and even if he can't support you, your father will definitely beat you today. If you dare to say anything else, I'll be showing mercy if I don't beat you up so badly that you need to go to the hospital for a year." After saying that, Jiadnan ignored the waiter's attempt to stop him and punched him again. This punch caused Yang Shuo to bleed from the nose. Chapter 363 I Can't Hold My Back. What Yang Shuo said offended not only Jiadnan and Li Ting. There are also Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan. Especially Zhang Wanwan. She and Li Ting are both actresses. What Yang Shuo said was an insult to Li Ting. But it was also an insult to her. It is true that the entertainment industry is a mixed place. And there are indeed many dark and unspoken rules. But it is radical like Yang Shuo to generalize and insult all actresses. Which is a disservice to those female stars and actresses who are truly working hard to improve themselves. If it weren't for the fact that she was pregnant, Zhang Wanwan, who had a bad temper, would have wanted to go up and hit the person herself. In the corridor on the 33rd floor of Huai Stay Hotel, Yang Shuo's father, Yang Wei, was greeting King cordially. "Boss Qin, I didn't expect to see you here. Have you booked a room? Why don't you come and eat with us? I'm just going out to eat with my wife and kids. No outsiders." Yang Wei said to King with a smile. He said that he didn't expect to meet King here. But in fact, King knew very well that this guy must have known the news a long time ago. For a normal family dinner with his wife and children, even if he was as rich as King, he would not choose a place like Huai Hotel. There are so many options that are more suitable for family reunion meals than here. Even for high-end restaurants of the same level and price, such as Jinyu Restaurant and Fenghualu in Shangjing. A Huaxia hotel is too business-oriented. If King hadn't invited the state banquet chef here to cook for her, she might not have held a banquet here. Yang Wei must have heard from somewhere that she was going to host a dinner party here. So he specially booked a room on the same floor just to have such an encounter, and to build a relationship with her. King has been in the business world for so many years that he is used to this kind of trick. However, King and Yang Wei were still relatively polite. She smiled and shook her head, saying, "We have a few guests today. So it's not convenient to disturb Boss Yang. Boss Yang, please go spend time with your wife and children. I still need to wait for someone here." Yang Wei glanced at the elevator not far away and said, "What a coincidence, I'm waiting for someone to my son called and said he'll be here soon. I'll come pick him up. Boss Yang's son is called Yang Shuo, right?" King chatted with Yang Wei intermittently. King actually doesn't like Yang Wei very much. This person is too clever and likes to cut corners when making jewelry. If it weren't for the fact that he had worked with Senshun Jewelry in the past, King wouldn't have wanted to have too much dealings with him. Yes, MRQN, you have a good memory. Yang Wei chuckled. My son shouldn't have caused too much trouble in your company, right? Although he is a little bit stupid, he is actually a very honest person. He has never caused any trouble or fought since he was a child. He is just an honest child. So, Yang Wei hadn't finished speaking yet. The elevator door opened. Immediately afterwards, Yang Shuo was seen falling out of the elevator with blood all over his face. There was a loud snap, interrupting Yang Wei's words on the spot. Yang Wei. In King glanced at Yang Shuo, whose face was covered in blood, and raised his eyebrows slightly. In Huaxia Hotel, there are actually people who dare to beat others. And the one who was beaten was Yang Wei's son. Although Yang Wei's family conditions cannot be said to be the best in Shangjing City, they are still wealthier than more than 90 of families. When Yang Wei saw his son being beaten, he was stunned at first. When he came to his senses, he immediately rushed to Yang Shuo. While helping Yang Shu up, he glared at Shenfeng, Jia Tenan and others who had just walked out of the elevator and said, "Whose family are you from? How did my son provoke you that you beat him like this?" Although Yang Wei was quite emotional, he was a seasoned man after all, and his words were thoughtful. Instead of blaming Jia Nan, Shenfeng and others right away, he asked them whose children they were. This Shangjing is a place where many hidden dragons and crouching tigers are hidden. Even fewer ordinary people can come to Huaxia Hotel for dinner. Although Yang Wei comes from a good family, what if the parents of these young people are more powerful than him? So Yang Wei became more cautious. "Whose family do you mean?" "He is Jia Nan, my useless roommate when I was in school." Yang Shuo suddenly covered his mouth and started crying and yelling. He was just a poor bastard. Now he's a third-rate celebrity and he doesn't even know his last name. Jia Namo. So he's the star who has become a little famous recently and has a terrible singing voice. Yang Wei had actually heard of the name Jayatnam. After listening to Yang Shuo's introduction, Yang Wei immediately had an idea in his mind. Celebrities may look glamorous, but ordinary celebrities really can't compete with big businessmen. Even Fu Yan back then, didn't he climb to the top by relying on a powerful and wealthy woman? Not to mention Jia Nan, whose fame is not even a fraction of Fu Yan's. Moreover, Yang Shu also said that Jayatnam was originally very poor and had no background. And Yang Wei would be even less afraid. Yang Wei, who had been somewhat restrained before, suddenly had a bad expression on his face. "You are just a small third-tier celebrity, and you dare to beat up my son? Before you beat him up, didn't you even ask who I am?" Yang Wei glared at Jia Nan and the others and said, "I'm telling you, this matter is not over yet. Waiter, call a security guard to come over and beat up this guy named Jia Nan. Beat him up like my son." "But Boss Yang." The waiter glanced at King who was not far away and wanted to stop Yang Wei. The vision of the waiters working in such a big hotel is unmatched by ordinary people. She knew that Shenfeng, Jia Tenan and his group were looking for King. He also knew that Yang Wei was now King's subordinate. And this time he came to please King. If Yang Wei beats King's friend, what cooperation can we have in the future? So the waiter wanted to persuade Yang Wei. But Yang Wei interrupted her directly and said, "Don't talk nonsense. He's just a little star, so just beat him up. I have plenty of ways to deal with him. You don't need to worry about it. Oh, call your security here. Hurry." The words cannot persuade a damned ghost. Since Yang Wei insisted so much, the waiter was too lazy to say anything more. Anyway, whether Yang Wei and King's cooperation is successful or not has nothing to do with her as a waitress. She quickly found the security guard on this floor. The security guard was tall and strong, and looked like he could knock down the Jayat Nans with one punch. When Jayat Nan saw the security guard, he was so scared that he swallowed his saliva. He thought that he was no match for this big guy. Jayat Nan had no choice but to look at Shenfeng for help. Yang Shuo wiped the blood off his face, stood up, and sneered at Jayat Nan and Shenfeng. "What's wrong? Are you scared now? Are you weak? You kid who's wrapped up like a dumpling. Didn't you just say you can support Jayatnam? I want to see how you can support him." Jayat Nan also looked at Shenfeng, his eyes full of anticipation. Then Shenfeng took a step forward. He said calmly, I can't hold my back. Jayat Nan. Jayatnam? Chapter 364. He said it didn't hurt, so I punched him twice more. Jayat Nan's expression suddenly became uglier than crying. Shencheng suddenly smiled again and said, "Although I can't support you, I think the people who invited us to dinner today are probably able to support us." Yang Shuo sneered, "Then you might as well invite that person out and see if he dares to support you. If someone can invite a third-rate star like Jayat Nan to dinner, even if he is a boss, he can't be a big boss. My father is Yang Wei, and the person working with my father is MRQ and from Mingyu Jewelry. I really want to see how powerful the person who invited you is and whether he can compete with us." Yang Wei also nodded. And he said in a cold voice, Yang, don't mind meeting the boss behind you if you dare to hit my son. This matter will not end so easily. By the way, who invited them? You're a waiter, you should know, right? Yang Wei looked at the waiter next to him, who had a strange expression on his face and asked. The waiter led Jayat Nan, Shenfeng and his group upstairs. He must have known who had invited them to the hotel and the banquet. The waiter coughed lightly and said in a polite yet awkward tone, "Boss Yang, there are only 2 rooms available on the 33rd floor today. My dad asked you who invited them, but he didn't ask you how many rooms you booked. Are you stupid, waiter?" When Yang Shuo heard the waiter's answer, which seemed irrelevant, he got angry. But after hearing what the waiter said, Yang Wei, who was standing by, was a little dumbfounded. There are 2 rooms in total. One is owned by the Yang family, and the other one is naturally owned by King King. In other words, these young people. King King invited him here? Yang Wei's expression turned ugly at that moment. But Yang Wei thought deeply, but Yang Shuo did not think so deeply. He still didn't understand what the waiter meant, and he started to say to Jiat Nan and Shen Feng, "And you guys stop pretending to be dead? Are you scared and don't dare to invite the boss behind you to come out? I'm telling you, it's too late to be a coward now. What were you doing before? Hurry up and call out the people who invited you. I want to see who dares to support you." Shen Sheng didn't call King King because he saw King King was right next to him. But in Yang Shuo's eyes, Shen Feng and Jia Ten did not ask the boss behind the scenes to come out because they felt that the boss behind the scenes was not as good as their Yang family and Mingyu Jewelry. So they were cowardly. This made Yang Shuo feel more confident. And he spoke even louder. But he had just finished speaking. Then I heard footsteps in the corridor. Yang Shuo turned his head and looked. Then I saw King King walking towards this side step by step in high heels. Yang Shuo now works at Mingyu Jewelry, so of course he knows King King. Seeing King King at this time, Yang Shuo quickly wiped the stains off his face, and then said to King King in a flattering manner, "Hello, MRQN. I was beaten up by these people without any reason. I'm a bit embarrassed, please don't be offended, MRQN. I don't mind." King King smiled and nodded towards Yang Shuo. "How is it? Does it hurt?" "No, it doesn't hurt, thank you, Mr. Kin, for your concern," Yang Shuo replied quickly. "It doesn't hurt." Looking around the porter, King King nodded slightly, then looked at the security guard. "And you hear that? This security guard doesn't really listen to Yang Wei. But he absolutely obeys King King's words." He turned around and punched Yang Shuo directly in the face. This punch stunned Yang Shuo. Yang Shuo took 2 steps back stupidly. He let 2 streams of blood flow down his nose. While looking at King King, he said, "QNMRQN, did you hit the wrong person?" "That's right." The smile on King King's face gradually faded. "You offended my guest and dared to speak rudely in front of me. Isn't it right for me to beat you up? My invited guests." These words made Yang Shuo's head buzz. He just reacted now. The waiter just said that there are only 2 rooms on this floor. One belongs to the Yang family, and the other one, isn't it King King's? It's all over now. Yang Shuo knew that his Yang family still had to rely on Mingyu Jewelry for development. If the Yang family is affected by this incident and punished by King King, he will be the #1 sinner in their family. This MRQN, this is a misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding. I really didn't know they were your friends, MRQN. Yang Shuo didn't even bother to wipe the blood from his nose and spoke hurriedly to King King. Yang Wei also hurriedly said at this time, Boss Kin, it's not a big deal, don't take it to heart. Children, you and Shuo are all about the same age, we didn't know each other until we fought. How about being good friends in the future? How about I treat you to dinner today?" "Not very good." Zhang Wanwan spoke up and directly rejected Yang Wei in a cold voice. "Your son was rude and insulted us with dirty words. And even asked my friend how much it would cost for a yearly package. Boss Yang, right? If I asked you how much your wife's annual package costs, wouldn't you be angry? And you could even greet me with a smile and treat me as a friend? Then you really are Yang Wei." Yang Wei's eyes darkened. He hates it most when people make fun of his name. Yang Wei stared at Zhang Wanwan, who was wrapped tightly. With a gloomy look in his eyes, it was not until Shen Feng stepped forward and blocked his gaze that he said, "Little friend, use your brain when you speak and don't say anything out loud. Yes, you are MRQN's friends and guests. But our Yang's jewelry processing factory is Mr. Kin's important business partner. Do you really think that President Kin would turn against a partner like me just for a few little stars like you? Just now, President Kin asked the security guard to punch my son to give you face. Just now, I spoke to you in a nice way to give President Kin face. But don't push your nose into my face, otherwise the relationship between me and Mr. Kin will become strained, and MRQN will be in trouble." Yang Wei had just finished speaking. King King on the side said calmly, "Boss Yang, you think too highly of yourself, don't you? I usually say a few polite words to you. Do you really think you are such an important partner? If I don't tell you, you really don't know how much your own factory cuts corners. Also, even if I don't support my friend, do you think your small factory can beat my friend? Do you know who brought down Zhenshun Jewelry?" Yang Wei has always been in contact with Xiao Daking, the CEO of Zhenshun Jewelry, so he naturally knows a lot of inside information. For example, who was the person who brought down Zhen Chun? Now isn't it Shenfeng who ruined Zhen Chun? What does this have to do with this Ji at Nan? Yang Wei said. But I suddenly realized that something was wrong. Then he looked in shock at Shenfeng, who was wrapped tightly beside Jie at Nan. At this time, Shenfeng also took off his mask and hat. Smiled at Yang Wei. It seems that Boss Yang has heard of me from President Xiao. Chapter 365 is already preparing. Yang Wei looked at Shenfeng in astonishment. Jie at Nan also looked at Shenfeng in astonishment. Although he knew that his brother Shen was very awesome, but he never knew that his brother Shen could be so awesome. Jie at Nan had heard of Zhen Chun's name before, and he also knew the news that Zhen Chun had been merged and acquired by Mingyu Jewelry. But he never expected that it was Shenfeng who did it. Boss Yang, if there's nothing else, I'll go have dinner with Shenfeng and the others first. Your Excellency is quite good at talking. My company is too small to accommodate a big Buddha like him. You don't need to come here in the future. As for the cooperation with your factory, we will discuss it in detail later. In King walked up to Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan at this time, said a few words to Yang Wei, then turned around and was about to take Shenfeng and others away. Yang Wei panicked. In King now said that they would discuss the future cooperation in detail. But no matter how stupid Yang Wei was, he knew that if this matter was not handled well today, he would never be able to cooperate with Mingyu Jewelry in the future. To offend Jie at Nan is a small matter, but to offend Shensheng is a big matter. Even if Shensheng was not the mastermind behind the downfall of Zhen Chun, Shenfeng's current popularity and his identity as the spokesperson for Mingyu Jewelry were already not something Yang Wei could easily contend with. He hurriedly walked in front of Qin King, stopped Qin King and said, Boss Qin, I'll treat you to dinner today. Just consider it as my apology to the kids. Let's talk slowly over the table, okay? Boss Qin, our Yang's jewelry factory is one of the best in the country. It is true that my son was wrong in this matter, but it is unnecessary for you to break off our cooperation for such a small matter. A small matter? Qin King stopped and looked at Yang Wei in front of him. This is a small matter in Boss Yang's mind, but not in my mind. And Boss Yang, don't think too highly of yourself. The current Mingyu is completely different from the original Zhen Chun. But you, Boss Yang, are still complacent and arrogant. Even if I cut off the small amount of production cooperation with your processing plant on the spot, the impact on Mingyu would be minimal. I didn't do it just to save your face in the end. Qin King said this and walked around Yang Wei. I hope Boss Yang won't destroy the face I gave you. Take care of yourself. Watching Qin King, Shenfeng and others gradually walking away, Yang Wei opened his mouth several times, but in the end he said nothing. It was not until Qin King brought Shenfeng, Zhang Wanwan and others into a private room that Yang Wei let out a long sigh, his voice full of sadness. Yang Shuo wiped the blood off his face and walked to Yang Wei timidly. Yang Wei glanced at him. Although I really want to scold him, he is still my son after all. Seeing Yang Shuo walking towards him timidly, Yang Wei felt that this guy should have realized his mistake now. But it's too late to realize my mistake. Yang Wei spoke and was about to ask Yang Shuo not to say those words of apology and to reflect on himself. But Yang Shuo said, Dad, I've been beaten. When are we going to eat? I haven't eaten the food at Huaxia Hotel many times. Yang Wei glanced at the security guard standing next to him and threw a banknote to him. And he pointed at Yang Shuo's nose and said, keep hitting him. Yang Shuo? He was beaten like this. Is it wrong for him to want to eat something to comfort his soul? Why do you still want to hit him? And at this time, Yang Wei was thinking about a way out. He must find a way to reverse the current situation. Otherwise, the only thing waiting for their Yang's jewelry factory is death. In the box Qin King booked, Sister Lin was already waiting in the room. Originally, Sister Lin was planning to pick up Shenfeng, Zhang Wanwan and the others, but just now a business call came in and someone wanted to discuss cooperation with Wanfeng Lin Studio. So Qin King went out to pick them up. What took so long? I wanted to go out and see if anything happened. Sister Lin saw everyone coming in, raised her eyebrows and stood up to ask. Something happened. But it was just a small matter. Qin King smiled calmly. It seemed that he didn't take Yang Wei's matter to heart at all. Zhang Wanwan looked at Qin King and couldn't help feeling a little emotional. Sometimes she really felt that MRQN and her Feng Zi had some similar temperaments. The most important quality is self-confidence. However, the slight difference is that Feng Zi's self-confidence comes from his 800 years of accumulation and his almost all-round abilities. And Qin King's confidence, it comes from the fact that she is very rich. In other words, it is the temperament of a superior. However, seeing Qin King walking towards Sister Lin with a smile, he sat down next to Sister Lin very naturally and straightened Sister Lin's clothes. Zhang Wanwan began to sigh again. President Qin and her daughter Feng Zi are very similar in one aspect. When MRQN faced Sister Lin, it was the same as when Feng Zi faced her. They will take off their self-confidence that is almost like a barrier to outsiders, and instead show their softest and most caring side. What are you thinking about? Shen Feng pulled Zhang Wanwan to sit down as well. Seeing that Zhang Wanwan was staring at Sister Lin and Qin King, he couldn't help but ask. Zhang Wanwan smacked her lips and replied subconsciously, I was thinking, President Qin is really nice. Shen Feng narrowed his eyes. But the one who reacted faster than Shen Feng was Sister Lin next to him. Although Zhang Wanwan's voice was not loud, Sister Lin was sitting on the other side of Zhang Wanwan. Sister Lin happened to hear it. Sister Lin glared at Zhang Wanwan and whispered, Go and look after your Feng Zi Dian, be greedy while you have your cake and eat it too. Zhang Wanwan then realized that there seemed to be something wrong with what she had just said. However, seeing Sister Lin's jealous expression, Zhang Wanwan couldn't help but smirked. And then teased, Yes, especially since I'm looking at your pot. Sister Lin. Sister Lin's face showed a rare blush. She glared at Zhang Wanwan in shame and anger, and said angrily, You stupid girl, is it because I haven't punished you for too long? Are you proud of yourself? As she spoke, she raised her hand as if to hit Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan shrank to Shen Feng's side in a very pretentious manner and said, Oh, I'm so scared, Feng Zi, please protect me. As a result, when I looked up, I saw Shen Feng's kind smile. Don't you think President Qin is really nice? Why do you still need my protection? Go find President Qin to protect you. Zhang Wanwan. Damn it, why did she feel like she was surrounded by two jealous people? Alright, stop making trouble. Qin King acted like an elder and calmed down several people. Then he signaled to the waiter to prepare the food. While waiting for the food to be served, Qin King and Sister Lin also chatted with Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan, Jia Tenan and Li Ting about recent developments, especially the preparations for Jiatnam's wedding. Qin King was not very familiar with Jiatnan, but Sister Lin knew him. After all, this unfortunate child has participated into variety shows with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Jiatnan briefly explained the preparations and arrangements made by Shen Feng. Even Qin King and Sister Lin looked at Shen Feng in surprise. Such thorough wedding preparations really don't seem like something that a young man in his 20s who has held a wedding before could arrange. Xiaoshen, you can arrange other people's weddings so well. When will you arrange your own wedding? Sister Lin couldn't help but ask. Zhang Wanwan has been pregnant for 3 months and should give birth in more than half a year. We need to think about the wedding as well. Zhang Wanwan waved her hands a little embarrassed. Lie. It hasn't been arranged yet, no rush. She hasn't finished her words yet. Shen Feng smiled and said to Sister Lin, Don't worry. Sister Lin, we are already preparing. Zhang Wanwan, huh? Chapter 366, Staying up late? What do you mean by staying up late? Zhang Wanwan really didn't know that Shen Feng had already started preparing for the wedding. When did this start? How did you prepare? Isn't he with me all day long? How could he have the time to prepare? Zhang Wanwan stared at Shen Feng as if she was staring at a ghost. Chen Sheng pinched her nose. It's a little surprise. I can't tell you for now. And Zhang Wanwan was not the only one who was dumbfounded. And Jiatnam and Li listened to them. They saw with their own eyes how Shen Feng helped plan a perfect top-notch wedding from scratch in just over 10 days. This kind of top-notch wedding, which is hard to see on the internet, was prepared by Shen Feng in just over 10 days. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's wedding will not be held until at least 1 or 2 months after Zhang Wanwan gives birth. It's still at least 8 or 9 months from now. Shen Sheng has actually started preparing for his wedding with Zhang Wanwan in 8 or 9 months. Damn it, brother Shen, you're not preparing a little surprise. You're preparing a big nuclear bomb. Jiatnam said. It's not that exaggerated. Shen Feng smiled. It's just that I have to accompany Wanwan. So my time is limited. I can only take time out occasionally to arrange wedding matters. So I had to set aside time in advance to prepare. How could I not know? Zhang Wanwan suddenly pulled Shen Feng aside and asked. When did you secretly prepare for the wedding? You are with me every day. How could you have the time? Shen Sheng smiled and said. Since you don't know, it must have happened when you were asleep. Zhang Wanwan heard it. Suddenly I felt a little touched. She had already imagined a picture in her mind. Late at night, Shen Sheng coaxed her to sleep. But I couldn't sleep. So I got up and went to the study, where I prepared and planned the wedding alone in front of my phone and computer. Sometimes I have to call my partners late at night. Finally, I made it until the early morning and went back to bed when I couldn't hold on any longer. It's like this every day, hard work. Zhang Wanwan sniffed. Looking at Shen Feng, he said with emotion and seriousness. Feng Zi, don't stay up late in the future. We can prepare for the wedding together during the day. I still have a lot of time there's no need to waste the night. Staying up late is really bad for people. It's too harmful to the body. But Shen Feng looked at Zhang Wanwan with a very strange expression. Staying up late? What do you mean by staying up late? I didn't stay up late. Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan. You just said that you prepared for the wedding while I was asleep. Isn't that staying up late? No, just because I'm preparing for the wedding while you're asleep doesn't mean I need to stay up late. Shen Feng spread his hands. On average, you get up at 10 o'clock every morning. Sometimes you get up at 8 or 9 o'clock, and sometimes you can sleep until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I got up at 6 or 7 in the morning. I have nothing to do if you are still asleep, so I just need to prepare for the wedding. It's still at least half a year before our wedding. Why should I stay up late to finish the work? Do you think I'm stupid? Zhang Wanwan was stunned for a long time. She found that she seemed to have been moved for nothing. Zhang Wanwan, Shen Feng is pampering you now, and you're a little overconfident. How dare you sleep until 1 or 2 in the afternoon? Just when Zhang Wanwan was stunned, a sinister remark from Sister Lin next to her made Zhang Wanwan shiver violently. She quickly turned around and said to Sister Lin, Sister Lin, I only sleep longer on my days off. I usually get up very early. Getting up early, do you mean getting up at 10 o'clock every morning on average? Sometimes I also get up at 4 or 5 o'clock. Zhang Wanwan raised her hand in protest. Sister Lin sneered. You get up to go to the bathroom, and then go back and fall asleep, right? Zhang Wanwan, did you install surveillance cameras in my house? Bah, do you still need to press the surveillance button? Don't I know what kind of person you are? After all, Sister Lin has been Zhang Wanwan's agent for several years. How could Sister Lin not know Zhang Wanwan's habits? It's just that before, Sister Lin would control Zhang Wanwan's daily routine and force her to go to bed early and get up early. But now Zhang Wanwan is taken care of by Shen Feng. Shen Feng, who dotes on Zhang Wanwan, will of course let Zhang Wanwan sleep until she wakes up naturally. As for going to bed early, Zhang Wanwan is pregnant now, so Shen Feng urges her to go to bed early. Before pregnancy, usually, he would let Zhang Wanwan sleep when he was tired. A few people were chatting, and the dishes prepared by the state banquet chef were served on the table. Zhang Wanwan, the foodie, seems to have a better appetite recently and is the one who picks up her chopsticks the fastest. However, after taking a bite, Zhang Wanwan frowned deeply. Din King was stunned and asked, What's wrong, Wanwan? Is it not to your taste? No. Zhang Wanwan shook her head. And he said very seriously, I just feel that the taste is similar to the one made by Feng Zi at my house. It seems that Feng Zi really has the level of a state banquet chef. Sister Lin and Jayatnam both rolled their eyes. Find all kinds of ways to show off your husband. After 3 rounds of wine, the dishes have 5 flavors. After eating a lot, everyone was about to leave the hotel. Din King said he had booked a golf course and planned to invite everyone to play a few rounds. In fact, winter is more suitable for skiing and skating. But considering that Zhang Wanwan is pregnant, and it is not convenient for her to do strenuous exercise, Din King chose golf. She is still very careful. As soon as they walked out of the box, Chen Feng and others saw Yang Shuo standing opposite their room. His face was covered in bruises, even worse than the beating Jay Yatnam had given him before. Seeing Qin King and the others coming out, Yang Shuo hurriedly stepped forward, bowed, and then kept apologizing. Qin King and Shen Shen were too lazy to pay attention to him. But he turned out to be quite stubborn. Like a sticky piece of taffy. He stuck to them and kept apologizing. In the end, he even followed me into the elevator and kept apologizing in the elevator. Zhang Wanwan was annoyed by what she heard and cursed at him several times. But he kept apologizing. Judging from his attitude, he is like a piece of meat on a rolling pin. It seemed that he would not stop unless Qin King and Shen Feng Jiatnan intended to forgive him today. Yang Shuo followed them until they left the hotel. Zhang Wanwan frowned and said, Is this guy's brain damaged by a beating? There are many people coming and going outside. Isn't he afraid of being seen? Don't be afraid, I think he's eager to be seen. Shen Sheng said this and walked to a car that did not belong to him. He bent down as if to pick up something. He knocked on the passenger window and shouted, Brother, is that your wallet that you dropped outside? When the people in the car heard this, they quickly lowered their windows. But as soon as he rolled down the car window, Shen Feng reached his hand into the window and opened the door directly from the inside. And he reached out and pulled the person in the passenger seat out. The man in the driving seat sensed something was wrong and hurriedly drove away. But Shen Feng got into the passenger seat before he drove. Then he pressed the driver's hand and slammed the steering wheel, and the car was about to hit the wall. The driver naturally didn't want to crash, so he had no choice but to slam on the brakes. The car stopped, suddenly. At this time, Jayatnan and the hotel security also ran over and arrested the man in the driver's seat and the co-pilot who had just been dragged down. Shen Feng also got out of the car, but before getting out, he took a camera from the car. Then he walked in front of the pale-faced Yang Shuo and explained to Zhang Wanwan and others beside him. The people in the Yang family are more or less smart. They know that they can't win by playing it openly. So they started to play it shady. I must have contacted the paparazzi nearby while we were having dinner, and then had Yang Shuo chase us to apologize, so that they could play the role of us bullying others and Yang Shuo being the victim. According to the elevator surveillance video, it was Jiat Nan who started the fight first, and Yang Shuo's apology all the way out just now should have been recorded by the surveillance. So as long as the paparazzi hype it up, it is easy to turn this matter upside down. Yang Shuo didn't apologize at this time. He just swallowed his saliva. Then looked at Shen Feng and asked, "You, how did you know our plan? Is my performance too poor, or are you really that smart?" "Oh, neither?" Shen Feng smiled. "Just now when we were having dinner, I went to the bathroom and happened to hear you and your dad discussing this plan in the room. So I eavesdropped a little more. Next time you discuss this, remember to close the door." "Yang Shuo." He looked at the security guard next to him. "How about you beat me to death?" Chapter 367 Golf. Now that the Yang family's affairs had come to this point, King would no longer give them face. She called her secretary and asked her to come to Huachia Hotel to discuss the cancellation of the cooperation directly with the Yang family. Sister Lin saw that King seemed to want to take them to play golf after he finished the call. So she couldn't help but say, King, I'll take Wan and the others to the golf course. Your company's business is more important, so stay and take care of it first." King walked to Sister Lin and said in a low voice, "It's just a Yang's processing planet, it's not a big deal. Besides, didn't you say a few days ago that you wanted me to teach you how to play golf? How could such a small matter affect my playing with you?" Sister Lin's face flushed unnaturally and she turned her head slightly. King went to drive the car, while Zhang Wanwan walked to Sister Lin with a teasing look on her face and said with emotion, "I thought MRQN really wanted to invite us to play golf. But I didn't expect that we were just a sideline. My real purpose is to accompany you. You little bitch, are you itching for trouble?" A blush on Sister Lin's face disappeared immediately, and she reached out to give Zhang Wanwan a blow on the head. Zhang Wanwan hurriedly held her head in her hands and said, "Sister Lin, I'm pregnant, can't you be a little gentler to me? Don't worry, hitting your head won't affect your stomach. What if he gets beaten stupid? As if you're not stupid now." When King drove over, Jia Ten and Li Ting also drove over with their cars. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan took Jiat Nan's car and went to the golf course with King. This stadium is probably the largest and most luxurious stadium in the entire Shangjing city. When they arrived at the golf course, King led everyone to change their clothes and prepare the golf clubs, and then found a venue for everyone to play. It seems that neither Jiat Nan nor Li Ting knows much about golf. All I know is that this sport requires hitting the ball into the hole. So the two of them just started playing casually, not caring about the club techniques and rules, and the golf balls rolled all over the ground. After Sister Lin and King briefly said a few words to Shen Feng and the others, they ran away to enjoy their own world. Sure enough, when King said he wanted to invite Shen Feng and the others to play golf, his real purpose was just to accompany Sister Lin. Shen Feng, Jiat Nan, and the others were just incidental. Seeing the two groups starting to play, Zhang Wanwan also picked up the golf club and adjusted the sports cap on her head. And he walked to the tee with great interest and shook the golf club in his hand in a very professional manner. Shen Cheng was slightly stunned when he saw it. "You also play golf?" "I understand a little bit." Zhang Wanwan imitated Shen Feng's previous tone and said this. And he said with some pride, "In my previous life, I was filming a movie, and there was a scene where I played golf. I actually learned several moves." As she spoke, Zhang Wanwan got ready and raised her hand to tee off. Then, the wave was in vain. Zhang Wanwan. Accidentally, let's do it again. She readied herself again and tee off again. This time the club hit the tee directly, and the tee was almost pulled off before the ball flew out. Shen Feng couldn't help but laugh when he saw it. "You really do know a little bit." Zhang Wanwan blushed, then held the golf club and muttered, "Do you think I am you? How can my understanding be the same as your understanding? But it's strange, I was able to practice it quite well when I was filming before. Why can't I do it now? I wanted to show off in front of you." Shen Cheng walked over to Zhang Wanwan with a smile and said, "Because you only practiced temporarily at that time. And you didn't consolidate it afterwards, and you didn't form muscle memory. It's like many people who pass the driving test with full marks. But if they don't drive for too long, they will also become unable to drive." As he spoke, Shen Feng stood behind Zhang Wanwan and held Zhang Wanwan's hands. The two of them pressed their bodies against each other. Shen Feng gently adjusted Zhang Wanwan's posture, while Zhang Wanwan nestled in Shen Feng's arms. Looking like a baby learning to walk under the protection of his parents. Swing slowly like this to determine the position. And pay attention to the angle when swinging, like this. Shen Cheng put his head close to Zhang Wanwan's ear and gently guided her on the correct movements. Zhang Wanwan felt her ears tingling and her body felt a little weak. I couldn't help but loosen my grip on the golf club. When Shen Feng directed her to swing the club hard, the golf club in her hand flew out in the direction of her force. Draw a beautiful parabola in the air. Not far away, Jayat Nan was squatting on the ground setting the ball for Li Dingting. Then he saw a shiny golf club fall in front of him with a bang. Jayat Nan was so frightened that he almost fell to the ground. Jayat Nan got angry and couldn't help but ask, "Who are you? Just play ball, why throw the club? Do you have any manners? Han Wan didn't hold it firmly just now, sorry." Shen Feng's voice also came from behind Jayat Nan at this time. Upon hearing this, Jayat Nan's anger went out immediately. Smiling, she picked up the golf club and handed it to Shen Feng, who was walking over. And she said, "My sister Wan Wan's hand strength is really great. She can throw this golf club so far it's amazing, really amazing." Afterwards, Jayat Nan pulled Li Dingting about 100 meters away, keeping a safe distance from Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan felt embarrassed after swinging the club and throwing it away. So after Shen Feng got the club back, she also became serious. With the help of Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan finally successfully hit the first ball. The ball flew high and far, it was really beautiful. Zhang Wanwan's eyes lit up when she saw it, and she said excitedly, "Feng Zi, did you see that? How about this ball? Isn't it great? Well, evening brother is awesome." Shen Feng also applauded Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan puffed out her chest proudly, and then asked, "But speaking of which, where is the hole? Where should I play next?" Shen Feng pointed to a place that was far different from the angle of where the ball landed. Probably the hole was in the northeast and the ball was hit to the northwest. "Well, actually it's not that different," Zhang Wanwan said shamelessly. "It's almost the same, it only takes one stroke to get into the hole." Shen Feng smiled. "Dude, you shouldn't praise a girl like this. Right? I'll eat this ball." A golfing buddy passing by happened to hear Shen Feng's words and couldn't help but speak up. This golfer has seen many people taking girls to play golf on the golf course. But Shen Feng is the only one among his teammates who praises girls so exaggerated. Shen Feng didn't say anything, but walked to the golf ball that landed in a remote place. After simply calculating the wind direction, angle and strength, he swung the club. The white golf ball soared into the air gracefully. After falling near the hole, it bounced slightly, and finally rolled into the hole. Zhang Wanwan took a golf ball from the side and handed it to the stunned golfing friend. "How do you usually eat the balls? Steamed, braised, or as sashimi?" Chapter 368. I hit myself. "Brother, that's awesome." When Shen Feng came back, the golfer gave him a thumbs up. Shen Feng smiled, then asked his golfing friend, "How do you want to eat your golf? Steamed, braised, or sashimi?" Teammate. Fellow golfer. You two are such a good match, you always ask the same questions. Right? He coughed lightly to ease the embarrassment. And he stretched out his hand towards Shen Feng and said, "Brother, nice to meet you, my name is Liu Daoxing." When Shen Feng heard this, his eyebrows slightly raised. "That great designer? I don't deserve the title of big. Why, do you recognize me?" Liu Daoxing has gained some weight as he entered middle age. There was a friendly expression on his chubby face. "What's your name, brother?" Shen Feng. "Oh, it's the same name as that famous star, right?" Because Shen Sheng was wearing a mask and a hat, as well as a pair of large glasses without prescription. His disguise was quite effective. Plus, Liu Daoxing probably doesn't pay much attention to entertainment news, so he didn't recognize Shen Feng. Shen Feng didn't explain much. After nodding to Liu Daoxing, he planned to continue teaching Zhang Wanwan how to play basketball. But Liu Daoxing held Shen Feng and said, "Brother, although this is our first meeting, can you please do me a favor?" "Cannot," Shen Sheng said directly. Liu Daoxing. "Liu Daoxing, why don't you listen to me first and tell me what I want you to do for me? I have to accompany my wife, I am busy, sorry. I won't let you help for nothing." Liu Daoxing said hurriedly, "How about this, since you have heard of my name? You should also know that I am a fashion designer. If you do me this favor, I will design you a dress if it works, and if it doesn't, I won't ask for anything from you. How about that?" Shen Feng pondered for a moment. He had heard of this Liu Daoxing, because Liu Daoxing is already considered the most famous designer in the domestic fashion design circle. It can be said that almost everyone in the fashion circle has heard of him. Shen Sheng once wanted to learn fashion design when he had nothing to do, and at that time he referred to a lot of Liu Daoxing's works. Shen Feng still highly recognizes this person's design level and ability. Originally, Shen Feng wanted to design the wedding dress and suit that Zhang Wanwan was going to wear at her wedding. However, he also learned it from Liu Daoxing, and his level is only comparable to Liu Daoxing's. If Liu Daoxing is willing to help with the design, then Shen Feng would have less trouble. Moreover, Zhang Wanwan seemed to be interested when she heard that there was a reward. So Shen Feng nodded and said, "Okay, I'll help." "No. Your agreement is to hasty continue. Just listen to me, and tell me what I want you to do. Liu Daoxing was speechless. This brother looks honest. But why does he always speak in an unconventional way? It's like this: I've been wanting to work with a company lately. Adait heard that their company's CEO seemed to be coming here to play basketball. So I wanted to come over and get close to him. That boss loves playing golf. But if I, a golf idiot, she would definitely not want to play with me, and I might even ruin her fun. But if I tell her that I met a master and want to introduce him to her, she might be interested. When the time comes, I can use you as a connection to build a relationship with that CEO, which will make it easier to discuss cooperation in the future. Shen Feng nodded. This method of catering to someone's preferences is quite common in the business world. Seeing that Shen Feng agreed, Liu Daoxing happily shook hands with Shen Feng again. Then he said to Shen Feng, "Brother, I'm going to contact the boss. Please wait." After saying that, Liu Daoxing walked aside to make a phone call. The other side. Qin King, who was teaching Sister Lin how to play basketball, suddenly received a call. After a brief chat with the other party, Qin King hung up the phone helplessly. "What's wrong?" Sister Lin couldn't help but ask when she saw Qin King's expression. "A designer recently wanted to discuss cooperation with my company. He heard from somewhere that I was playing here. And he said he was here too, and he met a very good player. And he wanted to introduce him to me." Sister Lin sneered. "What do you mean by introducing an expert? Isn't that just an attempt to get close to me?" "Yes." Qin King rubbed his forehead. "But this designer is quite capable. Since he said so, I can't deny him face. I wanted to stay with you today. But it looks like I'll have to break my promise," Qin King said as he grabbed Sister Lin's hand and kissed it gently. Sister Lin simply patted Qin King's face twice with that hand. "What's the big deal? It's just a small matter. But speaking of which, the designer said he found an expert. I don't know how powerful he is. Can you beat him? I'm only a mediocre player. If there's a real master, there's no way can be his opponent." Qin King smiled bitterly. When Sister Lin heard this, she suddenly said, "How about you go ask Shen Feng for help? Xiao Shen, is he also good at playing basketball?" Sister Lin showed Qin King a video. It was the video Zhang Wanwan had just recorded of Shen Feng hitting a hole-in-one. Qin King was amazed by what he saw. "To be honest, sometimes I feel like there's nothing this kid can't do," Sister Lin said. "Actually, I feel the same way," Qin King shrugged. "Well, let Xiao Shen help." Afterwards, Sister Lin sent a message to Shen Feng. "Sister Lin, Xiao Shen, are you free? You seem to be quite good at playing ball. How about coming and helping us play a couple of shots later?" "Shen Feng, where are we playing? Someone just invited me. If it's far away, I may not be able to make it in time." "Sister Lin, I didn't expect you to be so popular. We should play in Area 3. Shen Feng, I think I also have to go to Area 3 to play later." "That's great, I'll be there soon." Shen Feng had just put down his phone after replying to Sister Lin's message when he saw Liu Daoxing approaching and asked, "How's it going, brother? Are you ready? Shall we go?" Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan followed Liu Daoxing and walked to Area No. 3 here. Sister Lin and Qin King are already waiting. Seeing Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan and Liu Daoxing coming over, Sister Lin and Qin King were not surprised at all. Because they also called Shen Feng. They thought that Shen Feng came to find them and just happened to be going the same way as Liu Daoxing. Didn't think much about it at all. After Liu Daoxing exchanged a few pleasantries with Qin King, he smiled and said, "Boss Qin, I met a very good basketball player today. I know you like playing basketball, so how about inviting him over to let you watch him?" "Oh, what a coincidence. I also have a little brother who is good at playing basketball. Why don't we let them have a fight?" Qin King also laughed. "Really? Then let them compete, and we'll just be the spectators and watch a good game," Liu Daoxing said, turning his head to look at Shen Feng and said, "Come on, brother, show your face." At the same time, Qin King also said to Shen Feng, "Xiao Shen, it's your turn." After saying this, the two of them were stunned at the same time. Shen Feng stepped forward helplessly at this time. From the moment Liu Daoxing came to find Qin King, Shen Feng actually knew that this matter was a misunderstanding. He walked up to the two of them. First look at Liu Daoxing. Then look at Qin King. Then he spread out his hands and asked slowly, "How about I show you? I hit myself." Chapter 316. I will restore the details to you. Although Shen Feng would not hit himself. However, despite this huge mistake, Liu Daoxing and Qin King were able to discuss cooperation more harmoniously. But Qin King came here today mainly to accompany Sister Lin, not to do business. So after roughly expressing my intention to cooperate with Liu Daoxing, I asked Liu Daoxing to come to the company to discuss the details later. Liu Daoxing was quite perceptive. He could tell that Qin King came here to invite someone else. So he didn't try to keep him. However, before leaving, Liu Daoxing added Shen Feng on WeChat. After all, he had promised Shen Feng that he would help Shen Feng design a dress. In fact, Liu Daoxing's original idea was that if Shen Feng really helped him accomplish this, and he would just find a discarded draft of a dress he had designed before to make up the number. But now Liu Daoxing's mind has changed. He knew that this Shen Sheng was not a person with the same name as a famous star, but the real star Shen Feng. Since the other party's identity is not ordinary, he must be more careful when designing. Otherwise, it would be his own reputation that would be destroyed. After adding WeChat, I chatted briefly with Shen Feng and listened to his design requirements for the dress. Liu Daoxing's thought changed again. He realized that simply paying more attention might not be enough, because he found that Shen Feng seemed to be very experienced and insightful in fashion design. Some of the requirements he mentioned may not be noticed even by many professional designers. Especially after Liu Daoxing tentatively shared his design experience with Shen Feng. He found that Shen Feng's views on some aspects coincided with his, and were even more professional than his. Liu Daoxing was so annoyed by it. Liu Daoxing, brother, you are not a designer, right? You are so awesome, why do you want me to design anything? Shen Feng, what do you mean I asked you to design it? Didn't you say you would design a dress for us for free? It wasn't me who approached you. Shen Feng, since you are willing to be a free laborer, why should I refuse? Liu Daoxing, although there is some truth to that, would you please not be so blunt next time? Liu Daoxing, but brother, your request is a bit high. I can help you design and make it, but it may take a little longer, unless you are willing. Liu Daoxing's meaning is very clear. If Shen Feng is willing to increase his pay a little, his efficiency will be higher. As a result, Shen Feng said directly, Shen Feng, it doesn't matter if it takes a long time. I'm willing to wait. Liu Daoxing, no. What I mean is that if you pay more, the time can be shortened a bit. Shen Feng, no need to shorten it, I'm not in a hurry. Shen Feng, don't be in a hurry, slow work produces fine results. Shen Feng, by the way, I have already posted on Weibo that the wedding dress and evening gown my wife will wear at the wedding are both designed by the famous designer Mr. Liu Daoxing, and fans are all looking forward to it. Shen Feng, if the final design is not good, the fans might be angry. Smile. This is a threat. A naked threat. Liu Daoxing bit his nails. Why did he feel like he was chatting with a bandit? Liu Daoxing, that's not right. I just said I would design a dress for you for free. When did I say I would design a wedding gown? Shen Feng, the money for the wedding dress will be paid separately. Don't worry. Liu Daoxing breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this bandit was reasonable, but Shen Feng turned around and said another sentence. Shen Feng, but MSQN said that this wedding dress is a wedding gift she gave to Wan Wan and me. So you can negotiate the fee with MSQN, she will pay for it. Liu Daoxing was numb at that time. He is still waiting to cooperate with Qin King. Is it appropriate to ask Qin King for money? Does he dare to ask for it? Liu Daoxing finally figured it out. This guy was not a bandit at all. He is much more sinister than a bandit. He is a cunning old fox. How can the young people nowadays be so calculating at such a young age? Times have indeed changed. After ending the chat with Liu Daoxing, Shen Feng returned to Zhang Wanwan. Now, after practicing for more than an hour, Zhang Wanwan is able to swing the club quite well, although it is still a little difficult to launch the golf ball accurately to where you want. It is not bad. Zhang Wanwan was a little tired from the practice at this moment. She took off her mask and hat with sweat all over her forehead and let out a long breath. Shen Cheng helped Zhang Wanwan wipe the sweat off her face and whispered, "Be careful, don't catch a cold. How is it going? Have you agreed on the dress?" Zhang Wanwan asked. "All right. Is it charged?" "It's free." When Zhang Wanwan heard this, the smile on her face became even brighter. Shen Feng scratched her face with his fingers. "Don't worry about these things in the future. I will definitely design a perfect wedding for you." Zhang Wanwan snorted. "How can I not worry about my wedding? Do you know what kind of wedding I like?" "No." Shen Feng pulled Zhang Wanwan and sat on the grass in the rest area nearby. Although it is winter, the sunshine is quite good this afternoon and it feels very warm on people's faces. The two of them sat facing the sun, and Shen Feng said to Zhang Wanwan, "In the past 800 years, I often ask you what kind of wedding you like, what kind of dress you like, and what style of wedding room decoration you like. So how did I answer? Your answer is different every time." Shen Feng smiled. "It's obviously the same day, but sometimes when I ask you in the morning, you say you like a Chinese wedding, and sometimes when I ask you in the afternoon, you say you like a Western wedding. Sometimes a few seconds difference can change your answer. And my answer is different every time. How do you know what kind of wedding I like?" Zhang Wanwan leaned against Shen Feng and asked. "Yes. Because no matter how your answer changes, there are many details that remain unchanged. For example, Even if it's a Chinese wedding, you want to invite fewer people and keep it quiet. For example, whether it's a wedding dress or a Chinese wedding gown. You want to add a veil because you think it's fun. As Shen Feng spoke, he hugged Zhang Wanwan, looked up at the sky, and recalled what happened when he was reborn. While reminiscing, he told Zhang Wanwan beside him what happened at that time. He still remembered that during that period he would ask Zhang Wanwan about her wedding every day. He knew that Zhang Wanwan would go to the Century Building in Zhanghe City. So he went there to look for Zhang Wanwan every day. Zhang Wanwan was always surprised every time she saw him. I don't know why Shen Feng knew she was here. But Shen Feng was quite straightforward at that time. In the face of Zhang Wanwan's surprised gaze, he pulled Zhang Wanwan aside and started asking her what kind of wedding she would like in the future. I must have had mixed feelings at the time. Zhang Wanwan leaned against Shen Feng and stuck out her tongue. Maybe I'll think you've lost your mind. Why are you suddenly talking about the wedding? Well, one time I asked something directly, and you almost called 120. Shen Feng smiled and said, I still remember that one time when I saw you. I kissed you directly, then you didn't see who it was. So you got scared and kicked me directly. You kicked me so hard that I was hospitalized. You were crying beside the bed. I explained to you that I had been in a cycle all day and it was okay to get hurt. But you called a doctor and cried, saying that you had kicked my head and caused problems. Zhang Wanwan burst out laughing. This is really something she can do. But I was definitely really worried about you at that time. Zhang Wanwan said, so you can't be hospitalized in the future. Otherwise I will cry my eyes out again. Shen Feng rubbed Zhang Wanwan's head. Don't worry, I won't let you worry anymore. Hey. Zhang Wanwan smiled foolishly twice, then looked at Shen Feng with a teasing look. With a slightly red face, she asked, Feng Zi, since you forcefully kissed me at that time, did you? She didn't want to say it out loud, but Shen Feng understood what she meant. Shen Cheng approached Zhang Wanwan and whispered in her ear. Of course, there is no way it could have endured for more than 800 years. Why, do you want to know the details? Zhang Wanwan coughed lightly, but still nodded. Shen Feng smiled, but didn't explain it to Zhang Wanwan in detail. Instead, he said slowly, then let's not go to Xiaoji's house tonight. Let's find a hotel and I'll go over the details with you. How about that? Chapter 370. It was you before, it is you now. When leaving the golf course in the afternoon, Shen Feng told Jay Atnan and Li Ting that they would not go there in the evening. Jay Atnan was displeased when he heard this. Why don't you come back? Is it because we didn't take good care of you? No, we're just planning on staying out for one night and going back tomorrow night. Shen Feng said. Jay Atnan is probably a little bit stupid. I totally don't understand what Shen Feng means. She continued. If we can take good care of you, why do you want to move out? Besides, today is the 15th day of the first lunar month. Why don't you celebrate at my house? Why are you staying in a hotel? Do you think it's too much trouble for us? No, we don't think it's troublesome at all, Brother Shen. You have helped us so much, it's only right that you live in our house. Shen Cheng rubbed his forehead helplessly. Fortunately, Li Ting has a pretty good eye. Now he understood what Shen Feng meant, and hurriedly pulled Jay Atnan and winked at him. Seeing that Jay Atnan didn't seem to understand, he gritted his teeth and whispered in Jay Atnan's ear. A world for two. A world for two. Why, Brother Shen? Do you want to leave some space for me and Ting Ting to be alone? Really, Brother Shen, you don't have to consider us at all. Jay Atnan looked righteous. Brothers are like limbs. Women are like clothes. It's okay for me to live with you alone. Li Ting couldn't help it and stuffed the guy into the car. Sister Lin and King, who are both experienced people, don't talk as much nonsense as Jay Atnan. King asked the two if they needed to be sent to the hotel. But Sister Lin just said, be careful. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan finally took a taxi to a nearby hotel and booked a room, using the membership card given by King. Originally, an ID card was required to book a room here. Given the fame of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, they would be besieged by their fans as soon as they took out their ID cards. However, King has the top-level membership black card here, which is a real name authenticated card with the card and password. He can book a room, saving Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan a lot of trouble. On the way to the room in the elevator, Zhang Wanwan whispered, Feng Zi, I'm still pregnant. It's okay, it's been more than 3 months. It's okay as long as it's stable. Besides, it's not like there wasn't one 3 months ago. Zhang Wanwan hit Shen Feng lightly after hearing this. How dare you say that? Couldn't you have just been patient at that time? Someone is playing with fire in my arms. If I can't hold it back, I will be burned to death by the fire. Shen Cheng said with a smile. The elevator stopped, the door opened, and Shen Feng took Zhang Wanwan into the room. He hugged Zhang Wanwan and lay on the bed, and asked softly, do you want me to restore the details one-to-one? Or do you want to play freely? Zhang Wanwan blinked her eyes. And I say you want to eat? That's fine. Shen Sheng gently undressed Zhang Wanwan. But tonight's dinner will only be with me. Outside the window, fireworks celebrating the Lantern Festival are rising. The gorgeous colorful light shone into the room through the curtains. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Although Shen Feng said that he would be the only one having dinner in the evening, that it was impossible for Zhang Wanwan to really bite off a few pieces of Shen Feng's flesh. So when it was early morning, Zhang Wanwan, who was still hungry, dragged Shen Feng out to find food. Fortunately, Shangjing City has a rich nightlife, and there are still many shops open even in the early hours of the morning. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan found a 24-hour fast food restaurant nearby. The receptionist at the fast food restaurant seemed to be very sleepy and was dozing off from time to time. Seeing that there were guests coming, he just said perfunctorily, "Welcome, what would you like to eat?" And when Shen Sheng and Zhang Wanwan approached, the receptionist at the fast food restaurant was stunned. He rubbed his eyes and muttered, "Damn, am I hallucinating? Why do I feel like I saw my circle-locked couple?" Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were stunned. And the two looked at each other and remembered that they didn't seem to be wearing masks when they came out. However, there weren't many people in this fast food restaurant, so even if it was exposed, it didn't seem like a big deal. So Shen Feng said directly to the front desk, "Order 1 black pepper beef fillet rice set, 1 tomato beef brisket noodle, and 2 bottles of Coke." Holy shit. When Shen Sheng approached and opened his mouth, the receptionist was completely shocked. Really, is it really Feng Zi? Shen Sheng smiled and knocked on the table at the front desk with his hand. "Why, is there a rule in your restaurant that Shen Feng cannot order food?" No, Feng Zi, that's not right, brother Shen. On your fan." The front desk was a bit incoherent. He hesitated for a long time, and in the kitchen at the back, the chef was already asking, "Hey, what did you order earlier?" Click, 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 click to Shen Feng's. The front desk said, "Huh?" The chef's voice was very confused. No, it's the 2 younger brothers." Seeing that the receptionist couldn't even speak, Shen Sheng helplessly shouted to the kitchen, 1 serving of black pepper beef fillet rice, 1 serving of tomato beef brisket noodles, and 2 bottles of Coke. There was a response from the kitchen. Then, there was the sound of cutting vegetables on the chopping board. "But you can keep cutting." The sound stopped. Afterwards, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan saw a man in chef's uniform rushing out with a knife in his hand. His eyes widened as he looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. "Holy crap, it's really you. I saw a living person?" the chef said in shock. Then he nimbly climbed out of the front desk and said excitedly, "You too, can you give me an autograph? We can sign. But how do you want us to sign?" Shen Feng glanced at the kitchen knife in the chef's hand. "Tattoo you? Chef." He quickly put the kitchen knife aside, then found paper and pen from the front desk and handed them to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. After the 2 people signed, the chef felt like he had found a treasure. Then he said to them very seriously, "Don't worry. I will do my best to make the best rice bowl and beef brisket noodles." As he said this, he nimbly climbed back to the front desk and returned to the kitchen. After a few seconds, he came out again. "So soon?" Zhang Wanwan was stunned. "Chef, sorry, I forgot my knife." While waiting for the chef to cook, Zhang Wanwan started checking Weibo. After seeing her own super topic, Zhang Wanwan's expression changed. She hurriedly said to Shen Feng, Feng Zi, something bad has happened." Shen Feng took her phone and found that the receptionist might have taken a photo of the 2 of them and posted it to Zhang Wanwan's super topic. There are many people in Beijing, and many people are fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. So even though it was the middle of the night, as soon as this super topic was posted, many fans in Beijing immediately expressed their desire to come to this store to block Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to ask for their autographs. Even people who live nearby posted on WeChat to say that they will be there soon. Once this person arrives, they won't be able to eat their meal in peace. After thinking about it, Shen Feng went to the front desk. He didn't tell the front desk about the super chat, because he also knew that the front desk only posted the super chat because she was excited and didn't have any bad intentions. He asked the front desk to notify the chef to pack up the prepared fast food. After finishing packing, I asked the front desk for 2 masks and 2 sets of employee clothes, and transferred the money for the clothes to the front desk. Then, the 2 people quickly left the fast food restaurant. Although they were walking very fast, when they left the fast food restaurant, they still saw several fans driving cars or riding motorcycles and parked in front of the fast food restaurant. After getting off the bus, these fans rushed into the fast food restaurant. No one noticed these 2 fast food restaurant employees, a man and a woman, who were carrying takeout boxes, wearing employee uniforms and looked like they were going out to deliver food. These fans entered the fast food restaurant and asked where Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were. The receptionist was startled, and then hesitantly said, "Hey, they just went out." Only then did the fans realize that the two employees, a man and a woman, were Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. They turned back and chased out, and saw what seemed to be two people wearing fast food restaurant employee uniforms standing across the street. These people hurried over to take a look, only to find that these were just two employee uniforms hanging on the tree. As for the real Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, I took advantage of this time to go to a nearby street park. He found a stone table to sit down and started eating the packed food in big mouthfuls. While eating, Zhang Wanwan suddenly smiled. "Feng Zi. I suddenly remembered that when we skipped classes, it seemed to be this exciting as well. But back then I had to hide from the teacher, now I have to hide from the fans. After we escaped, we sometimes bought some food and ate at a nearby park. Just like now." Shen Feng nodded. "Yes, it seems so. At that time, you were the one sitting next to me eating supper. Now, the person sitting next to me and eating midnight snack is also you. At that time, you were my younger brother. Now, you are my wife." Chapter 371 There are pigs. When Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan finished their fast food and looked out from the street park, you can also see fans hearing the news and going to the fast food restaurant to watch. In order to avoid being discovered, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan planned to walk through the park and walk a little further away before leaving. There was no one else in the small park in the early morning, and it was very quiet. The not too bright light shines on the path in the park, seeming even gentler than the moonlight. As we walked, small snowflakes began to fall from the sky. Scattered snowflakes fell slowly, and under the light of the street lamps, they looked like silver butterflies fluttering in the air. Zhang Wanwan was in a playful mood and ran to a street light, waving at Shen Feng and said, Feng Zi, take a picture for me." Shen Feng smiled and nodded, then took out his phone and said, "Just tell me when you want me to take a picture." "That's so boring." Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes and said, "How about this? I'll do a few moves and you can take pictures of whichever ones you think look good. How about that?" As she spoke, Zhang Wanwan stretched out her hand and flicked the falling snowflakes towards the light. The street light was not too glaring, and it seemed like a spotlight prepared for Zhang Wanwan. The snowflakes falling from the sky are like her dance partners. Zhang Wanwan was laughing and making noises at Shen Feng under the light. Her little face, which was red from the cold, was full of happiness. After waiting for more than a minute, Zhang Wanwan finally stopped panting, while breathing out white hair that was very obvious under the light. She walked over to Shen Feng with a smile and said, "How is it, Feng Zi? How many photos did you take?" "I didn't take any pictures," Shen Feng said. Zhang Wanwan puffed up her face when she heard this. "Then what are you doing, looking at me posing like an idiot for a long time?" "No." Shen Cheng smiled and handed the phone to Zhang Wanwan. "I didn't take any pictures, but I recorded a video. You told me to record whatever moves I thought looked good. And I think you look good at all times, so I had no choice but to record it." "Slippery." Zhang Wanwan gave Shen Feng a coquettish look, then took Shen Feng's phone and watched the video recorded by Shen Feng. Well, although the photographer's level is average, the model is so beautiful, so the final product is pretty good. After that, Zhang Wanwan turned to Shen Feng with her phone and said with a smile, "Come on, Feng Zi, I'll record one for you too." She squatted in front of Shen Feng with her cell phone in hand and took a picture from Shen Feng's chin upwards, creating a deadly angle for straight men. Then he said helplessly, "Alas, although the photographer's level is very high this time, the model looks too sloppy, so the effect of the photo is not very good." After she said this, Shen Feng also squatted down. He looked at the camera of the mobile phone, as if he was looking through the camera at Zhang Wanwan, who was holding the phone. Seeing this, Zhang Wanwan suddenly rolled her eyes and said, "Feng Zi, how about you kiss the camera?" "Shen Feng." "Zhang Wanwan, just give it a kiss, just give it a kiss. There's no one watching you anyway, no one will think you're crazy." Shen Feng had no choice but to kiss the camera. But just when he was about to kiss the camera, Zhang Wanwan suddenly put away his phone. Then she kissed Shen Feng on the lips. Then, like a thief, he laughed and said, "How's it going? This is a trick I learned from reading a novel before. It's very useful, isn't it?" Shen Feng himself was stunned for a moment, but he soon smiled, and then held Zhang Wanwan's face and said, "Brother Wan, this trick of yours is to trick her into kissing you. There's no need to lie to me, I'll give you as many kisses as you want, as long as you tell me." As he spoke, Shen Feng held Zhang Wanwan's little face and kissed her gently again. Snowflakes are still falling with the wind. Some of them melted between their warm lips. After returning to the hotel, Zhang Wanwan lay on the bed and fell asleep in a short while. Shen Feng was still somewhat energetic, so he took out his cell phone and sent out a Weibo message. Shen Cheng seldom posts on Weibo. He does not surf Weibo as frequently as Zhang Wanwan. Even when he posts on Weibo, it is usually for business reasons or to cooperate with publicity and promotion. Or, showing affection. Chen Feng posted another Weibo today. He posted the video he took of Zhang Wanwan posing under the streetlight on Weibo. Chen Feng, it's Lantern Festival. I wish you all a happy holiday video. Soon. A lot of comments popped up under Shen Feng's Weibo post. Even though Shen Feng posted it in the early morning, most of the stupid netizens nowadays are night owls. In addition, many fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had been watching the incident of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan going to the fast food restaurant and had not yet gone to bed. As soon as they saw Shen Feng post on Weibo, they all came to join in the fun. For a while, the comments under the Weibo post were piled up like a tower. Fengzi, happy Lantern Festival. Have you eaten Yuan Shao? If not, take my punch. Damn it, it's already past 12 o'clock. How can it be called Lantern Festival? Besides, what does this video have to do with the Lantern Festival? You are just showing off your wife. Fuck, single people are not happy. Single people are seriously hurt by you. Wanwan is so cute. Chen Feng, how did my wife's video end up in your hands? Return my wife to you. Wow, why are there still people showing off their love in the early hours of the morning? Are we going to lose weight? If you have the guts, post some videos that can't be broadcast, do you dare? Chen Feng actually replied to this netizen. He was given a picture with a play button. Many netizens were actually fooled after clicking on the picture. They kept clicking the play button in the middle. It took me a while to find out that this is not a video at all. Damn, you really posted something that can't be broadcast. Brothers trust you so much, so you treat them like this. Feng Zi is getting more and more naughty. Is it because Wan Ji is pregnant, and no one can control him? Forget it, I can't count on Feng Zi anymore. If you want to watch that kind of video, please private message me and I'll send you the URL. A good person will have a flat chest all his life. Oh my god, you are even worse than Feng Zi. The URLs you post are either food videos or garden babies. You are a dog. Looking at the lively netizens, Shen Feng turned off his phone contentedly, lying on the bed, next to Zhang Wanwan. Looking at Zhang Wanwan who was already snoring, Shen Feng couldn't help but reach out and pinch Zhang Wanwan's nose. Suddenly, Zhang Wanwan's snoring was blocked. When Shen Shen let go of his hand again, Zhang Wanwan started snoring again. Shen Sheng simply turned on his phone again. And in the pitch black, he recorded a video of Zhang Wanwan snoring. Then I posted it on Weibo again. Shen Feng, there are pigs video. It's the middle of the night. Is there no end to the dog food? If you have the guts, turn on the lights and take the photo. It's so dark. Are you afraid that we can see it clearly? Even when she snores. She is so cute. Feng Zi is getting bolder and bolder now. I have already tagged Wanwan. I look forward to seeing Wanwan's expression when she sees this video tomorrow. The next morning, netizens saw Zhang Wanwan posted a Weibo. Zhang Wanwan, there are pigs picture. In the picture on Weibo, Zhang Wanwan pressed Shen Feng's nose with a ferocious look on her face, turning it into a pig's nose. Chapter 370 to Emotional Master Zhang Wanwan. A few days after the Lantern Festival is Jayatnam's wedding. Although Jayatnam is always difficult, but God did not play any joke on him on his wedding day. The entire wedding day went exceptionally smoothly. Of course, this is also due to Shen Feng's precise and complete process design. When the two held hands and took their vows in the church, when Jayatnan put the wedding ring on Li Tingting and hugged her and kissed her in his arms, Zhang Wanwan, who was sitting below, almost cried when she saw this. In fact, Zhang Wanwan doesn't have many friends. Before her rebirth, apart from sister Shen Fenglin, perhaps only her college roommate could be considered her friend. After Shen Feng got into trouble in her previous life, Zhang Wanwan became autistic. At that time, let alone making friends, she rarely even spoke a word to others except when filming. After her rebirth, Zhang Wanwan gradually had other friends around her. For example, Jayatnan and Li Tingting. Zhang Wanwan was very touched to see that her good friend could also be happy. The news of Jayatnan and Li Tingting's wedding was naturally reported in major entertainment news. In fact, Jayatnan and Li Tingting were only two small stars. But ever since Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan became famous, many people have started to pay attention to this couple. Many fans also sent their blessings to them at today's wedding. Of course, there are also many people who urged Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan under these entertainment news, asking when they plan to hold their wedding. Some people who love to join in the fun simply start matchmaking under these news stories, tagging various celebrities in the entertainment industry who they are suspected to have a crush on, and asking them when they plan to be together. Some people tagged the couple Liu Mingyu and Wen Hua, while others tagged the couple Sidiyu and Xiaozhu. There are also gay CPS like Taechuoji and Hu Jahana. It really made many CP fans have a party. At night, it was naturally impossible for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to stay at Jiat Nan and Li Tingting's house. After the wedding, the two of them simply bought tickets and returned to Zhonghe City. Originally, Jiat Nan and Li Tingting meant to treat Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to a proper dinner after the wedding. However, Shen Feng said that this was not necessary. He and Zhang Wanwan had been living in Jiat Nan's house for quite a while, and Jiat Nan basically treated them every day. Moreover, Zhang Wanwan was away for quite a while this time, and Su Yan, Zhang Zhe, Tang Ping, and Shen Xiaoji Yuo were all worried about her. They called her every now and then to urge them to come back. Now that things in Shangjing City have been almost dealt with, it's time to go back. After returning to Zhonghe City, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng were called to Zhang Zhe's house before they had time to return to the villa. Then Zhang Wanwan was checked by Su Yan and Tang Ping. He also said that Zhang Wanwan had become thinner after staying outside for a few days, and accused Shen Feng of not taking good care of Zhang Wanwan. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan could only respond helplessly to their parents' excessive concern. Children are the treasures of their parents. Zhang Wanwan is especially pregnant now, making her the most precious treasure. No wonder they care about her so much. Only after they were sure that Zhang Wanwan was not seriously ill did Su Yan and the others release her and let Shen Feng take Zhang Wanwan to the villa. After returning to her long-missed home, Zhang Wanwan actually felt a sense of longing. Zhang Wanwan lived in this villa for more than 10 years in her previous life. Although it was said to be more than 10 years in fact, she was more likely to go back and forth between various film sets at that time, and she spent very little time living in the villa. The longest time I stayed here was maybe 7 or 8 months. Even though they came once in such a long time, Zhang Wanwan never felt any sense of missing him. Because at that time, to Zhang Wanwan, this villa was just a villa. It's just a house, nothing else. And now, this villa has a new definition for Zhang Wanwan. Home. This is her and Shen Feng's home. Although it is the same house, once it has the meaning of home, the feeling it gives people is different. Lying on her familiar bed, Zhang Wanwan rolled around comfortably. Then he looked at Shen Feng, who was packing his luggage, and said, "Feng Zi, we don't have any other plans next. Is there anything you want to do?" "What do you want to do?" Shen Feng repeated these words. It has a profound meaning. Zhang Wanwan realized what Shen Feng meant, and immediately blushed and said, "Feng Zi, can't you think about something serious?" Shen Feng said innocently, "What improper things am I thinking about?" "You are obviously thinking. Zhang Wanwan hesitated for a long time. Finally, he threw the pillow at Shen Feng. "Little hooligan. Stop playing dumb." Shen Feng smiled, then put down the pillow and sat on the bed, next to Zhang Wanwan. "Probably just staying at home with you. Making whatever you want to eat, playing whatever you want to play with you? Wouldn't that be boring?" Zhang Wanwan blinked her eyes and said, "I feel like if I stay at home all the time, I'll find it boring." "It's not boring to be with you." Shen Feng pressed his forehead against Zhang Wanwan's and spoke softly. After all, he managed to survive for 800 years. However, in order to prevent Zhang Wanwan from feeling bored, Shen Feng still came up with an idea. Just like before he joined youth group, he would do a live broadcast for his fans every now and then. During the live broadcast, Zhang Wanwan can interact with fans and talk about interesting things, which can be considered as entertainment. That afternoon, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan posted a Weibo together. The content of the Weibo post is to collect emotional issues around everyone. An emotional master, Zhang Wanwan, will answer everyone's questions online in a live broadcast the day after tomorrow. There is also a mailbox left at the back. After seeing this Weibo post, the silly netizens immediately became active again. Within a few hours, Zhang Wanwan's mailbox received hundreds of emails. Zhang Wanwan glanced at a few of them casually and couldn't help but twitch the corners of her mouth. This is not a story around us. This is probably just a made-up story. Wanwan, what should I do if I like my roommate? Wanwan, my roommate seems to like me. What should I do? Wanwan, I like a man. He is very outstanding. He is a versatile person in both academics and life. There is almost nothing he can't do, but he has a wife. What should I do? Wanwan, what should I do if I like you? When Zhang Wanwan saw the last email, Shen Feng happened to pass by. I picked up the keyboard and replied to the other person. Then don't like me anymore. Zhang Wanwan glanced at Shen Feng. My fans won. Shen Feng smiled and said, my love rival is also one. But one for your haters. It doesn't matter. Shen Feng said, you are enough for me as a fan. 2 days later, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Sheng took some time to start the live broadcast. The title of the live broadcast room is Emotional Master Zhang Wanwan Answers Emotional Questions Online. Chapter 373 Zhang Wanwan, Let's Divorce. Hello everyone, I am Zhang Wanwan. In front of the camera, Zhang Wanwan wore a white coat from somewhere. He was wearing a pair of glasses and looked a bit like a psychiatrist. She cleared her throat and said seriously to the camera. Welcome to the live broadcast room of Emotional Master John 11. Here I will help you solve all kinds of emotional problems that bother you. Now we will randomly select a lucky viewer from the mailbox and answer their questions. As she spoke, John 11 clicked the mouse and randomly selected any mail from her mailbox. Hello 11, I am a housewife and I have recently had some relationship problems with my husband. John 11 raised her eyebrows when she saw the first few sentences of the email. Oh my, the first email I drew was a serious question. Oh rare. Although John 11 didn't read all the emails in the mailbox in advance, she could guess that at least 2/3 of the emails in the mailbox were not serious. I didn't expect that the first question I drew was such a serious and proper one. John 11 continued to drag the mouse to read. I am 38 years old this year. And my husband is 40 years old. He was penniless when he pursued me. And I was moved by him and chose to marry him, and spent the difficult years with him. Now that he is successful in his career and I am old and ugly, I suspect he has a new lover outside. John 11 sighed twice and said with emotion, how come these men are so fickle? How can they be so hateful? Chen Feng brought over a plate of snacks and pinched a potato chip to feed John 11. John 11 continued reading while chewing. I first discovered that he would secretly find a place where I wouldn't notice him every night to play with his phone. He would often hide his phone so I wouldn't check it. After that, I noticed that the money on his card was often decreasing, and I didn't know what he bought. And when I asked his friends, he also said that he rarely hangs out with them. And even when he does, he is often absent-minded. A few nights ago, on our wedding anniversary, I got him drunk and let him go to sleep. Then I searched around and found his hidden phone, unlocked it with his fingerprint, and finally, discovered his secret. There seemed to be several blank lines in the email here. He did not immediately write down what secret he had discovered. This made many viewers who were watching the live broadcast very curious. Why is she still so mysterious? Is her husband cheating on her? He is 99 cheating. He was secretly playing with his phone because he was chatting with his new lover. Less money on his card must have been spent buying things for his new lover. Even his friends think something is wrong. There must be something wrong. 1111, turn back quickly. What is going on? John 11 also scrolled the mouse down curiously. After scrolling through a long blank space, she finally saw the following paragraph. I finally discovered his secret. It turns out he was playing Fake Legend behind my back. This Fake Legend mobile game is very time consuming and requires a lot of money. Trading is not free, the drop rate is extremely low, and there is no playability at all. I woke my husband up with a slap, and then downloaded this XX Legend for him. I told him that this is the authentic mobile game of Legend. Equipment recycling and trading are free, ingots can be exchanged for RMB, and even casual players can have fun playing it. My husband was so moved that he cried. He hugged me and said that I was the woman he loved the most. But I pushed him away because playing Legend doesn't require women. Only brothers. If you are a brother, come and kill me. I am waiting for you in XX Legend. Click the link below to download it. John 11. Barrage. John 11 silently closed the email. And he pushed up his glasses and said, for this XX Legend, contact our studio later to settle the advertising fee. Okay, let's move on to the next emotional question. John 11 said this and opened another email. This time the email seems a lot shorter. Hello 11, I have been with my girlfriend for a year, but a few days ago she suddenly told me that she is actually a man. A transvestite. I cried at that time. The feeling of being deceived and betrayed made me want to vomit. I cried and asked her why she lied to me. It was obvious that I liked women, but she said that my orientation was wrong. How is it wrong? Is it wrong for a woman to like another woman? I had a big fight with him. I told him that my sister also likes women, my younger sister also likes women, and my mother also likes women. Then he asked me, is there anyone in your family who likes men? I said, yes, my dad likes men. Now he started dating my dad. And my dad is about to divorce my mom's sister 11. What should I do? Wu Wao Shu. John 11. Look at this email. John 11 took a breath of cold air. This family is more or less quite awesome. The fans in front of the live broadcast room were also numb from watching it. Li Yuan Shang score. Just share the story you just made up. When I saw the part about the transvestite, I thought this was an outrageous story. But I never expected it to be this outrageous. Can you give me your dad's WeChat? I'm a man, I like mature uncles, you can contact me. Wow. The man is actually in the live broadcast room. 1G. Feng Zi, please give me some comments. I am still waiting for your help to solve the problem. Chen Feng fed John 11 some potato chips again. And then said, how else can I comment on this kind of made-up story? John 11, on the other hand, thought deeply about it for a long time. In the end, I gave a serious evaluation. A forced marriage is not sweet. Since your father and mother have already planned to divorce, and your mother likes women and your father likes men, and this marriage is not easy to save, my advice is, let them get divorced. After saying, John Wanwan opened another new email. Sister Wanwan, my husband always quarrels with me. I feel like there is a crack in our relationship. What should I do? Shen Feng, I think you should talk to both parents about the problem and see if you can solve the quarrel. After saying that, Shen Feng fed Zhang Wanwan some potato chips again. While chewing, Zhang Wanwan gave her evaluation. I think we should get a divorce. Wanwan, my wife bought a lot of luxury goods without my knowledge and maxed out my credit card. She still doesn't know what's wrong. What should I do? Shen Feng, you have to make her realize how hard it is to make money and recognize the gap between her family members. Zhang Wanwan, let's get a divorce. Huan Ji, my husband is abusing me. What should I do? Shen Feng, this matter is very serious and serious. He should consider calling the police. Zhang Wanwan, let's get a divorce. My dad has been going out drinking and socializing lately, which makes my mom very resentful. What should I do? Zhang Wanwan, let's get a divorce. My brother has a girl he likes, but he is too timid to pursue her. I helped him to set her up with someone, but now that girl likes me. What should I do? Let's get a divorce. What should I do if my refrigerator breaks down? Let's get a divorce. I just bought a dog. Let's get a divorce. Congratulations on obtaining the credit card qualification. Let's get a divorce. Wanwan, you and Fengzi should be happy. Divorce ba, this can't be divorced. Zhang Wanwan, who had gone crazy with killing, quickly changed her words. After looking at Shen Feng beside him, he said very seriously, Fengzi and I will never get divorced, no matter what. Barrage, don't be so confident. What if I say I'll give you 1 billion if you divorce? The people in the live broadcast room are basically all fans of Zhang Wanwan, and they all know that she loves money. Unexpectedly, Zhang Wanwan said very firmly this time, don't even mention 1 billion, 10 billion, or 100 billion, Fengzi and I will not divorce. Seeing her like this, the audience was deeply moved. Alas, I am too narrow-minded. Although I love money, I love Fengzi more. Can the love between the Quan Suo couple be measured by money? Climb, 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 climb. Even if they are worth 10 billion or 100 billion, they will never get divorced. This is the value of the Quan Suo couple. Zhang Wanwan said proudly, don't ask me such superficial questions in the future. You won't really give me money anyway. What if I really give you hundreds of millions? Shen Feng on the side suddenly asked. That might be something we could consider. Zhang Wanwan was halfway through her words when she saw the smile on Shen Feng's face becoming even gentler. She quickly held Shen Feng's face with a smile and said, just kidding, is there any need to consider it? Shen Feng's expression softened a little. But Zhang Wanwan then said, then I will definitely get a divorce. Shen Sheng narrowed his eyes. Immediately afterwards, the audience in front of the live broadcast room saw Shen Feng overwhelm Zhang Wanwan, and Zhang Wanwan shouted at the top of her voice, no, no, no. This is a live broadcast. Hey, I'm just kidding. Don't take it seriously. Don't kiss me. I was wrong. Good Fengzi, I surrender. How could I get divorced? This must be fake. It's all for the show. It's still being broadcast live. There are so many people watching. It's so itchy. Listening to Zhang Wanwan's screams, the audience stared at the screen, hoping to see something exciting. As a result, they saw Shen Feng turned around and said to the camera, I have some housework to take care of today. Lit broadcast ends here. Goodbye. After saying that, Shen Feng closed the lit broadcast room. Barrage. This Fengzi somewhat treats me as an outsider. Chapter 370 for the mysterious Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan enjoys Shen Feng's company and care at home every day. She can also do a live broadcast from time to time. Her life is quite comfortable. And recently, Zhang Wanwan also discovered a small weakness of Shen Feng. That is, Shen Feng is particularly afraid of being touched on the butt. Yes, afraid of being touched on the butt. Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng were childhood sweethearts. But she didn't know that Shen Feng had such a weakness before. Zhang Wanwan discovered Shen Feng's weakness after the live broadcast of The Master of Emotion that day. Shen Feng wanted to sanction Zhang Wanwan, who was very happy after playing a joke. Not only did he kiss Zhang Wanwan so hard, making her beg for mercy, he also spanked her on the butt a few times as a small punishment but a big warning. My brother has always been a vengeful person. Who among the fans doesn't know the story of the 9 circle locks back then? So Zhang Wanwan took revenge while taking a shower that night. While Shen Feng was not paying attention, he slapped Shen Feng's buttocks a few times. The result was this beating. Shen Feng still seemed a little nervous and shy. It even seemed as if the whole person had gone limp. This made Zhang Wanwan feel like she had discovered a new world. Every day, whether he had nothing to do or not, he would hit Shen Feng on the butt a few times. Not to mention, it feels pretty good. Shen Feng has been quite worried recently. In fact, he didn't know when he developed this weakness. In short, after Zhang Wanwan tapped the lower back part of his body, he felt soft. But Shen Sheng is not someone who is easy to mess with. It would be fine if his wife was naughty once or twice. But if she was like this every day, Shen Feng naturally had to find a way to strengthen his position as husband. Fortunately, after spending 800 years with Zhang Wanwan countless times, Shen Sheng already knew Zhang Wanwan's weaknesses. That's her armpit, commonly known as the armpit. Zhang Wanwan's armpits are particularly ticklish. If they are tickled even a little, she will giggle foolishly for a long time. So after Zhang Wanwan used touching the butt to deal with Shen Feng, Shen Sheng started to fight back by tickling the armpits. So, sometimes such scenes would appear in Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's villa. On the bed in the bedroom, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan lay together, hugging each other. Shen Feng turned his back to the bed, trying his best to protect his vital parts. While reaching out to Zhang Wanwan's armpit, he launched an attack. Zhang Wanwan, on her part, tried to hold her arms as tight as possible. At the same time, his hands were reaching towards Shen Feng's buttocks. The two people twisted around in strange postures, like two big insects. The final result of such a war often ends with Zhang Wanwan's surrender. Because she was really ticklish, sometimes when Shen Sheng tickled her, she would laugh until her stomach hurt. Of course Shen Sheng didn't want to let her laugh too painfully, so he let her off a little. But today, it's a little different. On the bed, Zhang Wanwan stubbornly protected her armpits and tenaciously reached out to touch Shen Feng's back. At the same time he gritted his teeth and said, "Feng Zi, just admit defeat, I must win today." Shen Sheng looked at her helplessly, smiled bitterly and said, "Wan Ji, no matter how hard you try, I won't let you out. In fact, generally speaking, no matter what happens, Shen Feng will obey Zhang Wanwan." But today, Zhang Wanwan suddenly suggested going out by herself. He was also determined not to let Shen Feng follow him. Shen Feng was not happy about this. He is not the kind of person who has a strong desire for control. If it was before Zhang Wanwan became pregnant, Shen Feng would not have stopped her from going out by herself. But now Zhang Wanwan is several months pregnant and her figure is already showing. It's winter outside, and the roads are cold and slippery. Moreover, Zhang Wanwan is a star. If she were to be discovered, she would inevitably be surrounded by fans, and who knows what accidents might happen in the end. How could Shen Feng possibly let Zhang Wanwan go out alone? That's why the current war was triggered. "I really have something important to tell you. I have to go out," Zhang Wanwan said very seriously. However, her seriousness quickly turned into laughter after Shen Feng touched her armpit. "If there's anything I can do with you, you can't go by yourself." As Shen Feng spoke, he tickled Zhang Wanwan. It was not until Zhang Wanwan touched his vital point that Shen Feng unconsciously withdrew his hand. "No, you can't get involved in this matter. I want to go by myself." Zhang Wanwan stopped laughing after a long while, panting as she looked at Shen Feng. "Feng Zi, I'll just be out for half a day. I'll be back soon, just let me go." "And can you tell me what you are going to do?" "No, I can't," Zhang Wanwan said. The two people were in a stalemate for a while. But in the end, Shen Feng said, "Okay, I won't go with you. But you have to find someone to accompany you. Sister Lin. Our parents, or someone else you know. You can't go alone." "Well, then I'll ask my mom to accompany you. Is that okay?" Only then did Shen Feng nod. In the afternoon, Zhang Wanwan called Su Yan. He said to Su Yan very seriously, "Mom, please accompany me to do something this afternoon. You can't tell Feng Zi about this. You must not tell her. Sign a confidentiality agreement, or I won't take you with me." After saying that, Zhang Wanwan actually took out a handwritten confidentiality agreement. It also said at the end that if Su Yan leaked the information, she would have to pay 5 billion in compensation. "Su Yan, how dare you ask for this compensation from me, your biological mother?" Zhang Wanwan took the agreement and read it again. Then he said, "Sorry, the amount is wrong." Su Yan breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Wanwan took the pen, made 2 corrections, and handed it back to Su Yan. 2 zeros were omitted. "Su Yan, she's truly my dearest daughter." However, Su Yan also knew that Zhang Wanwan would not really ask her to pay compensation after all. She didn't have that much money. Su Yan looked at Shen Feng twice, then signed the confidentiality agreement. After that, he went out with Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan even hung a ring lock on the 2 door handles outside to lock Shen Feng in the house. But if this could stop Shen Feng, then Shen Feng would have lived in vain for so many years. Although the circle lock could hold the door shut, Shen Sheng was still able to push the door open a certain distance. With this gap, Shen Feng has space to extend the wire and pry open the ring lock. After prying open the lock, Zhang Wanwan and Su Yan had already walked away. But Shen Feng also has a solution. Since the mother-in-law has been recruited by Zhang Wanwan, Shen Feng should also use his father-in-law as a secret weapon. He called Zhang Ziyi directly. The car that Su Yan drove was bought by Zhang Ziyi, and it was bound to Zhang Ziyi's mobile phone. Zhang Ziyi can use the app on his mobile phone to see the location of the car. Zhang Ziyi told Shen Feng the direction of the car that Su Yan was driving. Shen Feng borrowed a motorcycle from a neighbor he knew in the community, and then drove straight after him. He quickly caught up with the car driven by Su Yan, but the car had already stopped on the side of the road. Zhang Wanwan and Su Yan, who were supposed to be in the car, were also missing. Shen Feng frowned because there were no shops worth visiting nearby. Feng Zi, how is it going? Have you found them? Zhang Ziyi asked on the phone. No. Shen Feng said slowly. I suspect Wanwan or my mother-in-law thought of the fact that the car has a location tracking system. So they just parked the car on the side of the road. What should we do then? It's okay, I have another solution. After Shen Feng finished speaking, he hung up the phone. On the other side, in a taxi, Zhang Wanwan let out a long sigh and said, given Feng Zi's personality and intelligence, he will either follow us out, or he will think of asking my dad for the location of your car to guess what we are doing. Fortunately I thought of it, otherwise I would be exposed. Su Yan looked at Zhang Wanwan helplessly and said, Earl, you said you were just going to buy that thing. Do you have to be so mysterious? Of course it is useful. Zhang Wanwan smiled, just want to give him a surprise. Feng Zi has been taking care of me for the past 6 months, so I have to do something for him more or less. Chapter 375 Birthday Cake. Zhang Wanwan and Su Yan took a taxi and finally arrived at a small, inconspicuous shop. The store doesn't look very big, and the decoration inside has an old-fashioned feel. It looks like just an ordinary old store. However, Zhang Wanwan knew that this shop was considered to be a cake shop with a very high level of production in Zhongyi City. Grandpa, I'm here. Zhang Wanwan shouted as she pushed open the door and walked into the cake shop. In the store, an old man with gray hair and beard, who looked quite old but still energetic, and dressed like a neat chef, put down the newspaper in his hand. Seeing Zhang Wanwan come in, the old man took off his reading glasses and said with a smile, Little girl, you haven't been here for a while. Zhang Wanwan chuckled. I was busy filming before, so I came to see you. If you didn't want to order a cake, you wouldn't have come here, right? The old man also laughed. The owner of this store is surnamed Wang, and Zhang Wanwan usually calls him Grandpa Wang or Grandpa. Ever since Zhang Wanwan came to Zhongyi City to study, she discovered this treasure cake shop. It is said that Grandpa Wang worked as a pastry chef in a Michelin restaurant abroad in his early years. After he returned to China when he was older, he opened a small cake shop on the roadside. Not for making money, just to kill time. So the opening hours of this store are uncertain. Sometimes it is closed for a month or two, and sometimes it opens late at night. It all depends on Grandpa Wang's mood. A few years ago, after Zhang Wanwan discovered that the cakes in this cake shop tasted good, she would often come here to buy cakes as snacks. Sometimes he would even skip classes with Shen Feng to come here to buy cakes. Therefore, this Grandpa Wang and Old Wang, the owner of the internet cafe where Zhang Wanwan often skipped classes, were called the two Wangs, by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Come to Grandpa Wang's place to buy cakes, then take them to Old Wang's internet cafe to eat while playing games for the whole day. This is their two Wangs one day to route. Sometimes, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng came to buy cakes, and seeing that Grandpa Wang was bored alone, they would stay in the cake shop and chat with Grandpa Wang. Gradually, they became familiar with Grandpa Wang. Grandpa Wang also left them a phone number, saying that if they came to the cake shop and found it was closed, they should just call this number and he would come over soon. However, since her rebirth, Zhang Wanwan has never been to this store. The main reason is that Feng Zi is more or less too versatile. No matter what kind of cake you want to eat, Zhang Wanwan just needs to tell Shen Feng and Shen Feng will be able to make it. In addition, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng are often running around recording programs, so they have even less time to come over. What kind of cake do you want? Tell me, Grandpa Wang asked. Zhang Wanwan called him before coming, and said she wanted to order a birthday cake. He also said that there were a lot of details and that he had to explain them to him in person. Zhang Wanwan glanced at Su Yan beside her, then said with a smile, Mom, why don't you go outside and get some fresh air? Su Yan rolled her eyes. I have signed a confidentiality agreement. So you just can't trust your mother? Mom. Zhang Wanwan acted coquettously. Su Yan snorted, you are already so old, but you are more spoiled than a steamed bun. Okay, can't I just go out? Su Yan said this and walked out of the cake shop. After Su Yan left, Zhang Wanwan secretly took out a blueprint from her pocket and handed it to Grandpa Wang, saying, "Grandpa, can I make a cake like this? My painting may be a little abstract, but this is the general idea. I can give you more details later." Grandpa Wang took the drawing and looked at it, then laughed. "Little girl, your drawing is so sloppy." "Well, actually, I can draw better, but I wanted to give Feng Zi a surprise, so I drew it secretly without his knowledge. I don't have many opportunities, so I have done my best to draw like this." "Okay, but what does the 800 years you wrote on it mean?" "This is a gag from a movie he and I are going to make." Zhang Wanwan had already thought of a story to fool Grandpa Wang. After hearing this, Grandpa Wang nodded and didn't ask any more questions. And he went to the kitchen in the back and started preparing to make the birthday cake. During the production process, Zhang Wanwan stood by and talked to Grandpa Wang about some details. Sometimes what is expressed is not very clear, or something is said wrong, but Grandpa Wang never gets anxious or annoyed. During this period, Su Yan came in several times, and finally Zhang Wanwan had to let Su Yan go shopping in a nearby mall first. It took several hours before the cake was finally ready. Zhang Wanwan was not in a hurry to take the finished cake away. This is a birthday cake for Shen Feng, and Shen Feng's birthday is actually tomorrow. If I take the cake back today, there will be no surprise tomorrow. Zhang Wanwan asked Grandpa Wang to store the cake in the store's refrigerator first, and she would ask someone to pick it up tomorrow. Afterwards, Zhang Wanwan said goodbye to Grandpa Wang. Su Yan just came out of a nearby clothing store. When she saw Zhang Wanwan approaching, she asked, "Okay, girl, should we go home now?" "Hey, don't worry, I have somewhere else to go." Zhang Wanwan said this, took Su Yan's arm, and took her in a taxi to another place, in a green coffee shop for women with permit hair opposite. Shen Feng watched Zhang Wanwan and Su Yan leave in a taxi. Then he walked out of the coffee shop and got on a motorcycle. He can now choose to follow Zhang Wanwan and Su Yan, or he can choose to go to Grandpa Wang's shop to see what Zhang Wanwan has just prepared. However, after thinking about it, Shen Feng decided to ride his motorcycle back home. Zhang Wanwan wanted to give him a birthday surprise, and Shen Feng had already guessed it. Since Zhang Wanwan had taken great pains to prepare a surprise for him, Shen Feng felt that the only way he could live up to Zhang Wanwan's kindness was to wait patiently for the surprise to come. After riding the motorcycle back to the community, Shen Feng returned the motorcycle to his neighbor. He also asked his neighbors to lock the door again after he returned home. Although the neighbor looked confused, he still listened to Shen Feng and locked Shen Feng back in the house. After returning home, Shen Feng began to prepare dinner, waiting for Zhang Wanwan to come back. Zhang Wanwan didn't return home until it was getting dark outside. Zhang Wanwan was really tired after having been out and about for most of the day. After returning home and having some dinner, she said she wanted to take a short rest. She was curled up on the sofa watching TV when Shen Feng came out after cleaning the kitchen. She saw Zhang Wanwan had fallen asleep on the sofa. Curled up on the sofa, she looked like a curled-up kitten, purring cutely from time to time. A gentle smile appeared on Shen Feng's face. He bent down and gently picked up Zhang Wanwan. After being touched like this, Zhang Wanwan opened her eyes sleepily. "Feng Zi, I'll carry you upstairs to sleep," Shen Sheng said softly. "Good." Zhang Wanwan yawned a little, and then murmured in a daze, "I prepared a surprise for you today. I'll give it to you on your birthday tomorrow. You didn't know?" Shen Feng smiled and nodded. "I don't know." "Well, that's good." After Zhang Wanwan finished speaking, she fell asleep in Shen Feng's arms again. Shen Feng looked at her, lowered his head slightly, and kissed her on the forehead. "Go to sleep, good night." Chapter 376 Happy birthday to Shen Feng. Shen Sheng hasn't celebrated his birthday for a long time. If you do the math, it's been about 800 years. After all, how can he celebrate his birthday if it repeats the same day all day long? To be honest, Shen Feng has almost forgotten what it feels like to celebrate his birthday. If the date of birth was not written on his ID number, Shen Sheng might have forgotten when his birthday was. Because he hasn't celebrated his birthday for a long time, Shen Sheng no longer cares about it. In the past few days, Zhang Wanwan often talked about birthdays in front of him. Ang Ping and Shen Xiaojiyuo also asked Shen Shen whether he wanted to make a big celebration, but Shen Sheng said there was no need. For a man who has experienced more than 800 years of life, there is really nothing to look forward to on his birthday. But now, looking at Zhang Wanwan sleeping peacefully on the bed, Shen Feng was looking forward to his birthday tomorrow. An ordinary day becomes special because of someone. Birthday is just an ordinary day for Shen Feng, but Zhang Wanwan's surprise gave meaning to this day. He lay on the bed, next to Zhang Wanwan, and slowly fell asleep. The next day, Shen Feng woke up even later than Zhang Wanwan, which was rare. When he opened his eyes, Zhang Wanwan, who was lying next to him, was gone. When Shen Shen got up and went downstairs, he saw that Zhang Wanwan had already prepared a table for breakfast. Zhang Wanwan saw Shen Feng's somewhat stunned look and said with a smile, don't worry, I know my own ability. I didn't go into the kitchen. These are all takeouts I ordered. Although it sounds a bit tragic to have to eat takeout on your birthday, it's probably much safer than eating the food I cook. After she finished speaking, she pulled Shen Feng to sit at the dining table, then raised her milk cup, clinked glasses with Shen Feng, and then said energetically, Fengzi, happy birthday to you. May we all be happy, Shen Feng said. After breakfast, Zhang Wanwan seemed to calm down. She didn't give Shen Feng any surprises. It seemed that the only gift she prepared for Shen Feng today was breakfast in the morning. I have to say that Zhang Wanwan's acting skills are indeed very strong. If Shen Feng hadn't known yesterday that Zhang Wanwan had at least prepared a custom cake for him, he might have been fooled by Zhang Wanwan's calm and honest appearance. At noon, Tang Ping, Shen Xiaojiuo, Su Yan and Zhang Ziyiqi all came to the villa to celebrate Shen Feng's birthday. In fact, they meant to go out to a restaurant for a good meal, but Shen Feng repeatedly said that there was no need to make his birthday too grand. So everyone just had a meal in the villa. Zhang Ziyiqi, the father-in-law, also carefully prepared a birthday gift for Shen Feng, a hand-tailored suit. In the afternoon, Shen Xiaojiuo and his friends left the villa, leaving the space to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Zhang Wanwan estimated the time was about right, and suddenly said to Shen Feng, Fengzi, the computer in the study upstairs seems to be broken. Do you want to go and fix it? Shen Feng knew that Zhang Wanwan wanted to get him away and prepare a surprise, so he nodded obediently and went to the study on the second floor. After taking a look at the computer in the study, Shen Feng sighed. His older brother is really trying hard to delay him. He simply dismantled the computer host in the study into 8 pieces. He even hid several parts. Shen Feng patted the computer that had suffered an unexpected disaster and sighed silently. It's hard on you, brother. And downstairs, after Shen Sheng went upstairs, Zhang Wanwan opened the door quietly. A car soon stopped in front of the villa, and Sister Lin got out of the car. She was holding a cake in one hand, several bags in the other, and a large bouquet of flowers in her elbow. Thank you, Sister Lin. Zhang Wanwan hurriedly took the things and said to Sister Lin, why are you thanking me? Just celebrate Xiaoshen's birthday well. After saying this, Sister Lin waved her hand and drove away again. After Sister Lin left, Zhang Wanwan placed the cake in the box on the dining table. He also took out the candles that Shen Feng had used for the candlelight dinner, placed them on the table and lit them. Then she closed the curtains and took out something from another bag Sister Lin brought. Shen Feng knew that the main unit could not be repaired due to lack of parts, so he simply threw it away and found a book in the study to read casually. After about 10 minutes, Zhang Wanwan's voice was heard downstairs. Fengzi, stop repairing, let's get ready for dinner. Shen Feng smiled, but tried to sound as calm as possible as he responded. Then he walked out of the study and went downstairs. First floor of the villa. Zhang Wanwan drew the curtains in the room, so it was very dark. The only source of light came from the 2 candles on the dining table used for the candlelight dinner. It can only illuminate a small area near the dining table. Shen Feng looked around and didn't see Zhang Wanwan. He walked to the dining table and was about to use the candlelight to look around for Zhang Wanwan, when a pair of small hands reached out from behind him and covered his eyes. Student Shen Feng, please cooperate and don't turn your head. Zhang Wanwan's sweet voice came from behind. Shen Feng smiled and nodded. And he felt Zhang Wanwan put a blindfold on his head, blocking his vision. Immediately afterwards, Zhang Wanwan began to fiddle with his arms. Come on, lift your arm, and then lift this one, yes. Shen Feng could feel that Zhang Wanwan was putting a piece of clothing on him. However, even though Shen Feng had lived for 800 years, he had not yet mastered the ability to see through things, so he really couldn't guess what clothes Zhang Wanwan had put on him. I could only feel that it was probably a coat. After putting on his coat, Shen Sheng was helped by Zhang Wanwan to sit down at the dining table. A few seconds later, Shen Feng heard Zhang Wanwan's voice from across the table. Okay, Shen Feng, you can take off your blindfold now. Shen Sheng took off the blindfold. After briefly regaining his sight, Shen Feng saw Zhang Wanwan sitting opposite him at first glance. At this time, Zhang Wanwan was not wearing her previous home clothes, nor was she wearing any fancy dress. She was simply wearing a baggy-looking school uniform jacket. There is also a line of small words written on the school uniform: King Liu Experimental Primary School. This is their elementary school uniform. Shen Feng looked down at himself, he was also wearing the same school uniform. Zhang Wanwan on the other side smiled sweetly and said with some pride, the school uniforms for primary schools have all been revised. This is an old style that I had specially made for a clothing factory. Looking at Zhang Wanwan at this moment, Shen Feng's eyes were dazed for a moment. He seemed to have really returned to his childhood, when Zhang Wanwan would often sit opposite him in this school uniform, giving him the same sweet smile. Zhang Wanwan opened the birthday cake box on the dining table, revealing the cake inside. Under the candlelight, the already exquisite cake looks even more charming. There are two little people standing on the cake, one boy and one girl, both wearing elementary school uniforms. In front of the two people, the small animals were sculpted out of cream, a fox and a cat. The fox protected the cat with his big tail and held it in his arms. Below these two small animals, there is a line of small words. Happy birthday to my 800-year-old fox, thank you for coming to me again, I love you forever, my little kitty. Zhang Wanwan also stood up at this time and took out the big bunch of roses that she had hidden under the table in advance. She walked to Shen Feng, handed the flowers to him, and said with a chuckle, Fengzi, I'm really happy to meet you again. After Shen Sheng took the big bouquet of roses, Zhang Wanwan leaned over again, hugged Shen Feng and kissed him. The candlelight flickered, reflecting the smiles and tears of the two people. It also reflected the two people's lips blending together. When there was a break in the kiss, Zhang Wanwan spoke softly with a slightly trembling voice. I'm not as good as you, I can't make my own cakes or clothes. I've even been a little clumsy lately and can't come up with any good ideas. I can only try my best to give you this surprise in my own way. Happy birthday to you, Shen Feng. Chapter 377 Sun Jing's Plan. When a user on Weibo celebrates his or her birthday, a system will send a special Weibo message. Of course Shen Sheng is no exception. So many of Shen Sheng's fans would to offer birthday wishes to Shen Feng after seeing the Weibo post about Shen Feng's birthday posted by the system. In fact, for celebrities' birthdays, loyal fans, especially the fan leaders, will make preparations to celebrate in advance. For example, they hold support meetings for their favorite stars, book subway stations for promotion, and even buy advertisements on the big screen event, Yao Food Bag Square, to celebrate their idols' birthdays. However, Shen Feng only became popular last year, to be precise. He has only been popular for half a year. Fans have never spent a birthday with him, so they don't have this awareness. In addition, Shen Feng's management of fans has always been loose. Unlike other stars who would specifically contact big fans and arrange various things for their fans, Shen Sheng basically never cared about what his fans said or did, because he entered the entertainment industry not for his fans, but only for Zhang Wanwan. When Shen Feng logged into Weibo the day after his birthday and saw a bunch of blessings, he simply said, "Thank you everyone." Most of Shen Feng's fans are used to this somewhat cold response. After all, they all know what kind of person Shen Feng is. She never posts on Weibo unless it's to show off her affection or for business cooperation, and her interactions with fans are always very rare. Fans are no longer surprised by Fengzi's coldness. However, only Shen Feng's fans found it nothing strange. Some fans of other stars who are not fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan don't think so. Yesterday, Shen Feng's birthday even made it into the top 5 trending searches on Weibo, and many passers-by who were not fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan also knew about it. When these passers-by clicked on the hot search, they saw that not only did Shen Feng's fans not organize any large-scale activities for his birthday, but even Shen Feng himself did not post a Weibo to express his gratitude. The next day, he just sent a perfunctory message like "Thank you everyone." Zhang Wanwan, who claims to be a loving couple with Shen Feng, did not post on Weibo to celebrate Shen Feng's birthday. This made some passers-by, especially the haters of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, feel that they had been caught. It is impossible for any star to be liked by everyone, even Shen Feng. Just like how most of Fuyan's crazy fans were Shen Feng's black fans, some other stars' crazy fans also had a bad attitude towards Shen Feng, especially those fans of young handsome guys. Under the influence of marketing accounts and fan leaders, these crazy fans of the young idol feel that Shen Feng's current popularity and resources were all taken away from their brother. If Shen Feng did not participate in youth group, and did not shoot Song Xian's posthumous work, then all these resources would belong to their brother. Then their brother must be 10 times more angry than Shen Feng now. It was Shen Sheng who completely harmed their brother. Under such brainwashing from a fan circle, how could these crazy fans of the young idol not become Shen Feng's black fans? As a result, there is such a view on Weibo today. What top-tier celebrity? It turns out that he didn't even get a small billboard for his birthday fan. Isn't this top-tier celebrity too shabby? Please stop hyping up a certain celebrity named Shen, saying how popular he is, how he is an all-round idol. But he didn't even interact with his fans on his birthday. Is that all? The studio is shamelessly buying trending searches. If they didn't buy trending searches, this SF would have been a failure, right? Every time I see a certain Shen I feel annoyed. If he hadn't interfered, Our Fan should have played the leading male role in Teacher Song Jian's script. People say Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng are so loving. But Zhang Wanwan didn't even send Shen Feng a birthday blessing. They can't act like a loving couple anymore. Passersby just take such remarks as a joke. Shen Feng's fans will argue a little. However, some people had evil thoughts after seeing these remarks. For example, Sun Jing. Sun Jing is the sister of Sun Xiaoya, Zhang Wanwan's apprentice. She is also Ji Kangcheng's girlfriend, who was traumatized by the beating caused by Shen Feng. Previously, Ji Kangcheng teamed up with Sun Jing to deceive Sun Xiaoya, saying that they were supposed to be the male and female protagonists of the play Songjian. But they were snatched away by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. It also made the naive Sun Xiaoya very hostile to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Over the past few months, Sun Jing has been feeling very depressed. Not only did she fail to become the heroine of Song Jian's posthumous work, but now she has to take care of Ji Kangcheng, who is paralyzed in bed every day. After Ji Kangcheng's limbs were broken by Shen Feng, Sun Jing originally wanted to break up with him directly. But in order to grab the spotlight and roles, she and Ji Kangcheng did many dirty things to harm other actors. Ji Kangcheng had evidence for all these things, and he used it to threaten Sun Jing, saying that if Sun Jing broke up with him, he would immediately make public all the dirty things they had done together, so that both of them would be destroyed. Sun Jingka still wants to stay in this circle. Helplessly, she could only act like a nanny and take care of Ji Kangcheng's eating, drinking, defecating and urinating. Sun Jing felt extremely angry when she thought that she should have been a big star who was respected in front of everyone. But now she had to be ordered around like a slave by Ji Kangcheng. She hated Ji Kangcheng, but she hated Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan even more. If these two people hadn't appeared, not only would Ji Kangcheng not have become what he is now, but she should have been the leading actress in Song Jian's play. This morning, after Sun Jing saw the comments made by Shen Feng's haters on Weibo, she began to have evil thoughts. She thinks these black fans have grasped one point very well. It was Shen Feng's birthday, but Zhang Wanwan did not post a congratulatory message on Weibo. There are actually quite a few celebrity couples in the entertainment industry. Those popular celebrity couples will basically send blessings to each other on the right time on their birthdays. This simple birthday wish can even become a criterion for fans to judge whether the couple is in love. Sometimes if some celebrity couples fail to send one birthday blessing, their fans and marketing accounts will interpret it as suspected emotional discord or family conflicts. Some exaggerated marketing accounts will even directly conclude that they are about to divorce, even if many celebrity couples are no longer in love with each other. In order to maintain their couple image, they will ask their studios to send each other blessings on Weibo at regular intervals. This has almost become an unspoken rule in the entertainment industry. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan became famous last year with the name Circle Lot couple. Such a pair of stars who are known as a couple did not send each other birthday wishes. Whether there is really something wrong between the two, or Zhang Wanwan simply forgot about it because she didn't care. It can be used as a handle to attack the relationship between Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Maybe these two people are very loving, or maybe they just don't care about the blessings on Weibo. But Sun Jing knows that as long as the negative articles are well written, and as long as enough internet trolls are hired, white can be turned into black. This is the current network environment. Thinking of this, Sun Jing immediately made a phone call and contacted several marketing accounts she knew, asking them to make a fuss about the birthday wishes for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Even if this incident would not have too much impact on Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, she would still find a way to discuss these two people to vent her anger. Sun Jing didn't tell Ji Kangcheng when she called. So as soon as Sun Jing finished the call, Ji Kangcheng said, "Sun Jing, did you hire someone to deal with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan?" "Yes. TSK, didn't I tell you before that we can't afford to offend these two people?" Ji Kangcheng was a little anxious at that time. But he knew how terrifying Shen Feng was. He knew very well that Shen Feng's ability was definitely a dimensionality reduction attack in their entertainment industry. Fighting him would only lead to death. But Sun Jing didn't take it to heart at all. He even said sarcastically, "You are incompetent and can't beat Shen Feng. You didn't even dare to fart when you were beaten like a dog. You are a waste and you don't have the courage. You can swallow this breath. But I can't. You are a waste, but I am not a waste. Don't worry about it. Just lie in bed and wait for death." After saying that, Sun Jing dialed another number, left the room while talking on the phone, and continued to arrange the Water Army's affairs. Ji Kangcheng, at this time, used his hand, which had just recovered a little, to take his mobile phone with great effort. He made a difficult phone call to his buddy, and then said, Can you come pick me up? I can't stay with Sun Jing any longer." "What's wrong, brother? Didn't you say before that it was very comfortable to live off Sun Jing, and that you wanted Sun Jing to be your slave and support you for the rest of your life?" Why do you want to leave now? What a shitty slave. If she really were my slave, she would screw me over 800 times. Hurry up and pick me up. No, buy me a train ticket first. It doesn't matter where you go, just pick me up on the train. If his legs were not so weak, Ji Kangcheng would have wanted to carry the train himself. Chapter 378, A Brief Understanding. Ji Kangcheng ran away. But Sun Jing didn't take it to heart. She felt that Ji Kangcheng was a coward. A complete coward. It would have been fine if he didn't dare to confront Shen Feng head-on in front of Shen Feng before. Now he doesn't even dare to secretly hire some navy to trip up Shen Feng. In Sun Jing's opinion, this was already a new level of cowardice. Is this guy afraid that Shen Feng can find out that I hired internet trolls? Isn't this funny? Sun Jing laughed sarcastically to herself while scrolling through her phone. Looking at the posts made on Weibo by the internet trolls she hired. Sun Jing is also considered a second-tier star and has some savings. Therefore, she was particularly generous in hiring the internet trolls, even on a similar scale to when Fuyan hired the internet trolls to discredit Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. And Sun Jing is also very smart. She specifically told the internet trolls not to be too aggressive when posting on Weibo, and to try not to let passers-by see that they were discrediting Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. They should